very interesting because I mean, I think everybody knows it. They're in pole position in the Gujarat election. There's no doubt about that. It'll be for the 7th time when they do get voted back. I think it's a question of margins. However, there is this excitement, this energy, and this determination almost, I feel, to get people out to vote, to exercise their franchise.
Yes.
And I think that's significant for democracy, because sometimes when you're caught up in a situation like the one you have in Gujarat, where no opposition is really a question, big question mark. I mean, the last time round you had an external factor like the Patidar alliance to rejuvenate the opposition. This time you don't even have an external factor, and we see what's playing out on the ground. I think it's really incredible that, you know, they're putting in this level of effort and now really working towards pulling people out to vote and saying, you know, this may be a situation where it's very clear.
That's right, Advaita. So
50-kilometer
road show on Thursday, around 25 kilometers, Rashid, next day, which was Friday. We have seen Prime Minister there with continuing with the enthusiasm as far as his party is concerned, leading from the front and also going to Kamalam, the party headquarters, and holding meetings. I was in Anand. The sense was that they were talking about the local candidate. But for the BJP supporters or voters, they are talking about Prime Minister Narendra Modi. On one hand is the local candidate of the Congress versus Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who has continued to show to the party that even if they are confident, they should not be complacent.
Yes, Mari, absolutely. Because the BJP is pitching Mr. Narendra Modi in a big way, because he's a vote getter, he's a vote catcher, and of course he's a Gujarati also, so and he's a voter there. So all these things matter. The Congress does not have an equivalent of Narendra Modi in Gujarat, and therefore they are not doing it. So I think, you know, we are giving a lot of weightage to the presence of national leaders or so in terms of the absence in the Congress camp. But in every constituency there is a Congress candidate, and Congress candidate is making all kind of efforts to mobilize voters. So I think on that count some credit should be given to the Congress. Anand was mentioning...
I will give you the credit. I mean, the credit should be given, but I want to understand from you, when you have the son of the soil on ground and Gujaratis have a strong connect and also identity connect with the Prime Minister, how much of that local factor will work?
I think the local factor does work, and so is that presence of Prime Minister Modi. But if you look at all elections that Mr. Modi has fought as Chief Minister and otherwise, the Congress always had, you know, 40% vote. So if you look at 100% voters, so you know, 49-50% are siding with him. But there is another sizable 40% who's not voting. It's a complex business. It's not just because of personality. It's the ideology, the kind of work or absence of it. Everything is there. So I think elections are a package. If you just look at it in black and white, then it will be wrong. Similarly, a point has been made about voter turnout. I think voter turnout is very important. We all should do it. But an idea of regulating it or some kind of putting some curb is a bad idea. It's anti-democracy. Those who don't vote, they are not only harmless, they are useless.
Okay, let's bring you something really, really special now. It's looking upwards and skywards. What have we got here? Let's bring down the one and only and the very special quadcopter, please.
Well, it's become integral, isn't it? The time I have to take this ride, it's just so pleasurable. But the fact of the matter is that, oh, there you go, almost getting a bit of me, and I have to, yeah, manage this. All right, are you set down? Are you okay? All right, can I get in now? All right, so let me get myself inside. Oh, this feels nice and snug and a little different from last time because they've removed this top right here. All right, up we go. So where are we going?
You tell us.
I've got to tell you, this is a view that you will. There you go. Okay. Aram se bhai uthao. There you go.
Off. Right, Anand.
You will see perhaps the sight of your lives. It's beautiful what I'm going to show to our viewers.
We'll go to Anand in just a second as he sort of gives you a bird's eye view of what's going on in Ahmedabad. Just to quickly run you through what are the important factors. We were talking about the tribal dominated seats. Remember, it's a combination of phase 1 and phase 2. In phase 2, It's almost like an S shape from Banaskantha and Sabarkantha in the north, coming all the way to Panchmahals. If you look at the tribal seats, it's the Congress that did better last time around compared to the BJP, 8:4. And even in the vote share, one of the few filters where the Congress actually had slightly better vote share than the BJP. Watch out for the tribal seats, because even in phase 1, we saw a plus or minus 5% increase in the voter turnout of tribals. Remember, in the rest of the constituencies that voted, particularly in rural parts like Saurashtra in phase 1, there was a fall of almost 5%, between 68 and 62, 63%, whereas in the tribal belt, you actually saw an increase of the voters. One other factor, and Maria will be interested in this, is the fall in the woman vote. Anywhere between 4 to 5% fall in the woman vote compared to last time. How may this play out? Who will this benefit? Who will this hurt? I think these are factors to watch out for today. But I'm told that we're ready to fly over the skyline of Gujarat.
This is something which is phenomenal, and this is what digital technology allows us to fly through in a matter of seconds to perhaps what I missed this time around in my Gujarat trip, ladies and gentlemen. Kevadia got stuck off the list because we got stuck in Surat and we couldn't make our trip to Kevadia, but this is brilliant. This view of Sardar Patel overlooking, and this Statue of Unity has a story in itself. Crores of people are going down. In fact, we also spoke to some of the Safai Karamcharis who keep this beautiful vista clean, and for viewers and for, of course, tourists to come right across the world to have a glimpse of this massive Statue of Unity. But what are we going to show you? We're going to show you the voter turnout, or the voting percentage, vote share last time around. Phase 2, 93 seats, 49% of the votes went to the BJP, 41 to the Congress, and there were 10% that were snatched by the others. Is that going to play a game there? And especially, how are the rural belt going to vote? It's going to be critical, Zaka. Back to you. I'll join you there in a bit.
Interesting about the vote share. I just want to run our viewers quickly through that. If you were to look at just the phase 2 vote share, remember, across the state, BJP had 49, but in this phase 2, it was only 48. The Congress, 41 across the state and 41 across phase 2 as well. Like I said, two factors that I'm going to watch out for. One is the urban vote, because we're all talking about apathy and so on. So Ahmedabad, Gandhinagar and Baroda, big cities going to polls today. Last time in Baroda, BJP won all 5, 16 in Gandhinagar and Ahmedabad. Congress won just 4. The remaining 12 went to the BJP. The second factor, Advaita was also talking about it, is actually happening between these two cities, between Ahmedabad and Baroda. You have the districts of Anand, Kheda and Aravali. This is the cooperative belt. Today you have a cooperative minister in the Union Home Minister. The BJP controls the cooperatives. Will that vote change? Will this sort of passage of blue change into saffron? I think that's something we're going to watch out for. Quick break. When we come back, we'll go across to our reporters. Sharon will be joining us. Siddhant will be joining us. It is voting day in phase 2 of the Gujarat election. Go out there. If you're a Gujarati voter, go out there and cast your franchise. Quick break. We'll see you in a minute.
अगर आप देखिए 77 साल की जो जर्नी है, इस जर्नी के अंदर हमने देखा कि हमेशा जो किसान को अमूल ने प्राधान्य दिया और उसकी आजीविका कैसे अच्छी हो, उसको दूध का जो उत्पाद है वो कैसे उसकी अच्छी पैसे उसको कैसे मिले, और वो इसलिए हो सका क्योंकि मार्केट लिंकेज क्रिएट की गई। और मार्केट लिंकेज क्रिएट करेंगे तो आज आप देखें तो जो किसान जो अमूल है, ये बेसिकली इसका कोई ओनर नहीं है, किसान ही इसके ओनर्स हैं।
Polling has begun for the high-stakes civic polls in the national capital. It is largely being seen as a three-way contest between the incumbent BJP, the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress Party. 1.45 crore voters will be exercising their franchise today. Now, this time around, the BJP has held over 200 meetings and roadshows, while Aam Aadmi Party held a town hall with traders in Delhi. The polling has started and will be continuing till 5:30 p.m. and the counting of votes will take place on December 7th.
The polling has begun for the MCD polls, and in fact, we are coming to you from Ward 141, which is the old Rajendra Nagar. I'll also give you a glimpse of from inside the polling booth, where you can see that people are coming out and they have started to cast their vote. People are coming out in large numbers and they are casting their votes, and in fact it's still early morning and we are expecting that this turnout to go further.
Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal cast his vote today. After casting his vote, Kejriwal slammed BJP and made an appeal to the voters of Delhi. He said, and I quote him here, "People should not vote for the political party that always abuses others." He even called BJP leaders as gundas and lafangas and appealed to the voters to join Aam Aadmi Party and work with Arvind Kejriwal to make Delhi clean.
ईमानदार कट्टर ईमानदार पार्टी को वोट दें। भ्रष्टाचार करने वालों को, लेंटर के पैसे मांगने वालों को वोट मत दें। शरीफ लोगों को वोट दें, अच्छे लोगों को वोट दें। गाली गलौज करने वाले, गुंडागर्दी करने वाले, मारपीट करने वाले, लफंगाई करने वाले लोगों को वोट मत दें। अगले 5 साल हम सबको मिलके दिल्ली की सफाई करनी है, दिल्ली को चमकाना है।
Union Minister Meenakshi Lehi cast her vote and made an appeal to voters to come out and vote for honest leaders. She even said that BJP delivers whatever the party has promised. The Union Minister also lashed out at the Aam Aadmi Party for failing to work and just relying on advertisements to win votes. Lehi also assured that people and all their problems will be solved by 2024.
Greater resources need to be provided, which Delhi government has failed to provide. And then, like Swachh Bharat 1, in Swachh Bharat 2, Government of India had to step in again, and through the MOUD funds, Swachh Bharat 2 funds, the technology has been implemented where 20 meters or so that mountain of garbage has come down, and we have promised that by 24 this will go.
Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia asked voters to come out in large numbers and vote. He also asked people to vote for Aam Aadmi Party so that the party can bring development and Delhi can be cleaned. Sisodia also lashed out at the BJP for the mountain of garbage across the national capital that has not been cleaned since.
We're back from Kevadia into the studio, ladies and gentlemen. That's just a glimpse of what we have in store as far as Alexa and our entire design team has put together for you to get perhaps a never-before experience and nowhere else experience except here at CNN News 18, your election nerve center. Zaka and Maria with me. Let's quickly look at some of the key candidates in these 93 assembly constituencies and who are the ones who really have a story to tell and perhaps a point to prove. First up, you have the incumbent Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel, who was given and put on the saddle 18 months ago. It was a full rejig of the cabinet. He's quite popular. He is from the, of course, the dominant Patidar community. And he is going to be fighting from what has always been a BJP's bastion, that is Gatlodia. Jignesh Mevani from Vadgam is a sitting MLA and firebrand Dalit leader. He's now with the Congress party, although that triumvirate of Jignesh Mevani, Hardik Patel and Alpesh Thakur, two of them have moved out of the Congress. In fact, Hardik Patel will be contesting from Viramgam. And he will be on the BJP symbol this time around. So he went towards leadership within the state Congress and then quit that and came back and is now going to fight. And you also have Chotubai Wasawa. He is going to be contesting from Jhagaria as an independent. Now he's a tribal heavyweight. He's aiming for the 8th straight win. Interesting story there again. His son getting a ticket, then giving up the ticket, and now all energies will be focused on the father, who's going to be contesting on an independent platform. And of course, Alpesh Thakur. Out of the triumvirate, Jignesh Hardik and Alpesh, two of them are now with the BJP. So a lot has changed between 2017, and then you also have Amit Shah, who is a former state party president and sitting MLA. He's also among the key candidates, and he will also be fighting from Amklav. You have Maninal Waghela, who is again contesting against Jignesh Mevani in Vadgam. He's a former Congress MLA who recently joined the BJP. And Jignesh Mevani and Maninal Waghela will be up against each other. So Mevani, will he get the Congress votes, or will the Congress MLA pull away his supporters in favor of the BJP? We'll have to wait and watch. Interesting how dynamics have changed from last time to this. Last time on ground action was Alpesh Thakur with the Thakur community, Jignesh Mevani within the Muslims, and you had Hardik Patel rising up, creating a lot of issues between the Patidars. The Kadwa Patels, Lewa Patels, all of them had different opinions. This time around,
no,
even jhande bhi nahi lag rahe ground pe. That's what's happening.
I think the Patidar agitation, what it did was, we talk about the voter turnout and why it fell. You have to get voters enthused enough for them to come all the way to the voter booth. I think one of the reporters last time said, when the agitation was happening, this was in Surat, there were voters traveling from Surat, traveling all the way to Saurashtra just to cast their vote. That kind of enthusiasm we're not seeing this time around, which is why the voter turnout figures fell as well. But very quickly on the rural versus urban divide, as far as this phase is concerned, remember, Gujarat is one of the most urbanized states in the country. But if you were to look at even this phase, there are a hell of a lot of rural seats. Out of the 93, 58, almost 60 seats, so 2 out of 3 are rural seats. And there again, it was even Stevens last time around. It was in fact one better for the Congress, 28 versus 27 of the BJP, even though the BJP had a higher vote share. BJP had a 45% vote share, Congress only had 42. And a lot of that came from either here, this is Banaskantha, the tribal belt, or it came from the cooperative belt. You will see the BJP making inroads in both of these belts. The question is, can the Congress compensate for that by winning in some of the urban pockets, or will the urban pockets continue to be the guard of the BJP? I think that is going to be where this phase is going to be decided. Remember, in North Gujarat and in Central Gujarat, the Congress did pretty okay last time around. This time around, will they, outmaneuver the BJP, get more seats than the BJP in those rural belts? Given the voter turnout that has fallen in the rural belts over the last, compared to the last 5 years.
Highlighting becomes important, the fall in the women voters.
Yes,
and that women voter is very critical for the BJP. We have seen their enthusiasm. I was in that belt particularly, the cooperative belt.
36 lakh people are part of that cooperative movement in Gujarat, churning out 250 lakh liters of milk every day. She spoke to some of them, and there is a shift, largely Congress, but you spent time in Anand and Kaira,
particularly among the women, and women there, Zaka, were talking about money being, that sense of empowerment that I saw was phenomenal. I have not seen in any other state of India. And Shireen, let me ask that question. What are you seeing in the morning? Are there women standing in the queue? I can see Siddhant as well. I'm going to come to you, Siddhant, in just a bit. Shireen first. Yes, Shireen.
Well, Maria, like the Election Commission said, that the urban apathy continues in Raisan, which is in fact a rural area. The things are much different. We are seeing that there are people who are coming in large numbers to vote. You can see, like you mentioned, yes, the women are also here in large number. Let me directly go across to them. Ma'am, आप किस मुद्दों को लेके यहाँ पे वोट करने आए हैं? यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा ग्रामीण इलाका भी है, तो क्या विमेन सिक्योरिटी है या क्या है, काम को लेके है, किस चीज को लेके आप यहाँ पे आज वोट करने आए हैं?
काम के लिए
काम के लिए। आप मैम, आप काम के लिए अभी तक जो काम हो रहा है, क्या ये अच्छा काम हो रहा है, चल रहा है यहाँ पे?
जी।
तो ये जो ग्रामीण इलाका हो गया और जो शहरी इलाका हो गया, वहाँ पे समस्याएं बहुत अलग होती हैं, तो यहाँ की क्या समस्याएं हैं आपके लिए?
मेन तो मीन्स स्प्रेड्स करते हैं लोग, उनका है, और थोड़ा ट्रैफिक का समस्या है। अच्छा। वो अगर सुलझ जाए तो अच्छी है।
शिरीन आप इनको पूछिए, इन्होंने वोट किया, ये पहली बार वोट कर रहे हैं, कितनी बार वोट किया? शिरीन आप उनको पूछिए कि कितनी बार इन्होंने वोट किया, लास्ट टाइम भी इन्होंने वोट किया था। आप इनसे ये पूछिए, जो लोग वोट नहीं करने आ रहे उनको क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
ये अभी यहाँ पे ना 20 मिनट ही हुआ है यहाँ पे खुल के, लेकिन मैंने देखा कि काफी लोग यहाँ पे नंबर में आ गए हैं। तो ऐसा क्यों है कि शहरी इलाके में कम लोग आते हैं, आपके यहाँ पे लोग ज्यादा आते हैं? कितनी बार आपने वोट किया है यहाँ? अभी तक कितनी बार वोट कर चुके हैं आप?
यहाँ तो 2 बार वोट किया है।
2 बार वोट किया है?
पहले तो हम नरोड़ा रहते थे।
अच्छा, तो अभी यहाँ पे शिफ्ट हुए हैं, तो अभी आपने कितनी बार
फर्स्ट टाइम है, हम जामनगर रहते थे।
अच्छा,
फर्स्ट टाइम।
तो यहाँ पे क्या काफी अब नए लोग यहाँ पे आते हैं क्या? रेसान में नए लोग रहने आते हैं क्या है?
हाँ, इधर तो नए लोग ही है, ज्यादा नया
एरिया है,
पूरा नवा एरिया है। इसके हिसाब से सब लोग अहमदाबाद से ज्यादा यहाँ शिफ्ट हुए हैं।
हाँ।
इसके हिसाब से फर्स्ट टाइम सबका वोट है।
अच्छा, पहली बार सबका वोट है यहाँ पे।
रेसान में वोट है, रेसान में पहली बार वोट है।
फर्स्ट टाइम वोटर्स इज व्हाट दे आर आल्सो रेसान।
फर्स्ट टाइम वोटर्स इन रेसान।
यस, रेसान में पहली बार वोट है। Yes, and that also a very special area this is, because yesterday it was Prime Minister who had in fact visited his mother over here. The mother also lives here and she will in fact be coming out and vote. आप लोग यहाँ पे पहली बार रेसान में आप भी यहाँ पे वोट कर रहे हैं?
This is the second vote.
This is the second vote.
Yeah.
So what is the issues here that you feel?
There are no as such issues. We are just looking at the development out of the Gandhinagar city. And you can see the surrounding areas, Raisan, Sarkasan, Kudasan. They have developed humorously. It is becoming second tier city now.
Okay. South गांधीनगर अल्पेश ठाकुर इस बार लड़ रहे हैं, शंभुल जी नहीं लड़ रहे हैं इस बार। तो क्या will it be an issue? क्या आप लोग काफी 2008 से जो है इस कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी में हमेशा से शंभुल जी जीतते आए हैं, बट इस बार अल्पेश ठाकुर को टिकट दिया गया है।
रिजल्ट का कुछ कह नहीं सकते।
नहीं, लेकिन क्या मतलब
It is basically the good governance will win.
Good governance will win. So that is what the people here have been saying, that good governance will win.
यही मैसेज आ रहा है राजस्थान से। Let me go to Siddhant, who's joining us from where Home Minister Amit Shah will cast his vote roughly around 9:30 a.m. Siddhant, what are you seeing? Very different or similar to what you saw in Surat?
Well, Surat, the polling booth I was reporting from, I could witness more enthusiastic voters this time around. Here in Naranpura, where I'm reporting from, where Home Minister is going to cast his vote, the people are coming, but they're not coming in large numbers, and the voting has started. In fact, people have started queuing up also outside the polling booth. Sir, आप अभी आए हैं क्या? Thank you. इनको बात ही नहीं करना. आप बात करेंगे sir? So there you see the enthusiasm is less. Sir,
no, they don't want to talk. They want to vote. That is also good.
that is also there, Anand. Yes.
पहले मतदान, फिर जलपान, कई जगहों पे हमने ये केसेस भी देखे कि उसके बाद ही कन्यादान. The couples went out to vote first and then they went to get married. But in this, do you see a difference within the enthusiasm, voter level enthusiasm in the urban pockets compared to the rural pockets? Or do you believe that, oh, there's this lady who's just walking in to vote right behind you, a big smile on her face?
Yes, the lady has just gone inside, Anand. So there is enthusiasm, Anand, but also, the voter turnout is less. And in fact, Election Commission has to step in and request people to come out and vote. But also, Anand, this is also responsibility of the political parties, because I've seen on various seats where BJP is strong, they have their booths few meters away from the polling booth, and they are making sure that people come out to vote. So on those seats, the voter turnout is more. But on the seats where BJP is not that strong, or they don't have their booths available, in those seats the voter turnout is not that great. And other than BJP, if we talk about the urban seats, other than BJP, no other party is giving efforts on booth level in urban seats. In rural seats, the other parties are giving more efforts to make sure that people come out to vote. So it depends on seat to seat.
You were also showing that enthusiasm. And that enthusiasm is also not there today. Perhaps it's reflecting what you're seeing on the booth. थोड़ा घूम करके और दिखाइए सिद्धांत, क्या माहौल है?
No, yes. So I will go and speak to people. People are not really interested in speaking here, and in fact, we'll try to speak to some of them. People are also not coming out. I cannot see queue or a line outside the polling booth here in Naranpura. But this is a BJP bastion.
There is a red carpet which has been drawn, and there are people early morning. Siddhant, let me pull away from you. Let's quickly go across to Ranip, because the Prime Minister's cavalcade was at the ready when Zaka was just getting into the magic wall. We got a shot of the Prime Minister's cavalcade just about to set out, where he will go ahead and cast his vote. Arun Danta, what's happening on ground? Are people coming there to vote? Are they coming to get a glimpse of the Prime Minister?
Well, Anand, people are getting crazy here. Not only people of this area, but in fact, the neighborhood they are also present here to witness Prime Minister Modi's presence here. In fact, let me try to speak to few people and try to assess the emotions and feelings. आप बताइए सर, आपने वोट डाल दिया है?
नहीं, डालने को जा रहे हैं।
इधर डालने जा रहे हैं?
हाँ।
क्या इश्यूज हैं यहाँ पर? क्या किन मुद्दों को लेकर आप लोग वोट डाल रहे हैं?
उसने तो क्या नहीं किया गुजरात के लिए मोदी ने, यही कहना मुश्किल है। मोदी ने सब कुछ किया है, आयुष्मान कार्ड से लगभग सब बता दिया है उसने। आयुष्मान कार्ड में लोगों का पक्का ऑपरेशन किया और गरीबों को अनाज।
खुश है विकास से? इधर भी चलते हैं आनंद, आप बताइए कि आप लोगों के लिए क्या इश्यूज हैं यहाँ पर? अभी प्राइम मिनिस्टर भी आने वाले, अपना वोट कास्ट करेंगे, आप यहाँ के वोटर हैं, क्या इश्यूज हैं आप लोगों के?
कोई इशू नहीं। वैसे मोदी जी ने जो करा बहुत करा, गुजरात राज्य के लिए बहुत काफी कुछ अच्छा करा है। वो इन जैसे प्राइम मिनिस्टर के लिए हम बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद है। हमें भगवान ऐसा प्राइम मिनिस्टर हमेशा के लिए दे।
आप बताइए सर, अभी पीएम यहाँ से ओपन जीप में निकलेंगे और हम देख रहे हैं कि क्राउड पूरी तरह से यहाँ पर लोग अभी क्या 1 घंटे पहले से लोग जमा होने शुरू हो गए हैं। किस तरह की भावना है और क्या इश्यूज क्या है यहाँ लोकल इस इलाके में?
ये हमारा भाई है, उनको कोई चिंता नहीं है कि इसमें उधर कोई तकलीफ हो गया। वो हम 1 हफ्ते से उनकी तैयारी कर रहे हैं कि हमारा भाई आने वाला है, वो गुजरात का शेर आने वाला है।
गुजरात का शेर है ना? आप बताइए।
ये गुजरात का शेर है, उसमें कोई भी मत नहीं है। और जो जिस तरह से गुजरात का और भारत का जो विकास किया है उसमें बहुत बड़ा बलिदान है।
इनका वोट कहाँ पे है? इनका वोट वहीं रानीप में है।
कहाँ आपने वोट डाल दिया आपने?
नहीं, अभी डालने का बाकी है।
आपका वोट यहीं पर है?
हाँ, यहीं रानीप पे।
कब जाएंगे, कब तक जाना है?
मोदी साहब को देख के।
और क्या इश्यूज है महिलाओं के लिए? क्या इश्यूज है, क्या आप लोगों के लिए?
महिला को बहुत सपोर्ट करते हैं मोदी भाई।
तो पहले मोदी जी को देखेंगे फिर वोट डालने जाएंगे?
हाँ, पहले मैं मुख्यमंत्री को देखेंगे फिर जाएंगे।
यही है।
आनंद, I would request my camera person to just show the visuals around.
वो 8 साल से, अरुण 8 साल से वो प्रधानमंत्री हैं, लेकिन दैट लेडी सेड हमारे मुख्यमंत्री को देख के फिर हम जाएंगे. So that's the magic of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. As he's about to start, let's quickly take a short break and then come back to the visuals at Ranip. Stay with us, ladies and gentlemen.
The issues also that they face, that also was addressed by the government. Amul has come up with the idea of enhancing breeds of dairy cows and buffaloes by using technologies to double the income of farmers in the next 4 years. The dairy company aims to build a dairy herd that is genetically superior, tested and able to produce twice as much milk at the same cost.
अगर आप देखिए 77 साल की जो जर्नी है, इस जर्नी के अंदर हमने देखा कि हमेशा जो किसान को अमूल ने प्राधान्य दिया और उसकी आजीविका कैसे अच्छी हो, उसको दूध का जो उत्पाद है वो कैसे उसकी अच्छी पैसे उसको कैसे मिले, और वो इसलिए हो सका क्योंकि मार्केट लिंकेज क्रिएट की गई. और मार्केट लिंकेज क्रिएट करेंगे तो आज आप देखें तो जो किसान जो अमूल है, ये बेसिकली इसका कोई ओनर नहीं है, किसान ही इसके ओनर्स हैं.
Polling has begun for the high-stakes civic polls in the national capital. It is largely being seen as a three-way contest between the incumbent BJP, the Ahmedabad Party and the Congress Party. 1.45 crore voters will be exercising their franchise today. Now, this time around, the BJP has held over 200 meetings and roadshows, while Ahmedabad Party held a town hall with traders in Delhi. The polling has started and will be continuing till 5:30 p.m. and the counting of votes will take place on December 7th.
The polling has begun for the MCD polls, and in fact we are coming to you from Ward 141, which is the old Rajendra Nagar. I'll also give you a glimpse of from inside the polling booth, where you can see that people are coming out and they have started to cast their vote. People are coming out in large numbers and they are casting their votes, and in fact it's still early morning and we are expecting that this turnout to go further.
Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal cast his vote today. After casting his vote, Kejriwal slammed BJP and made an appeal to the voters of Delhi. He said, and I quote him here, people should not vote for the political party that always abuses others. He even called BJP leaders as gundas and lafangas and appealed to the voters to join Aam Aadmi Party and work with Arvind Kejriwal to make Delhi clean.
ईमानदार कट्टर ईमानदार पार्टी को वोट दें। भ्रष्टाचार करने वालों को, लेंटर के पैसे मांगने वालों को वोट मत दें। शरीफ लोगों को वोट दें, अच्छे लोगों को वोट दें। गाली गलौज करने वाले, गुंडागर्दी करने वाले, मारपीट करने वाले, लफंगाई करने वाले लोगों को वोट मत दें। अगले 5 साल हम सबको मिलके दिल्ली की सफाई करनी है, दिल्ली को चमकाना है।
Union Minister Meenakshi Lekhi cast her vote and made an appeal to voters to come out and vote for honest leaders. She even said that BJP delivers whatever the party has promised. The Union Minister also lashed out at the Aam Aadmi Party for failing to work and just relying on advertisements to win votes. Lekhi also assured that people and all their problems will be solved by 2024.
Greater resources need to be provided, which Delhi government has failed to provide. And then, like Swachh Bharat 1, in Swachh Bharat 2, Government of India had to step in again, and through the MOUD funds, Swachh Bharat 2 funds, the technology has been implemented where 20 meters or so that mountain of garbage has come down, and we have promised that by 24 this will go.
Welcome back. It's the battle for the states. Gujarat going to polls in the second phase. 93 assembly constituencies, more than 2.5 crore voters. And if your vote is in north or central Gujarat, bahar nikal, ungli kar, ladies and gentlemen. Pehle matdan, phir jalpan. Everywhere, that should be the call. Because the Election Commission is also concerned with voter apathy. If you have not cast your vote, then you should not complain going forward or ask for anything. These are aspects which perhaps a responsibility in democracy that all of us, we have to do nirvah of our kartavya, that is to go out and vote. Rashid Kidwai is with us, Maria Shakil in the studio, and so is Zaka Jacob. The importance of women voters, what people feel, and more importantly, this overarching imagery of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the rise in his stature, so much so people just want to get a glimpse of him. That's all they want. Modi ne hamare liye sab kuch kiya hai. This sentiment, Rashid Kidwai, how difficult is it going to be for the opposition to beat?
I think, Anand, it's proving to be quite a mission impossible for years now. And every time the opposition tries a different tactics, last time around, as you were mentioning, it was very high-pitched, very, high-spirit campaign by the Congress, and they had mobilized a lot of resources, but it didn't work. This time around, it's a triangular contest. My only interest is this, when we emphasize so much about this urban votes and where BJP is getting a large chunk and Aam Aadmi Party being a largely urban party, how will it reflect in voting? Because if Aam Aadmi Party gets a chunk of vote, and assuming that it's all anti-incumbency, then maybe it may hurt the BJP, and then what will be the outcome of these urban seats where the BJP tends to win with a higher margin? So all this, it's a very complex election. It's not an easy election for the BJP. Remember, Anand, that when there is a kind of so much of pro-incumbency, it becomes very difficult to motivate the voters. I mean, on the one hand, we see that there's a greater traction among women voters. At the same time, we see a drop of, women voting percentage.
Yes.
So this is something, it's a serious thing. It's something that the BJP needs to address it.
Okay, Advaita, this specific point that we have been discussing, the women voters, I saw a lot of enthusiasm among the rural women. They were talking about how they have benefited from the schemes of the Modi government. But when we look at the voter percentage, there has been a drop of 4 to 5%, particularly among the women.
Right. So I think what we'll wait for the final numbers to come in, but I think you will see a drop across the board when it comes to voting percentages because of the pro-incumbency factor. I think it's huge in this present election. The other thing also I wanted to point out was one aspect of engaging in political life for women voters is, of course, being part of the voter base. And the Prime Minister has just tweeted encouraging young people and women voters to come out specifically and vote. The other aspect is, of course, of that of political participation and political decision making. In Gujarat, I was just seeing figures come up, and it hasn't been more than 10% women representation in the assembly. About 111 women have actually made it to the assembly in Gujarat. So I think it's very important for political parties, and especially a political party like the BJP, which is in pole position. And we just saw that woman voter saying that Modi Bhai has done a lot for women, and that is indeed true. I think it's very important to take it to the next level and encourage political participation as well as winnability of women candidates, because that is really one area wherein you're seeing this drop in female participation. And we shouldn't just only look at it from the prism of voting, but also from the prism of winning elections. And something like 104 women lost their deposits in 2017. So I think it's incumbent for a more inclusive society, for a more inclusive polity, for political parties really to now start focusing on projecting women candidates as winnable candidates and supporting them. And I think that will also impact the female voter turnout.
Yes, policy which is women-centric and ensuring that women are also seen to be contesting elections. Nalin, चुनाव स्पष्टता से लड़ा जाता है, तो चुनाव का लक्ष्य जीत होता है. That's what Amit Shah had famously said. On one hand, you have a campaign blitzkrieg, aggressive campaigning of the, in fact, visuals are coming in. Prime Minister's cavalcade is now leaving and he'll be going straight to cast his vote. Those visuals on our television screens, that entire cavalcade movement.
Absolutely amazing, isn't it, that he keeps to time, he sticks to time. About an hour ago, he said, I will go to cast my vote around 9 a.m. And at 8:49, the cavalcade is on its way from where the Prime Minister is staying right to where he's going to cast his vote. Now, is the Prime Minister going to step out or will that rally be after he casts his vote? That's what we'll have to see, whether or not he stops by and then shows that he has gone out and voted after he casts his vote, or will he just do it like a small mini road show?
Massive preparations for the
But the PM is not in the open jeep right now.
Yes.
He is sitting inside that black SUV that went ahead, and this is the entire cavalcade following him. Zaka, it'll be important to see whether he does this before he goes to vote or after he casts his vote. And he has flirted with the MCC in the past also very smartly.
I think he'll go straight in, vote, come out, and then of course interact with the people there. I believe Arun was also saying that his brother stays very close by to this primary school in Ranip where he'll be voting. So he might actually walk down. He stays barely 500 meters away. So he might actually walk down to meet his brother. And while he's going there, he will of course interact with the karyakartas, the voters who've come there. But certainly, I think the first thing he will do is walk straight into the booth and cast his vote.
Prime Minister was there, you know, in Gujarat, interacting with the party workers, interacting with the party MLAs to really ensure that enthusiasm is there, that there's no room for complacency in Nalin Mehta, because the party realizes कि जो supporters हैं वो booth तक आएं, वो बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है नलिन.
Look, there is certainly no room for complacency, Maria. This is an election of prestige. I think what is at question is not who's number one, but with what margin, and then at the number 2 and number 3, how that game plays out. So it really is about prestige. There's no question of on the question of women. I wanted to add a point here because we've been discussing that for a while. Two things on the question of women. The women vote is fundamentally important to the BJP in Gujarat specifically, and overall of course, but in Gujarat very specifically, it's been core to the BJP's dominance in the last 10 or 15 years. There is a drop in the women turnout, but on the other hand, there's been an overall increase in the universe of women voters, which has increased by about 3 to 5%. Correct. So that's number one. And therefore, that's why I was saying that, you know, we should be. I just wanted to add another layer to the analysis on the turnout numbers, which is true for overall as well. On the question of women representation.
Please complete.
Jerry, go on.
Please complete. You complete.
The other point I want to make on, I'm sorry, there was some disturbance, but the other point I want to make on women representation in Gujarat is as follows, that if you look at, Advaita is absolutely right, that the number of women candidates in all parties is fairly low compared to many other states. But if you look at the party leadership, in the Gujarat BJP, it's around 30.7%. The women leadership. If you look at the vice presidents of the party in Gujarat, it's about 30%. Among secretary level, it's 55.5%. So it's much higher.
Allow me to pull away from you, and we're going to go across to Arun Danta. Arun, there is a lot of activity on ground. There are a lot of people who are walking ahead of Prime Minister. There's a huge crowd there right outside the polling booth. Take us through what's happening around you. The Prime Minister's cavalcade is en route.
Well, that's right, Anand. You just saw the security personnel who were just moving on this road, of course, sanitizing the entire way before Prime Minister Modi comes here and casts his vote, and then he will be, conducting that road show, what we are told, in an open jeep. And look at the enthusiasm here in the people. And Anand, one thing that I found out here is that people are not, going to cast their vote before they, see Prime Minister Modi. They are waiting for Prime Minister Modi. Once they will see Prime Minister Modi, then only they will be heading to the polling booth. And that is perhaps the reason why Prime Minister Modi not wasting much time, straight away coming here, casting his vote, and then start with his road show, so that afterwards people can go and cast their vote. So right now, let me try to speak to few people here. आप बताइए, वोट अभी तक क्यों नहीं डाला आपने?
मोदी को देखने आए हम, पहले मोदी को देख के बाद में इसलिए टाइम हो जाएगा, इसीलिए हम नहीं आए. अभी जाते हैं सीधा ही बाजू में ही वोट देके वापस जाएंगे.
अच्छा, उसके बाद जाएंगे.
हाँ.
ठीक है. आप बताइए, वोट डाल दिया आपने?
नहीं, अभी डालेंगे. मोदी जी को देख के
सारे लोग यहाँ पे जितने भी हैं अभी तक वोट नहीं डाला, सब मोदी को देखने के बाद वोट
डालने वाले सब मोदी को देखकर ही वोट डालेंगे.
अच्छा, आप बताइए, क्या इश्यूज हैं आप लोगों के लिए यहाँ पर?
मोदी साहब को देखने के बाद वोटिंग करेंगे.
अच्छा, वोटिंग उसके बाद करेंगे. इश्यूज क्या हैं आप लोगों के लिए, क्या मुद्दे क्या हैं जिसको सोचकर आप लोग वोट डालेंगे?
मोदी साहब को देखकर वोटिंग करेंगे.
आपने वोट डाल दिया सर? वोट डाल दिया? वोट? अच्छा, आप सुबह ही वोट डालने चले गए? हाँ. बहुत सारे लोग अभी उन्होंने डाला नहीं है, कह रहे हैं पीएम को देख.
नहीं, सब डालेगा.
अच्छा, आप क्या इश्यूज हैं आपके लिए, क्या मुद्दे हैं यहाँ पर?
भाजपा सही है.
क्या काम हुए, किस तरह के काम?
सब काम किया है ना, हम तो देखते हैं.
Arun, how far is the polling booth from where you are?
On the both sides.
How far is the polling booth from where you are?
Well, Anand, just not even 30 meters. Not even 30 meters. And in fact, not. Yes.
Yes, so not even not so far away, but you have people standing on top of poles. They are standing out on the first floor and second floor of their homes in the balcony, and they are all waiting to see Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So is the PM going to come from your left as you are facing the road? Where the VJ is showing us the visuals, is he going to come from that side of the road?
Well, that's Anand. We are told that Prime Minister Modi will come from that side where you see on the camera.
So from the right.
And perhaps first he will cast his vote, and then he will take that road show in that open jeep. We are also told that he is likely to visit his elder brother who resides in the vicinity of the school where Prime Minister Modi is going to cast his vote. So everyone here with a bated breath waiting for Prime Minister Modi. We have a couple of youngsters as well. We'll also try to find out some reactions.
PM has urged women and youngsters to come out and vote. Ask them about it.
मोदी जी को देख के जाने वाले हैं. अभी मोदी जी आए तो पहले उनको देखेंगे, फिर उनको वोट दे के आएंगे.
पहले उनको देखेंगे. ऐसा क्यों? सब लोग यहाँ जितने भी हैं पहले पीएम को देखेंगे, फिर वोट डालेंगे. ऐसा क्यों? वोट डाल के भी तो आ सकते हैं.
वो पहले जा सकते हैं, लेकिन पहले उनको देखने की खुशी इतनी सारी होती है, तो फिर बाद में वोट डालने जाते हैं. और ये उनकी जन्मभूमि है, तो सब उनको ही.
आपने वोट डाल दिया? वोट
भाजपा, वोट पर भाजपा.
क्या युवाओं के लिए क्या इश्यूज हैं, क्या है?
बस थोड़ा एजुकेशन, थोड़ा
प्रोडक्ट एजुकेशन के रिलेटेड है वोट।
आप बताइए, एक्साइटेड हैं?
यस।
क्यों?
बहुत इडली तो जो आया।
अच्छा,
वोट डाल दिया आपने? रिश्ता इतना पुराना है।
चुनरी कार्ड नहीं है।
पीएम को जो आया कह रहे हैं कि पीएम को देखने आया। That's what you're saying in Gujarati there. सब लोग पीएम को देखना है। अरुण, it's quite a sizable turnout there. We're going to stay with these visuals because the Prime Minister is going to come in at any point from there. Yes, go ahead. Take us through what you see. We see people on top of the roof also there. And on the far side on the balconies.
Yes, Anand, even on the rooftop in their balconies, people are out. This is the best place which they have got, through this road from where Prime Minister Modi will be going. And in fact, you see these people, even the elderly women, in their balconies, coming out, waiting for Prime Minister Modi. Every part of this area is completely chock-a-block. People who can't come down on the road, they are finding a better seat in their balconies, and even if they don't have, if they reside on the other side of the building, they're coming in the house of their neighbor to witness Prime Minister Modi's presence here in this area. And in fact, as we speak, the entire road being sanitized. You can see these white shirt people, these are the security personnel, local police of Gujarat, trying to ensure there is no untoward incident. The entire way is sanitized. You can see these people, wearing, caps, BJP cap, and drums, dhol, nagad, and everything is there. Everything is to welcome Prime Minister Modi, and Prime Minister Modi is ensuring that as long as he is in, because he has a very small window when he is staying in Gujarat, and he'll be heading back to Delhi, and then later on he'll be addressing a gathering there in BJP office as well, where all the national office bearers of BJP will be waiting for Prime Minister Modi, and then he will be addressing the gathering there as well. But here in Ahmedabad, this area, Ranip area of Ahmedabad, it comes under the Sabarmati constituency of Ahmedabad, and you can see these people with bated breath waiting. Even on that side, you can see somebody is holding. I'll try to go across there. Who's holding the photograph of Prime Minister Modi and his mother. Try to speak to them. Yeah.
कल ही प्रधानमंत्री मिले अपनी मां से, और वही माहौल है जो 5 साल पहले मैंने देखा था आनंद,
मोदी जी और
वही एंथुसियाज्म जो आज भी दिख रहा है।
आप आए हैं यहाँ पर मोदी जी को देखने? हाँ। अच्छा, आप बताइए मैम, आपने वोट डाल दिया?
नहीं, अभी जाना है।
सब लोग यहाँ पर पहले पीएम को देखना चाहते हैं, उसके बाद
जाएंगे।
ऐसा क्यों आप लोग इतना प्रधानमंत्री को इतना प्यार करते हैं?
क्योंकि वो हर साल आते हैं और बहुत त्योहार जैसा माहौल होता है। 2 दिनों से सब लोग इतनी तैयारियां कर रहे हैं, पूरा त्योहार जैसा लगता है।
त्योहार जैसा लगता है। आप बताइए, आपके लिए महिलाओं के लिए यहाँ पर क्या इश्यूज है, क्या काम हुए हैं, और आप लोग क्या चाहते हैं, क्या होना चाहिए?
वो तो सभी के लिए अच्छा ही काम करते हैं ना, वो तो सभी के लिए अच्छा ही काम करते हैं, महिला बच्चे सभी के लिए।
आप बताइए सर।
गुजरात मॉडल है, गुजरात के मॉडल, मोदी हमारे गुजरात के मॉडल है, मोदी हमारे गुजरात के मॉडल है,
मोदी गुजरात के मॉडल है।
Sitting there, Anand, so people from every yes.
Well, quite a turnout there, and that is the picture of Prime Minister Narendra Modi with Hira Bas. He had paid a visit to his mother just on the eve of Gujarat going to polls. Today he is going to cast his ballot, and like Zaka was mentioning, Arun was mentioning, he will be then, after casting his vote, walking across to perhaps pay and meet his elder brother who resides not so far away from this polling booth. But right now it's the festival of democracy. It's a parv which is supposed to be celebrated. People are waiting to catch a glimpse of their Prime Minister and of course the son of the soil before they themselves go to cast their ballot, exercise their right. Advaita Kala, this parv and this celebration, there is a lot of tayari. They say 2 din se tayari kar rahe hain PM ke aane ki. But more importantly, is this going to urge or encourage more people to come out and cast their democratic right and their duty?
Well, let's hope so. I think this election is bit of a challenge in that sense, because it's so one-sided. that there is a possibility that voters might take it for granted as far as the outcome is concerned and not feel that push as such. Also, there is the instance of, having no emotive issue as such to go out and vote. We've seen very often that when there is an emotive issue on the table, voters are far more participatory and, want to make sure that their voice and their vote is heard. In this particular case, wherein you keep hearing that there are no issues from across the state, this will be, I think, the biggest challenge really in this particular election. And coming back to Prime Minister's photograph with his mother, I mean, there's just that, image wherein they're sitting on the couch and what looks like they're watching TV. And it's so relatable for anyone who has elderly relatives, just spending time with them very often just becomes about sitting with them and watching what's playing on the TV. And I just think that it's always endearing whenever he meets her, and something that's extremely relatable despite the political opposition kind of making a big fuss about it. But it's so simple and so real every time he is with his mother.
No, they've also, the family itself has kept it simple. They've steered clear of a lot of the privileges that are accorded to families who's got a member in a high office. That's also something credible. And importantly, in Gujarat, ladies and gentlemen, what I saw is most of the politicians are free of any kind of entourage or too much of fanfare. They like to keep it simple, and also the people like it when the netas on ground keep it simple and are approachable and also accessible. A lot of them are also using technology to try and stay connected and to also address grievances. So a lot of the governance aspects come into play. Are there local issues? Yes, there are. Are there issues that the people of Gujarat want to be want sorted? Yes. Are there issues within administration, corruption within the bureaucracy? These are issues that have been talked about. But who do they turn to for solving these issues? That's the big question at this point. Let's go across to Arun Dhanta again. We have Madhav Nalapatji also joining us. Good morning, Madhavji, but quickly getting a report from Arun. Arun, what's the word? Any signs of movement, alertness, which indicates that the Prime Minister could arrive there any moment now?
Well, Anand, any moment from, because we had seen that twice the security personnel had crossed on these roads to actually see through it and to sanitize the entire road. Any moment from now, we expect Prime Minister Modi to reach here and to cast, because for him the priority is, of course, to cast his vote. And once he casts his vote, then he will be moving in that open jeep where he'll be showing people who are waiting for Prime Minister with a sign or the finger, on which the ink will be there after casting the vote. So that is something which we are told at this moment, that Prime Minister Modi first will come here and cast his vote, and then the other things will proceed. Remember, Prime Minister Modi has a very small window of time, so he wants to utilize that time as much as he can, because then he will be straight away heading back to Delhi. Look at the enthusiasm here. Balconies are completely filling up. Anand, a few minutes ago there were 2 or 3 people in the balcony. Now you can see the entire stretch is being filled. Even the youngsters, small kids, young kids, they all are either on the rooftop or in their balconies. And look at the atmosphere on the both sides of the road. People are wearing BJP caps. They have flags of BJP on their hands. Wherever people are getting spaces, they are finding themselves there. And the entire road is it's green now. It seems that, in fact, before 10 to 15 minutes ago, we were on the road. Now we were also told to move aside in the barricades. Now we are expecting Prime Minister Modi to reach here any moment from now. The first thing will be, of course, to go in, because Prime Minister Modi knows that there are people who have not casted their vote yet, and therefore it is important for him to go there and cast his vote first, so that security people will not have a tough task, because there are very heavy security at the polling booth, and it will be very difficult for voters to go there, because there will be a massive checkup at different places. So Prime Minister wants to ensure that he casts his vote, so the space will be open for people to cast their votes. So, but now what is important, what is priority for people is to watch Prime Minister Modi. आप बताइए सर, अब से कुछ देर में मोदी जी आने वाले हैं, और बहुत सारे लोग ऐसे हैं जो अभी वेट कर रहे हैं कि उसके बाद वोट डालेंगे। आप भी वेट कर रहे हैं कि वोट डाल दिया?
नहीं, वोट बाकी है हमारा।
बाकी है?
हाँ।
तो इतना जोश, इतना उत्साह क्यों?
मोदी जी ये एरिया के ये है और हम मोदी जी से बचपन से चाहते हैं।
अच्छा।
और उनका जोश भारत देश आगे बढ़ेगा उनके।
मोदी जी तो अब दिल्ली में बैठते हैं।
आई एम 68 years old, लेकिन मैं मोदी जी का वो फेवर करते हैं हम सब लोग।
आप बताइए सर, आप वोट डाल दिया आपने?
हाँ, वोट डाल दिया।
अरे वाह, आप बहुत कम लोगों में से हैं जिन्होंने अभी पहले वोट डाला है। बाकी सब लोग
जब स्टार्ट नहीं हुआ तब से पहले लाइन में खड़े हो गए थे वोट डालने के लिए।
अच्छा, अब आप पीएम को देखने यहाँ पे आ गए।
आगे
अच्छा, क्या पसंद है आपको प्रधानमंत्री?
वो देश के लिए अच्छा कर रहा है ना मोदी जी, तो उसको देखने के लिए हम आए।
जिन लोगों ने अभी तक वोट नहीं किया उनको क्या कहेंगे? पूछिए जिन्होंने वोट डाला है उनसे क्या कहेंगे?
क्या बोलते हैं? आपने वोट डाल दिया?
हाँ, डाल दिया ना।
अरे वाह, आप बहुत सारे लोग हैं जिन्होंने वोट नहीं डाला, आप उनको क्या कहना चाहेंगे जिन्होंने अभी वोट नहीं डाला है?
हर आदमी का वो फर्ज है सबसे पहले वोट डाल दे साहब, जो भी जिसको भी देने का है।
मोदी साहब क्या रहा मोदी साहब, हम तुम्हारे राह जो ही रहे मोदी साहब, आपने राह जो है घना टाइम दिया, थाकी गया।
That gentleman is saying, अरुण, कि मोदी साहब आप कब आओगे? आपकी राह जोकर देखते हुए हम थक गए हैं, जल्दी आइए। That's what he's saying in Gujarati.
गायत्री मंदिर जोड़ी जवान महाराज आई 50 गायत्री मंदिर
आ रहे आप बताइए।
थक गए खड़े होकर आपके लिए राह जोते हुए देखते हुए, जल्दी आइए। That's what he's saying.
स्कूल में जवान गायत्री मंदिर आई 50 जवान भाई એટલા માટે મોદી સાહેબ में क्या जो
he is asking you to convey the message to Prime Minister Modi. That gentleman there, very sweet of him.
મારે મળવું તો શું કરે મોદી સાહેબ, તો મળવું શું કરવું પડે મોદી સાહેબ, મારે મળવું શું કરવું પડે? હા, મોદી સાહેબ મારે તો મળવું છે, ક્યારે આવું બોલો?
So he wants to, this gentleman is saying, Arun, he wants to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He is saying, मोदी जी से मिलने के लिए मुझे क्या करना पड़ेगा? मुझे मोदी जी से मिलना है, मुझे मोदी जी से मिलना है, मोदी जी से मिलने के लिए मुझे क्या करना पड़ेगा? And then he is also saying, मैं सुबह से रुका हुआ उनके लिए थक गया हूँ, जल्दी आइए।
हमारा हाथ मिलाओ, हमारा मोदी को हाथ
आने वाले
वो कह रहे हैं कि मोदी जी से मेरा हाथ मिलवाओ, मैं मिलना चाहता हूँ उनसे।
आप बताइए कि क्यों पसंद करते हैं प्रधानमंत्री को?
वो इतनी गरीबी से इतने ऊपर आए, उनकी मेहनत की वजह से वो हमको सबसे ज्यादा अच्छा लगता है। उनको देख के प्रेरित होते हैं मेहनत करने के लिए।
अच्छा, और वोट डाल दिया आपने?
नहीं, अभी मैं
अच्छा, युवाओं के लिए क्या देखते हैं आप प्रधानमंत्री में? जितने युवा हैं वो क्या देखते हैं प्रधानमंत्री में, क्या चाहते हैं प्रधानमंत्री?
उनकी जैसी फैन फॉलोइंग हो और सबको पसंद करे, वही सबसे अच्छी चीज है।
He wants a fan following like that.
आप बताइए।
पटेल जिम्मी
क्या आप ये चाहते हैं प्रधानमंत्री की तरफ फैन फॉलोइंग हो, और आप तो प्रधानमंत्री में क्या पसंद करते हैं?
मैं बहुत उत्सुक हूँ उनको देखने के लिए, और मैं उनको देख के मुझे प्रेरणा मिलती है।
अच्छा,
प्रधानमंत्री बनने।
आप बताइए सर, बताइए वोट डाल दिया आपने? वोट
अभी दे देंगे।
अभी डालेंगे?
हाँ।
अच्छा, प्रधानमंत्री आने वाले हैं।
हाँ।
क्या देखते हैं, क्या विकास हुआ है यहाँ पर, और क्या इश्यूज है इस इलाके में?
ये गुजरात में भी अच्छा काम किया है और फॉरेन भी अच्छा काम किया है।
अच्छा, खुश हैं? आप बताइए, प्रधानमंत्री आने वाले हैं, क्या इश्यूज है इस इलाके में युवाओं के लिए, क्या विकास हुआ है और क्या युवा चाहते हैं?
अभी इस इलाके में स्टडी के लिए तो बहुत अच्छा है, स्कूल अच्छी बनाई है, प्राइवेट और गवर्नमेंट की स्कूल अच्छी है इधर, और रोड रास्ते भी अच्छे होते हैं, बाकी सब अच्छा ही होता है।
Well, we're getting visuals of the road, and at any moment the Prime Minister's cavalcade should arrive. Keep speaking to people, Arun. We'll alert you. We'll continue to stay with the visuals that we're getting from our CNN News 18 cameras, and also we're just coming in with the overall news feed. This seems to be the path that the Prime Minister's cavalcade would take. In about 5 to 7 minutes, we are expecting him to be present at the polling booth to cast his vote. Whether or not he interacts or signals to the cameras, we'll have to wait. or does he save all of that until after he's exercised his democratic duty and responsibility of casting the ballot? Yes, Arun.
जी क्या कह रहे थे बताइए सुबह 4 बजे से
हाँ सुबह 4 बजे से इधर झक के रोड पे इधर उधर घूम रहे हैं मोदी जी का इंतजार कर रहे हैं लेकिन 8 बजे आने वाले 8:30 बजे आने वाले थे तो भी हम वैसे
4 बजे से कहाँ थे
बस इधर रोड पे ही इधर ही 4 बजे से ही सुबह इधर पुलिस पेट्रोलिंग कर रही है तब से हम इधर खड़े हैं रोड पे
अरुण इनको पूछिए जिन्होंने वोट नहीं किया उनको क्या कहेंगे
वोट डाला जिन्होंने वोट नहीं किया है उनके लिए क्या मैसेज देना चाहेंगे
नहीं वोट तो देना ही पड़ेगा वोट के हिसाब से तो ये जो सब अपना है वो
आपने ये नहीं सोचा कि पहले पीएम को देख लूं फिर वोट करूं
है
आपने ये नहीं सोचा पहले प्रधानमंत्री को देखूं फिर वोट करूं
नहीं प्रधानमंत्री तो 9 बजे के बाद में आने वाले थे पहले हम बोला वोट दे के आ जाए फिर शांति से देखेंगे हम
आपने वोट दे दिया
नहीं अभी बाकी है
हाँ। आप देखने के बाद
देखने के बाद
आप बताइए आप इधर आ जाइए आप बताइए आप क्यों प्रधानमंत्री मोदी को इतना पसंद करते क्यों इतना क्राउड यहाँ इकट्ठा हुआ है क्या लगता है आपको
सबके मन पसंद है प्रधानमंत्री अच्छे हैं काम बहुत अच्छा करते हैं बहुत
अच्छा प्रधानमंत्री मुख्यमंत्री तो नहीं रहे वो यहाँ तो रहते नहीं दिल्ली रहते हैं फिर भी इतना क्यों प्यार
उनका यहाँ से वो जुड़ा हुआ है उनका ये सब हमारे साथ दिल जुड़ा हुआ है सब अच्छे से उनको पसंद करते हैं सब काम बहुत अच्छा किया है गुजरात में
अच्छा आपने ये ऊपर वाली सीट ले ली यहाँ से व्यू कैसा आ रहा है
अच्छा आ रहा है यहाँ से भी
क्या क्या पसंद है मोदी जी में आपको
मोदी जी सबके लिए मतलब अच्छा कर रहे हैं तो सब पसंद ही होगा ना
उनको पूछो वोट किया कि नहीं
हाँ वोट डाल दिया
दिखाओ उंगली दिखाओ
अरे वाह
बालकनी व्यू है वहाँ पे
आपने भी कर लिया
हाँ कर लिया
but
मोदी है तो मुमकिन है
कितने बजे वोट डाला आपने वोट कब डाला
8:30 बजे
8:30 बजे वोट डाल दिया ये सोच के कि मोदी जी बाद में आने वाले पहले वोट दे के बैठ जाओ
हाँ वही
आप जानते हो मोदी जी को
हाँ
कौन है
प्राइम मिनिस्टर है
अच्छा आप क्यों आए हो यहाँ पर क्या क्या देखना है
मोदी मोदी जी को देखने के लिए वोट देने वाले हैं निशान स्कूल में
अच्छा पसंद करते हैं मोदी जी को
यस
क्या पसंद है
उनमें वो अच्छे के लिए बूढ़े के लिए सब काम कर रहे हैं
अच्छे लीडर है
वो अच्छे के लिए
अच्छे लीडर है Arun Danta. I'll pull away from you for a bit. We'll stay with the visuals and you get among the crowd. Professor Madhav Nalapat is also with us. Advaita Kala stays on with us. Madhavji, namaste. This is the kind of love and adulation that we see on ground for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. But will this encourage the voters to come out and vote in larger numbers compared to phase 1?
Anand, the point is that from the time he began his formal political career in Gujarat in 2001, Narendra Modi has been undefeated. I think the people of Gujarat know very well how important this election is for Prime Minister Modi. Yes. And that is why I think a lot of the focus is on Prime Minister Modi rather than Chief Minister Patel or the state government. A lot of the focus is on the central government headed by Prime Minister Modi, because they know the importance of this election in strengthening the hands of the Prime Minister, not just the Chief Minister. So I think this is something that we could see across the board. They're all talking of the Prime Minister.
Madhavji, you talked about the Chief Minister, and we've just got visuals of Bhupendra Patel, the incumbent CM, walking to cast his ballot. He's contesting from Ghatlodia. Largely, he has kept his counsel. He's not spoken to the national media much because he prefers to speak and interact in Gujarati. He steered clear of English and Hindi, and he wants to speak in Gujarati, and he's focused on addressing the rallies. And like you said, the attention has been on Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Amit Shah and the central leadership more than the local leadership, even though there are some of the local leaders who've been more vocal than Bhupendra Patel himself.
And the point being made here of central government and the state government. So it's 20 years of governance of Prime Minister Narendra Modi that people in Gujarat are voting for, 12 years as Chief Minister and 8 years as the Prime Minister. Mr. Nalapat, continue to make that point, because I think that becomes important. 20 years of governance is what the people of Gujarat are voting for today.
Well, look, the fact of the matter is that fortunately, a lot of the people remember that
there seems to be some problem with that line. We'll try and connect with Mr. Nalapat. But Advaita, come in on this. We can see those visuals of Bhupendra Patel, the Chief Minister, understanding fully well that as far as this election is concerned, it is about brand Narendra Modi, that overarching theme, that image of Prime Minister there in all posters, and he realizing that this election, if he wins, it will be because of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. That's why he has stayed largely low-key.
I mean, not just this state. I mean, look at the other states. Prime
Absolutely.
Minister Modi
Your state as well, Uttarakhand.
overarching. Yeah, Uttarakhand, for example. You know, I was just thinking back when I was listening to the voters speaking about Prime Minister Modi in Gujarat right now. I said, you know, they could have you could have carried out this exercise in Uttarakhand on the day of voting, and if Prime Minister was in there for some reason, you would find a very similar response. And I think this is what is incredible about. And I want to move beyond politics, because you know we live in an era where politicians, despite their power, are very often criticized, reviled. But in this case, with this particular gentleman, I think it's fascinating to watch the direct connect he has with people despite being in such high office. And people in Gujarat, of course, his home state, or places like Uttarakhand, which is a small hill state, the connect he has with people there. I think for younger politicians, and really for us, even as just citizens, we're seeing a phenomena. And
well, Bhupendra Patel, Advaita Kala, interrupting you, Bhupendra Patel casting his vote, but the Prime Minister's cavalcade is turning into towards Nishan School. We'll go full frame to those visuals, please. And stay with these visuals as Prime Minister walks, the cavalcade comes in slowly. You have the SPG, the security detail walking ahead of him. And we'll go back down on ground to the visuals and of course chants of hailing the PM. So that's it. There he is, waving to the crowds, and people are waving to him. We'll try and... Arun, if you can hear us, take us through what you see, because the Prime Minister's cavalcade is now arriving and drawing close to Nishan School, which is the polling booth in Ranip.
Well, Anand, Prime Minister Modi is reaching in few seconds to the polling booth where he will be casting his vote. I can see the first car of the Prime Minister Modi's cavalcade. Perhaps this is the first car which you can see.
We can see the PM. He's rolled down the windows and he's waving to the people. We've got the visuals coming through of the Prime Minister's vehicle, and he's got his left hand out. He's waving to the people. There you go, that hand out, and he's waving to the people. He's sitting there and waving out his left hand. Those are the visuals of the Prime Minister. The other angle as he's passing through. Yes, Arun, take us through.
Yes, Anand. Now I can see 3 or 4 cars. Prime Minister Modi is waving to the crowd here, and these people, Anand, have been waiting since morning. And as you were speaking to people, there were few people who cast their votes, in advance, just to make sure that they do not miss the glimpse of Prime Minister Modi. And they were very early at the polling booth, and in fact, Prime Minister Modi is walking. Anand, he is on the road, leaving behind his car, and Prime Minister Modi is, handling, waving hands to the crowd. These people were bated breath for Prime Minister Modi's presence here on the ground, and Prime Minister Modi has planned to walk for at least 100 meters, before he casts his vote to reach the polling booth. You can see the visuals of Prime Minister Modi, and he's there, in fact, in our cameras as well. Anand, you can see Prime Minister Modi, waving on the both sides of the road. And this is the moment, Anand, for which these people were waiting. Many of them who are not giving their votes. And afterwards, after watching Prime Minister, this is the glimpse. This is everything. This is everything for what these people were here on the roads of Ahmedabad in Sabarmati constituency. And look at the moment, look at the joy. The balconies, the rooftops, every voting is completely choco-block. People from all the ages, in fact, some old women are, waving hands at the Prime Minister. And Prime Minister Modi is, completing the entire 100-meter stretch to reach the polling booth by walking. And you can see the cavalcade of Prime Minister Modi following him. Prime Minister Modi is reaching very close to the polling booth and waving his hand to the crowds and everyone. This is completely choco-block here, both sides of the road. Prime Minister Modi, as he said that he will be at the polling booth around 9:15, 9:20, 9:30.
Well, I think it's the jammers that have come in close as Arun Danta is speaking, and there is a bit of an interruption. We try and go across to him, but look at the chants of Modi and Zaka. More importantly, look at the palpitations the SPG will be having. Absolutely. Because he's there, out there, totally exposed, walking right on the middle of the road, and the SPG is walking behind him. But that's his confidence and comfort with his people, saying, I'm in my own constituency, I don't need to be bothered.
Absolutely, and I think one of the fascinating things is, you've seen politicians, when they are running on the ticket, they have the ability to sort of enthuse crowds. But in this election, Prime Minister is not on the ticket. This is an election for the state government, and yet he's been in office for 20 years. He is the star vote catcher, the star campaigner for the BJP, and you can see the local BJP leaders who are waiting there to receive the Prime Minister, walking the last 100 meters. This kind of crowd, this kind of enthusiasm, this is what the BJP voter needs. This is what the party was talking about. This is what the government there was talking about, that they need something enthusing for the voters to come out. We didn't see this in phase one, but now we're seeing, at least in this one constituency in Ranip at the Nishan High School, where the Prime Minister is going to be casting his vote. He's walked those last 100 meters. And remember, these pictures are going all across Gujarat. People in other constituencies that are to vote today are watching this. This is going across the country. Kind of message that it will send that, look, democracy is all about elections. It's once in 5 years where voters get the chance to decide who is going to rule them. It's sort of a referendum on the rule of the last 5 years. But I think these images will be absolutely telling. As far as election day is concerned, certainly this would be the defining image of the day.
Whether or not he chooses to milk it politically and how the opposition looks at it, that it's all BJP emblems and flags and Karyakartas standing, where the Prime Minister is saying, I'm going to walk to the polling booth. That 150 meters, I'm not going to take breach security or whatever protocol is to ensure that my cavalcade lands me right outside the polling booth. Everybody has to park their vehicle and walk to the polling booth. That's the normal system. So he's walked to the polling booth and greeting all the polling officials present there as he's walking in, and perhaps encouraging those who believe that mere vote se kya fark padne wala hai, that every vote counts. So if the Prime Minister of the country is going back to his home constituency to cast his ballot in an election which largely does not actually concern him, concerns the state, like Zaka was saying, and the Vidhan Sabha there and the performance of the local leaders, he is walking in saying, I'm going to go back to my constituency to cast the ballot, which is all important. Now, there are a few women, there are a few women who are waiting there, and he's waiting for them to complete.
Prime Minister, they're standing in the queue. There are two women before him, and then he'll cast his vote. Interestingly, this is the image that we keep watching every time there is an election that has to do with Gujarat, or 2014, 2019 Lok Sabha elections. The message is clear that this is the son of the soil who is there to cast his vote, and also a voter of Gujarat. The message is that even as the BJP looks at expanding its footprints or looks at newer catchment areas down south or eastern part of India, but as far as the route is concerned, this is where the story began of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He was the General Secretary in charge, then became the Chief Minister, and now it is the Prime Minister who's there inside that polling booth in Nishan, in Ranip, in Ahmedabad, to cast his vote.
He's got his polling parcha, the ballot paper. He's got his voter ID with him. There is a matching of the credentials and the voter ID. There it goes back into his pocket, the voter ID, but that polling parcha which he's taken, which is his voter ticket, and following the due protocol. He even told the officials to take their seat and continue to do their job, which is what their responsibility is. There he is, signing on the register, putting in the details against his name, which is there as part of the voter list. And the ink, the voter ink, will now be inked on the left index finger. The ink has happened. There is his ticket. Now he'll go behind, following the ladies. He'll go into the polling machine. That's the EVM there behind. On the right hand side, you see that grey box. That's the EVM where he'll go to cast his vote. The ladies there waiting to see. Can't believe that it's the Prime Minister. A chant for PM Modi, but he's waiting for her to cast her vote. So he is actually asking the lady to cast her vote. I will wait for you to finish casting your vote. You cast your vote and then I will go in. I will follow protocol, no breaking of queue there. So the two ladies and the gentleman ahead of them have already cast their vote. The lady is gone. Now the Prime Minister going in to exercise his democratic right. Perhaps the bigger message is to all those who believe their vote doesn't count or it doesn't matter if they vote or not. It matters. And somewhere perhaps voter accountability is also important. Voters need to come out and before, as they raise issues, first prove that they have actually cast their ballot, be it at the municipal level, be it at the Vidhan Sabha level, be it at the local body elections like I was talking about, the Vidhan Sabha or even with the Lok Sabha. At all levels, if the voter has not gone ahead and exercised their democratic right and democratic duty, then should they have the right to come out and crib and complain? Because largely most people who do not take their vote seriously seem to be the ones who make a lot of noise. This is a feedback which came on ground while I was in Gujarat this time, with many turning out and saying कि अगर वोट किया है तो फिर आप सवाल पूछो, वोट नहीं किया है तो आप चुप रहो. This was the sentiment. Professor Madhav Nalapat, even as the Prime Minister steps out of Nishan School and from the polling booth after casting the vote, we'll see if he continues to walk back. I think he's walking back, and we'll stay with these visuals and try and see if Arun Danta is back with us. Huge cheers. We'll try and pick up the ambient sound on ground as the PM is now going to greet people openly. Of course, there you go. That's the finger, the ungli karo, the nishan that I have voted, you must vote too. That message ringing loud and clear, and the Prime Minister conscious of that. Huge amount of fan following and cheers from the rooftop also. Arun, it must be electric, the atmosphere on ground.
Well, absolutely, Anand, absolutely. And Prime Minister Modi not only reached by walking to the polling booth, but now we can see after casting his booth, he's once again, leaving his cavalcade behind on the road and waving his hand to the people who are waiting for Prime Minister Modi. And in fact, Anand, we had seen how Prime Minister Modi voted like a commoner. He went inside, he waited for others to cast their vote, and then when his turn came, he went there, he cast his vote, and now Prime Minister Modi is on the road once again, spending the time which people want, because people have seen the glimpse of Prime Minister. Now they want once again Prime Minister Modi to come through the same route so that they can again see the glimpse of Prime Minister Modi. Such is the atmosphere here, and such is the emotions and feelings are attached with Prime Minister Modi of people of Ahmedabad.
So the PM now walking towards, I think, his brother's home. Zaka, you were mentioning he's going to walk and pay.
Stays in the vicinity, about less than a kilometer from where this high school is. And so he'll be sort of going there, meeting him, and that's why he's walking. You can see the security staff. Of course, like you said, for the SPG, this is going to be a bit of a nightmare. But I think the messaging is absolutely important. A, standing in queue, voting like a commoner. B, ensuring that he's showing the finger, showing the index finger that, look, I have voted, so should you. So all the people who are waiting behind to catch a glimpse of him and then go and vote. This is a message to them. Go out there and cast your vote. I suspect we will see, because of this, the Prime Minister going there, we will see a slight uptick perhaps in that urban voter, because we've all been talking about urban apathy and people not being enthused enough to come out and vote. As Professor Nalapat was saying, as Nalan was saying, Mr. Modi is not on the ticket, but this is a vote for Modi. This is a vote for the work that he has done. This is an affirmation for the work that he has done and for continuing that work through to 2024 and beyond. And I think that is what the Gujarati voter, people, even in the first place when we talk to voters, they were saying, "Yahan to kuch issue hi nahi hai, Modi ke liye vote denge." So I think that is really the sort of fulcrum around which the BJP is also weaving its campaign. And I think they realize that it's all about Modi and giving him an affirmation for the work that's been done.
The popularity of the Prime Minister. This was the Mahal 5 years ago. This has been the Mahal throughout 12 years that he was the chief minister, and this is the mahal, the enthusiasm that we are seeing. The Prime Minister walking to his brother's home, and thereafter the roadshow in which he'll get onto a open jeep will begin. But the messaging here is loud and clear. This is a vote for brand Narendra Modi in Gujarat. The Modi voter is coming out, and Prime Minister Modi himself coming out. We can see his family now. They are all, his supporters are now walking with him. He's going inside his brother's home.
Yeah, and the fact is the stature of Prime Minister Narendra. It's not just the brand, it's also how he's evolved. Right now, earlier it was admiration, there was a fan following. Now it's moved to adulation. Yes. There is a level that's gone up this time around where the way people talk about Modi, earlier it would be Modi Bhai, and now it has slowly become Modi Ji and Modi Saab, you know, and Vada Pradhan. Those kind of the terms of respect that also shows the stature, the growth in stature in the eyes of the voter and the common people in Gujarat. Normal people who've seen Modi all the time, and they say apna hai, but he's taken it to a different level, and he's in their eyes itself he's risen, and that is palpable on ground. But more importantly, is this message going to ring out loud and clear, Rashid Kidwai? The fact is that this is also represent that he has not forgotten his roots. The 18-month-old full cabinet reshuffle was led by the Prime Minister. Is he somewhere trying to say that I may now be the Prime Minister of the country, but my one eye is always on Gujarat? His response with what happened in Morbi, his response to every single aspect where he said the PMO and me are personally looking into it. Does that make a huge difference?
Yeah. Absolutely, Anand. I think he's a political superstar. And particularly in Gujarat, particularly in Ahmedabad, particularly his connect with the people has remained intact, it's gone up as you were mentioning. And I was very carefully watching all these visuals, Anand, and he was very careful. So far there's no kind of violation of model code of conduct, because that's a very tricky situation. I know you're referring to SPG, etc., their security concern, but at the same time, in this kind of atmosphere, it is very, very easy to violate model code of conduct. Remember, the campaigning has ended. Now it's a polling day, so politicians and they have to be, and candidates and voters, they have to be very careful. And in this context, the Election Commission, of course, has limitation. They cannot ever exercise it. But I saw that from Prime Minister Modi's the way the cavalcade stopped and he walked, and the way he conducted himself, there was no overt politicization of it or any kind of campaign. So full marks to him on that count also.
You can't stop the voter or the people on the sides holding political flags or wearing political symbolism, but the Prime Minister did not encourage any of that. He did not walk close to anybody to try and make a suggestion. Of course, everybody knows who the Prime Minister is and what he stands for. He is the star campaigner of the BJP. But today I think the focus is on voting. The focus is on the fact ki ja ungli kar Advaita Kala.
Absolutely, and I think this is very, very important. He's a master message maker. He knows exactly the message he wants to set out, and his message for this election is really go out and vote. And through this act of walking to the polling booth, standing in line, showing his documents, signing up, going and voting, what he's done really is said that, look, I may be the most powerful man in this country, the Prime Minister of the country, but the vote is the great equalizer. And exactly the value of my vote is exactly the same as yours. And I think that's really the message that he wants to send out to the ordinary voter, that don't feel like your vote doesn't count, because my vote counts just as much as your vote, and your vote counts just as much as my vote. And I think that's a really powerful message.
And we have seen those visuals also come in Advaita, where several of those who were waiting to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi or catch a glimpse of his actually went to cast their vote at 8 a.m. and then stand in the queue or stand in the crowd to watch him. But interesting aspect there, Advaita, from 2017 to now, things have changed dramatically on ground. There is no visible challenger to BJP and to their government there on ground. But the BJP did not drop the ball. For them, they continued to ensure that all those who were seen as their opponents they vanished from the political scene. Of the three boys who were leading that entire agitation, two of them are part of the BJP, Advaita.
Absolutely. I mean, that this is the BJP, right? Everything from an MCD election to general election to an assembly election, in any part of the country, even in parts of the country. Remember when they were campaigning heavily in the south, and I think it was Telangana for the local body elections there, people were mocking them. But this is where, win or lose, they're in it 100%. And their aim is really to keep expanding their footprint. So even in a place like Gujarat, if there is this block of 40 odd seats that are devoted Congress voters, no matter what's happening anywhere else in the country, the BJP is looking at them very carefully and is saying that, okay, how can we swing these our ways? Even though they know that, Gujarat is a shoo-in for them, they're going to come back to power there, but they're not giving up on those seats. Now, on the flip side, the Congress has this attitude where they say, oh, Gujarat is like a BJP state, Prime Minister Modi is omnipresent. There's no external factor like the Patidar and Andolan for us to kind of, ride on. So let's just give it up. That's not the BJP. And I think that's the difference between a winner and a loser, especially in electoral politics.
No, I want to ask Professor Nalapad. I think one of the points people say it was an issue-less election. There's no opposition. There were issues. It's a question of whether you make that into a talking point there in the election. I mean, you look at Gujarat's handling of COVID. People talk about Delhi and the Delta wave. Gujarat also had a pretty bad situation when it came to dealing with COVID. The reason why Bhupendra Patel and the entire cabinet was changed was in response to the Patidar agitation. So, as we're seeing in the rest of the country, whether it's joblessness, inflation, I want to ask Mr. Nalapad this. All of these issues were there. It's up to the opposition to make them the number one talking point, but it's not. The number one talking point, even in this election, is Modi ko vote dena hai.
See, the point is, Zaka, that Narendra Modi, he has basically said he's not the Pradhan Mantri, he's the Pradhan Sevak. There's, walking like any other voter to cast his ballot, walking on the road like any other citizen would to see his brother. Basically getting the blessings of his mother before voting. All this is typical of any citizen of India. And that is the connect that Narendra Modi has got. He comes from a humble background. He's made no secret of that. And nor has he really tried to escape that, nor has his family, to give them credit, tried to escape that. His mother, his brothers, they lead relatively very simple lives. So that connect is there. I was watching visuals of phase 1. I saw a lot of women voters. And women voters have been a very strong component behind the Narendra Modi factor in elections across India and specifically in Gujarat. There were a huge lot of women voters in line, and I think we'll see the same this time around as well. See, this is the advantage BJP has got, especially in a Lok Sabha election, because that is directly about the Prime Minister. But in Gujarat, they are aware how important this is to the image of Prime Minister Modi at the national level, at the international level, how special Gujarat is. And that, I think, you're perfectly right. That is what gives an edge to the voters and makes them vote for somebody whom they believe came from us, so to speak, and is still with us and is behaving like us. So that is the connect that he's got. He comes from the people and he's behaving like somebody from the people, and instead of some distant aristocratic individual. And I think that is very, very important.
Now, Rashid Kidwai, there are jibes also within the BJP that go on, and the Congress has been on ground saying this, that the long-term Karyakartas of the BJP are only, wiping the seats for imports from the Congress. So those are issues too, where within the BJP also there have been troubles. But the opposition has not been able to latch on to one big issue and make it the focal point. Paper leak is something which has been spoken about. The AAP raised it, the Congress latched onto it, but nothing has been able to supersede the overarching work and commitment shown by the BJP led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Yes, it is the perception, it's a point of view that Mr. Modi is a sole singular issue in Gujarat elections. I think there are far too many issues are there. There is the issue of shortage of water or absence of it. I mean, you look at the voting pattern, you look at the past when Mr. Modi was Chief Minister, and all these years there have been, problems, and the BJP is not in certain constituencies, is not winning elections. The socio-economic indicators of many districts of Gujarat continue to be very poor. So all these facts are there. This is not a a kind of political thing. And you look at in 2 elections, 21 MLAs each time have switched sides. This is a very, I would say, a kind of abnormal situation. So BJP politically has a problem of plurality. Though, like you were saying, for every seat you have 2 or 3 more, credible candidates who to choose, and there are of course defectors. All these factors are there. Let's wait. There are 3 more days for the people to give verdict. Let's not give a foregone conclusion. You look at the BJP, it stopped talking about numbers. It started with 151 figure. Now nobody is talking about it. Is there a rethink? We have to wait and watch.
They get held to those numbers every time they talk about a number. So they've just been smart. They've said it will be record. जो भी number होगा record अतुलनीय होगा. So BJP so far has done 127. So if they win 130, it's a record for them. It's their best ever. If they break 149, that is Madhav Singh Solanki's score in 1985, Advaita Kala, then again it's the best ever. So they've tried to keep it like that. Although on ground they have said 150 par, but they've tried to tone that down because otherwise they get held to their standards they set for themselves. It's not about winning an election 20 years down the line. It's about achieving the score or the target that you have set for yourself.
Absolutely. And they've got to be now heading into 2024. They've got to be careful about these, the big talk on the numbers and things like that. Because remember, anytime they fall short or deviate from that number, even if it's a little bit, people will kind of jump down their throat and say that the magic of Modi magic is vanishing. And, the whole 2024 narrative will start up again. So I think it's important that, they kind of, I'm sure they know the numbers. They do the math. I mean, you have Amit Shah leading the charge on the ground, and we know, just how savvy he is with these things. But from a messaging point of view, it's good that they're not committing themselves to any numbers. I don't think it's necessary either. It's just, conversation and talk, and really something for us to analyze over on TV, like whether they got it right or wrong. Because remember, even when the BJP does win, there's a tendency to say that, oh, but they didn't win by this much. And for the Congress, it's always a moral victory, no matter what the consequences are. So I think this is good messaging. Don't tie yourself to a number. There are bigger battles ahead, and they're definitely winning this one. And we'll wait and see. It's us who are saying it's a prestige battle and it's a game of margins. I'm not hearing that coming from Prime Minister Modi or Amit Shah, for that matter.
Okay, Rashid, what will this result on 8th actually mean for Rahul Gandhi in particular? Because now the Bharat Jodo Yatra has entered Rajasthan.
I think huge. I think, Maria, if Congress fails to get, 50, 60 seats or more of the 77 of last time, there will be a lot of criticism of Rahul Gandhi that why he, he's not put his efforts in Gujarat. And of course, to link to it is, of course, the outcome of Himachal elections and how Congress performs. If they, they fail to dislodge the BJP in Uttarakhand, if they fail to dislodge BJP in Himachal, a lot of questions are going to be raised. So the fact is that Congress opted for I would say, a kind of different strategy in Gujarat. If it clicks, if it puts them, positions them well, if it's able to restrict the BJP in 100 odd seats, then of course I think Rahul Gandhi would have a easy, breathing. But
and is the Congress more worried about what will be the voter percentage or the number of seats that the Aam Aadmi Party will get?
Yes, Aam Aadmi Party Maria, is a double-edged sword. We really do not know which way it will swing. Conventional wisdom, a lot of political analysts are saying it will be at the expense of the Congress. But if it's urban, if it is anti-incumbency, then I think, there is no way that BJP can escape some kind of impact of Aam Aadmi Party. There will be some impact on the BJP also. How much, how, we have to wait. Perhaps the exit polls will be a pointer towards it.
I think the urban point that Rashid was making last time also, when we checked the urban vote, 2 out of 3 votes are for the BJP. Only 1 out of 3 was for the Congress. So if you have a party with 60% of the vote on the one side and 30% on the other, where will a third player take more votes out of? Will it be from the party with 2 out of 3 or will it be from 1 out of 3? In any case, like I said, in this phase, for example, out of the 93 seats, only 25 are urban. The remaining almost 50 plus are almost 60 are rural seats. So I think it's important. Obviously, in the urban pockets, the BJP will do very, very well. Like I said, in Ahmedabad, last time out of 16 seats, they won 12. In Vadodara, they won all 5. I don't see much great changes there. But I think really it's going to be in the rural belt, in the cooperative belt, in the tribal belt, where the Congress did well last time. How much can the BJP inch away, or how much can the BJP eat into that? I think that will decide.
See, the
fortune
Surat
of this
municipal
election.
body polls about
Yes.
elections surprised the AAP also because they were not expecting
Correct.
it. On ground, the talk is that it was an entire Congress defection which happened and then entire vote shift happened. So Arvind Kejriwal air dashed on ground. In elections like Vidhan Sabha and Lok Sabha, more important is your booth presence.
Yeah.
Now, if you are not present at the booth level, how are you going to convert it into votes?
Correct.
You can be present all over social media and you can focus. But the
Yes.
AAP on ground seems to have worked on a few seats. And in Saurashtra, South Gujarat, they seem to have worked on a few seats. They may break into the leaderboard. But will they take away 10, 15 seats?
Sure.
No. Somewhere it looks like 3, 4 seats may land with the Aam Aadmi Party if they've played or worked on those particular seats very, very well and those candidates work.
Yeah.
But if the PM's magic, the BJP's campaigning and also the entire effort of the Congress and realization of the voter that the only large opposition for the Congress, for the BJP in Gujarat is the Congress, then that's not going to happen. Interestingly, it is also interesting, Madhav Nalapatji, that the Congress has never gone below 50 seats in Gujarat. So 45 to 50 seats in at the Vidhan Sabha level is something as a given for them. So they have only got to consolidate. Last time they went up to 77, they had to traverse the road from 77 to 92.
Well, Anand, I'd like to point out that if we go by empirical facts, it was only in 1990 that you had a third party breaking through this particular duopoly in Gujarat politics. I think Chivanbhai Patel, if I remember. 1990 was a long time ago. So that is one barrier facing the Aam Aadmi Party, which is why I have been saying from the outset that if the Aam Aadmi Party wins significantly, and I know they made the real effort in South in the first phase, not so much in the second phase, but the first phase, if they do, then it will be at the expense of the Congress. And basically, they'll be establishing their presence as a third party, which has not really happened in Gujarat for quite a long time. Now, so far as turnout is concerned, usually conventional wisdom is a lower turnout is bad for the ruling party.
Right.
That's conventional wisdom. But the point is, which voters are keeping away? In the first phase, for example, was it the BJP voter who kept away, or was it the Congress voter who kept away? That's an important
And Professor
unanswered
Nalapat,
question.
since we
So
talk
I quite
about,
agree with Rashid, that in
Rashid,
election is an election, we can't be sure.
Yes.
But I would say the advantage is still with the BJP.
okay. Since we talk about rural voters, semi-urban and urban, do you think in the last 5 years, the percentage of rural constituencies would have changed? Because Gujarat, the pace at which the infrastructure projects are being undertaken, I've seen, the 4-laning and 6-laning of roads and highways. Do you think that rural pockets would have shrunk further?
Maria, you're perfectly right. The fact is that many people in rural areas want to become urbanites. And they want the economic development that an urban life provides. You've seen that across the spectrum of economic growth in multiple countries, from rural to urban, not from urban to rural, not deindustrialization, but reindustrialization, which is what Atmanirbhar Bharat is all about. So you're quite right about that. And the point is, even in the rural areas, you have people who want to be upwardly mobile. You have aspirational needs. And now you've got cable television, you've got social media and all that. So that is giving an equality of, if I may say so, expectation in the rural and the urban areas. So that, I think, is also going to affect voting behavior. And the question is, which leader can assure that? And I want to say, Maria, what I told last time, that the performance of the state governments in Gujarat has been underwhelming.
Yes.
Right? Since Narendra Modi left the CM-ship to become PM, it's been underwhelming. But still, the voter knows Gujarat is Gujarat. It's important for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And that, I think, is motivating a lot of them to vote BJP, despite some amount of dissatisfaction with the state governments headed by the BJP.
The cabinet reshuffle was the message to the people of Gujarat that the PMO has not lost sight of the state and its people. And somewhere that seems to be resonating on ground too. The other aspect is, if you look at north and central Gujarat, this is critical for the BJP in terms of not just the concentration of seats, but how much the Congress was able to pull away, especially North Gujarat. Congress scored better than the BJP last time. So as we come to the, approaching 10 a.m., let's just quickly go back to Zaka and understand North and Central, if you want to break it up, saying which is going to be the challenge for the BJP, and are they also working on their weaknesses, the rural area or urban areas?
So, you know, again, if you go back to the last election, people talk about Mehsana, Patan. These were all sort of BJP strongholds. Remember, the Prime Minister hails from Mehsana. But the Congress made significant inroads because of the Patidar agitation there. They were able to eat into that. There's also the tribal belts of Banaskantha and Sabarkantha leading all the way to Dangs and then Panchmahal, which is in the south. So the Congress retained its vote share in the tribal belt. Where the BJP scored big time was in, of course, Ahmedabad and Gandhinagar, the big urban pockets. And of course, we'll have to wait and see this OBC-dominated seats, which are semi-urban seats outside of the main city. If you were to come to central Gujarat, and I'll just quickly run through central Gujarat as well, just putting that on the filter here. In central Gujarat, again, the BJP did better because of the urban pocket. And like I said, you have a large OBC domination. These are semi-urban constituencies. Where the Congress did well was in the constituencies of Anand, Kheda, Aravali. These are all districts which are closely interlinked with the cooperative movement. The BJP has made significant inroads over the last many years there, and particularly so in the last 5 years. You now have a union cooperatives minister in the Home Minister Amit Shah. So how much can they eat back into these votes? Remember, the BJP Congress seat difference was only 4 + 2, 6 seats, and the vote share difference was about 8%. Can the BJP eke out a little more here? Because you will see some amount of anti-incumbency setting in. After all, let's face it, 27 years is not a small amount of time to be in power. There will be, if not at the state level, certainly at the local candidate level, there will be anti-incumbency. And also watch out for the rebel factor. I think about a dozen odd rebels that the BJP had who were not given tickets, they're standing as independents. How much will they hurt?
The Modi-Amit Shah combined will be active, ladies and gentlemen. It is still active. It was the Prime Minister who was the Chief Minister and Amit Shah was the Home Minister in Gujarat. Now nationally, it's the Prime Minister and the Home Minister, Amit Shah, and of course, Narendra Modi. PM Narendra Modi has cast his vote. Amit Shah will be stepping out to cast his vote, exercise the right to ballot. You should go out and vote too if your vote is in north and central Gujarat today. We're going to take a very short break. Stay with us. Opinions. This time around, even jhande bhi nahi lag rahe ground pe. That's what's happening.
I think the Patidar agitation, what it did was, we talk about the voter turnout and why it fell. You know, you have to get voters enthused enough for them to come all the way to the voter booth. I think one of the reporters last time said, you know, when the agitation was happening, this was in Surat, there were voters traveling from Surat, traveling all the way to Saurashtra just to cast their vote. That kind of enthusiasm we're not seeing this time around, which is why the voter turnout figures fell as well. But very quickly on the rural versus urban divide, as far as this phase is concerned, remember, Gujarat is one of the most urbanized states in the country. But if you were to look at even this phase, there are a hell of a lot of rural seats. Out of the 93, 58, almost 60 seats, so 2 out of 3 are rural seats. And there again, it was even Stevens last time around. It was in fact one better for the Congress, 28 versus 27 of the BJP. Even though the BJP had a higher vote share. BJP had a 45% vote share, Congress only had 42. And a lot of that came from either here, this is Banaskantha, the tribal belt, or it came from the cooperative belt. You will see the BJP making inroads in both of these belts. The question is, can the Congress compensate for that by winning in some of the urban pockets, or will the urban pockets continue to be the guard of the BJP? I think that is going to be where this phase is going to be decided. Remember, in North Gujarat and in Central Gujarat, the Congress did pretty okay last time around. This time around, will they, outmaneuver the BJP, get more seats than the BJP in those rural belts, given the voter turnout that has fallen in the rural belts over the last compared to the last 5 years.
Highlighting becomes important, the fall in the women voters.
Yes,
And that women voter is very critical for the BJP. We have seen their enthusiasm. I wasn't that belt particularly, that, you know, the cooperative belt.
36 lakh people
They have
are
been
part of that
beneficiaries.
cooperative movement in
Yes,
Gujarat,
and
churning out
women in
250 lakh liters of milk every day. She spoke to some of them, and there is a shift, largely Congress, but you spent time in Anand and Kaira,
And particularly among the women, and women there, Zaka, were talking about money being, you know, that sense of empowerment that I saw was phenomenal. I have not seen in any other state of India. And Shireen, let me ask that question. What are you seeing in the morning? Are there women standing in the queue? I can see Siddhant as well. I'm going to come to you, Siddhant, in just a bit. Shireen first. Yes, Shireen.
Well, Maria, like the Election Commission said that the urban apathy continues in Raisan, which is in fact a rural area. The things are much different. We are seeing that there are people who are coming in large numbers to vote. You can see, like you mentioned, yes, the women are also here in large number. Let me directly go across to them. Ma'am, आप किस मुद्दों को लेके यहाँ पे वोट करने आए हैं? यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा ग्रामीण इलाका भी है, तो क्या विमेन सिक्योरिटी है या क्या है, काम को लेके है, किस चीज को लेके आप यहाँ पे आज वोट करने आए हैं?
काम के लिए
काम के लिए। आप मैम, आप काम के लिए अभी तक जो काम हो रहा है, क्या ये अच्छा काम हो रहा है, चल रहा है यहाँ पे?
जी।
तो ये जो ग्रामीण इलाका हो गया और जो शहरी इलाका हो गया, वहाँ पे समस्याएं बहुत अलग होती हैं, तो यहाँ की क्या समस्याएं हैं आपके लिए?
मैं तो मीन्स स्प्रेड्स करते हैं लोग, उनका है, और थोड़ा ट्रैफिक का समस्या है। अच्छा। वो अगर सुलझ जाए तो अच्छी है।
शिरीन आप इनको पूछिए, इन्होंने वोट किया, ये पहली बार वोट कर रहे हैं, कितनी बार वोट किया? शिरीन आप उनको पूछिए कि कितनी बार इन्होंने वोट किया, लास्ट टाइम भी इन्होंने वोट किया था। आप इनसे ये पूछिए जो लोग वोट नहीं करने आ रहे हैं उनको क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
ये अभी यहाँ पे ना 20 मिनट ही हुआ है यहाँ पे खुल के, लेकिन मैंने देखा कि काफी लोग यहाँ पे नंबर में आ गए हैं। तो ऐसा क्यों है कि शहरी इलाके में कम लोग आते हैं, आपके यहाँ पे लोग ज्यादा आते हैं? कितनी बार आपने वोट किया है? अभी तक कितनी बार वोट कर चुके हैं आप?
यहाँ तो 2 बार वोट किया।
2 बार।
Thanks a lot for staying with CNN News 18, your election headquarters. This is phase 2 of the big Gujarat battle, and all eyes are on Prime Minister Narendra Modi even as we speak. These are visuals live from Ahmedabad. This is the Prime Minister after casting his vote. This is, of course, sending a strong message that everyone should come out, take that time out, half an hour or so to go to their nearest polling booth, cast their vote. And voter turnout and voting percentage is really turning out to be one of the issues to discuss in this so-called issue-less Gujarat elections. The Prime Minister there in front of the media now. Let's try and see what the media puts up to him and what he says.
लोकतंत्र का ये उत्सव गुजरात के, हिमाचल के और दिल्ली के मतदाताओं ने बहुत ही उत्साह और उमंग के साथ मनाया। मैं लोकतंत्र के उत्सव के लिए देश के नागरिकों का हृदय से अभिनंदन करता हूं, धन्यवाद करता हूं। मैं इलेक्शन कमीशन को भी हृदय से बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं कि उन्होंने बहुत ही शानदार तरीके से पूरे विश्व में भारत के लोकतंत्र की प्रतिष्ठा को बढ़े, इस प्रकार से चुनाव का संचालन करने की एक महान परंपरा विकसित की है। और उसका एक उत्तम उदाहरण इस चुनाव में भी नजर आया। मैं इलेक्शन कमीशन का भी हृदय से अभिनंदन करता हूं। હું ગુજરાતના મતદારોનો પણ હૃદયથી ખૂબ ખૂબ આભાર માનું છું કે એમણે આ લોકતંત્રના ઉત્સવને આન બાન શાન સાથે ઉજવ્યો। ખૂબ ઉત્તમ પ્રકારે ચર્ચાઓ કરી। ગુજરાતની જનતામાં નીર ક્ષીર વિવેક છે એ સાંભળે બધાનું અને જે સત્ય છે તેને સ્વીકારવાનો ગુજરાતનો સ્વભાવ છે અને એ સ્વભાવના અનુસાર આજે ભારી માત્રામાં બધા મતદાન પણ કરી રહ્યા છે। હું ગુજરાતના મતદાતાઓનો પણ હૃદયથી ખૂબ ખૂબ આભાર માનું છું અને આપ સૌને પણ ખૂબ ખૂબ ધન્યવાદ। નમસ્કાર।
The Prime Minister there to loud chants of Modi, Modi and cheering in the background really in his home state of Gujarat, has cast his vote, has sent out a message of the strength of every individual voter and is now moving away. And this message is going to be very important, not just because it's coming from the Prime Minister, of course, but also as the BJP star campaigner. I think one of the big worries for the BJP has been that there could be complacency set in their voter base, because there seems to be no competition to the BJP as far as these elections are concerned. So very important would be the last mile poll booth strategy for the BJP to ensure that every voter comes out, and virtually for every party would want that these election results are not seen as a done deal and everybody comes out and vote. But look at those scenes coming in from Ahmedabad. The Prime Minister earlier today coming out to vote at the Nishan school. From where my colleague Arun Dhata has also been reporting. And Arun, what you've been witnessing is, you know, equal to the fervor of going out and casting their vote in the dance of democracy is the fervor to come out and see Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Okay, looks like we're having some trouble. The Prime Minister is there, the SPG is there, so no wonder that Arun Dhata is facing some connectivity issues there, but we will connect with him. And what he was bringing to us earlier, two different sets of voters, one who wanted to see the Prime Minister first and then go to cast their vote, didn't want to miss the opportunity of actually seeing him in person, and the others who casted their vote early and then came out onto the streets or to the rooftops to witness Prime Minister casting his vote. I think Karun can hear me now and we can hear him now. Arun, go ahead.
Well, see, Shivani, just now Prime Minister Modi has left. He has spoken to the media, and in fact, if you see the timeline, Prime Minister Modi straight away coming from Raj Bhavan where he was staying and completed that 100 meters distance where he got down from his cavalcade to the polling booth, the Nishan school. And in fact, when Prime Minister Modi went inside, he voted like a commoner. There are a few people who were already there inside the polling booth to cast their vote. Prime Minister Modi waited for them to cast their vote, and then he cast his vote when his turn came. And then we saw, walking, he reached his elder brother's residence. He spent some time there, and now after meeting his brother, when he was about to leave for Delhi, he in between came to the media segment where media people were standing, and then he gave that sound bite where he not only thanked the election commission for the arrangement and the way the elections are conducted in Gujarat, but also he was showing that sign in a way, sending out a signal that how important is to cast their vote in the festival of democracy. And Prime Minister Modi sending that message, coming here early in the morning, knowing the fact that it will be a security nightmare. Therefore, it is important for him to come early and cast his vote, so that the booth is open for others to cast their vote. In fact, there were so many people here whom I have spoken to since morning, Shivani, who were waiting for Prime Minister Modi's glimpse first, and then they would go and cast their votes. So now these people will go and cast their votes, since they have seen Prime Minister Modi twice once when he was heading towards the Nishan school, and now when he was coming back, going back towards the route from where he will be heading back to Delhi. So Prime Minister Modi is sending out a clear signal that how important it is to cast his vote, and also the connect which he has with the soil of Gujarat, and the kind of people, the thousands of people who were gathered on the both sides of the road through which Prime Minister Modi walked and reached to the Nishan school. So very, very significant. Prime Minister Modi, not only coming here on the election day, but in fact yesterday he was here. He went to the BJP office, Kamalam, chaired a meeting with Union Home Minister Amit Shah, State Chief C.R. Patil, and General Secretary Organization, taking the assessment about the preparation for the second phase and what happened in the first phase. And in fact, he also ensured that he met his mother. Remember, in last couple of days while he was here campaigning, he was not able to get some time to meet his mother. But yesterday, he ensured that he goes to his mother's place. He had tea with her, and then he headed back to Raj Bhavan where he was staying yesterday night. So Prime Minister Modi sending out a clear signal that how important the state is, for him, and the connect, of course, with the people. And people were also very much, outspoken with the fact that how much they love Prime Minister.
Yeah, I mean, it's both a privilege and a responsibility for the Prime Minister. Of course, it is almost a given now that as far as the BJP is concerned, in a leader like Narendra Modi at the center, it doesn't really matter whether he's the Prime Minister now and not the CM of Gujarat. At least in the state of Gujarat, he continues to be the son of the soil, and there's a lot of pride involved in him being the Prime Minister and leading the country. Around the country, the BJP fights the election on his work, on his face. So that's, of course, both a privilege, of course, but also a responsibility which the Prime Minister has to then fulfill. And this is why he goes state after state to election after election and really is the biggest star campaigner for the BJP. Before we move forward, get you some ground updates of how the voting is going on today. Remember, 93 seats that are polling today in the second phase of Gujarat elections. Let's also listen into what the Prime Minister said.
गुजरात के, हिमाचल के और दिल्ली के मतदाताओं ने बहुत ही उत्साह और उमंग के साथ मनाया। मैं लोकतंत्र के उत्सव के लिए देश के नागरिकों का हृदय से अभिनंदन करता हूं, धन्यवाद करता हूं। मैं इलेक्शन कमीशन को भी हृदय से बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं कि उन्होंने बहुत ही शानदार तरीके से पूरे विश्व में भारत के लोकतंत्र की प्रतिष्ठा को बढ़े, इस प्रकार से चुनाव का संचालन करने की एक महान परंपरा विकसित की है और उसका एक उत्तम उदाहरण इस चुनाव में भी नजर आया। मैं इलेक्शन कमीशन का भी हृदय से अभिनंदन करता हूं।
Right, not sure when was the last time such an impromptu press bite of the Prime Minister happened. You can see what the nightmare it must have been for his security apparatus. But, this is what does happen when the Prime Minister is out and about, not just in campaigning, but today especially, in his home state of Gujarat, he did come out and walk on the streets, a little bit of interaction with the public. And then very nicely, the Prime Minister obliged the media there as well with an impromptu bite. So, thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching our continuous election coverage. I'm Shivani Gupta. Joining me in our studios is also my colleague Anusha Soni and Riddhima Bhatnagar. Over the next few hours, we'll continue to get you the ground pulse of exactly how phase 2 of Gujarat elections is panning out. As I mentioned, while we will discuss some of the issues that we have seen on the ground or that are being discussed in the run-up to these elections, one of the other things that everybody is keeping a very close watch on is the voting percentage. We'll get you live numbers from all constituencies. Let me also quickly go across to my colleague Siddhant, who's joining us from Gandhinagar. Siddhant, we've seen the incumbent Chief Minister of Gujarat, we've seen the Prime Minister come out and vote, and I think where you are, we're waiting for the other national face of the BJP from Gujarat, that's Amit Shah.
Well, that's correct. So I'm reporting from Naranpura. This constituency falls in Ahmedabad, and this is a bastion of Bharatiya Janata Party. And in fact, Home Minister Amit Shah was MLA from this constituency. Last time around, BJP candidate from this constituency won with more than 60,000 votes. Right now, preparations are underway because Home Minister Amit Shah is expected to arrive at around 10:30, and in fact, on my left, you can see the preparations are underway. The security teams have already reached the polling booth, and we have been told that Amit Shah, Home Minister Amit Shah, is going to arrive along with his family members, and he's also going to seek blessings blessings in a nearby temple. We'll speak to some of the voters also. हाँ सर, आपने वोट डाल दिया?
हाँ, वोट डाल दिया।
क्या एज है आपकी? एज क्या है आपकी? उम्र?
84।
कितने साल से वोट डाल रहे हैं आप? कितने सब बार होगा?
सब साल दे।
छोड़ते नहीं है वोट डालना?
हाँ,
वोट डालने आते जरूर है?
हाँ, जरूर आते हैं।
क्या मुद्दे हैं? किन मुद्दों पे वोट डाला?
बस कोई मुद्दा तो क्या हो अभी जल्द।
हाँ, क्या मुद्दा है बताइए?
क्या मुद्दा बताओ यार। हाँ। सभी अभी तो हमारे उम्र में तो क्या बताएगा सब।
नए बच्चों को क्या कहेंगे? वो घर पे छुट्टियां मनाने लग जाते, निकलते नहीं वोट करने के लिए। उनके लिए क्या बोलना चाहेंगे?
निकलना चाहिए। हाँ, वोट देना चाहिए।
आपका नाम क्या है?
सुरेश भाई पटेल।
सुरेश भाई पटेल अपील कर रहे हैं अहमदाबाद के, गुजरात के सभी नौजवानों से कि वो बाहर आए और वोट करें।
हाँ, वोट करें सब लोग।
आप देखिए सुरेश भाई इस एज में भी वोट कर रहे हैं और हमेशा वोट करते आ रहे हैं। आपने वोट किया?
हाँ, मैं करके आया।
क्या इश्यूज हैं यंगस्टर्स के? क्या इश्यूज हैं इन चुनावों में स्पेशली, और कैसे देखते हैं इन चुनावों को? कितना इम्पोर्टेंट है?
इश्यू तो नहीं है, लेकिन बस जो भी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर रिलेटेड वो सब है, एजुकेशन रिलेटेड वो सारा
एजुकेशन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है। कुछ की इश्यूज है?
हाँ, अभी तो अहमदाबाद में सही है। अहमदाबाद में सही है।
अच्छा, तो मतलब एक तरीके से
ऐसा कोई दिक्कत नहीं है।
ऐसा कोई दिक्कत नहीं।
सरकार अच्छी तरह से काम कर रही है।
ओके, थैंक यू। आई कैन सी अ वुमन स्टैंडिंग देयर विद द चाइल्ड। मैम, आपका वोट हो गया?
Yes, I voted.
You have voted?
Yes.
You have come with your
Yes,
child?
this is my son, and I have taken this privilege to come with him so that he also understand that what is
passing on the legacy of.
Yes, definitely, and he has to learn this also.
Oh, beautiful,
very proud,
beautiful.
Feeling very proud to vote, and I would also urge all the citizens to please come forward and vote for it.
Beautiful, beautiful thoughts. So you know, passing on the legacy of voting to an infant, so he should also learn that how important this festival of democracy is for our country. Back to the studios.
Siddhant reporting from the ground. We'll continue getting you all the voices. CNN News 18, your election headquarters. But what is phase 2 all about? How many districts, how many seats, how many contestants? Let's give you a broad picture about phase 2 of the Gujarat battle. What does it really look like? Let's look at the numbers first. Now, if you talk about these numbers, this election, about 93 seats, 833 candidates whose fate is up for polling and people are going to decide. If you look at the numbers that had come in the last elections, 51-39, 51 for the BJP and 39 for the Congress party. And you also have these seats spread across 14 districts in the state of Gujarat. And a lot of urban constituencies are going to go for polls, and that's the important thing to watch out for. The voter turnout, how that's really going to be. Now, the two key facets that I want to talk about, the north and central Gujarat, that's the polling, these are the critical areas which are polling today. In north and central Gujarat, what you have to really watch out for are the tribal areas, also the cooperative areas which are going to vote, some of them traditionally with the Congress, and the cooperative area, of course, has been the bastion of the BJP. You also have the Chief Minister who is contesting from the stronghold of the BJP from Ghatlodia. So that's another constituency to watch out for. But overall, what are the contestants like? How many of them are crorepatis, and what is the caste factor that continues to dominate? Now, 58 out of these 93 seats in phase 2 are rural seats. Rural seats traditionally have been understood to be in some way a bastion of the Congress party, but that seems to be shifting and changing, especially with the entry of the Aam Aadmi party. About 5.87 first-time voters, the young people, which are expected to come out in huge numbers and vote. And 245 of these candidates are crorepatis, and they've declared that to the Election Commission of India. Now, if you talk about the caste symmetrics and how do they really play out, there are three dominant castes, OBC being the most dominant caste. Then you also have the tribal belts which are going for vote, and a certificate certain significant number of partidar votes as well, certain constituencies which will be polling today. So these are the broad factors in phase 2 to really watch out for. As I said earlier, the urban constituencies are going to be the key things to watch out for. How do they really vote? And breaking that bit by bit and giving you one more micro perspective is my colleague Ridhima on the magic wall. So Ridhima, what does the magic wall really tell us?
A lot actually. Always it comes down to these numbers that we love crunching here on the magic wall. So last time around, if it was the Saurashtra and the South region, essentially Kutch, Gujarat and other parts, where there was a neck-to-neck fight between the Congress and the BJP, this time around, as Anusha was rightly pointing out, you have Central and North Gujarat, which is going to make up phase 2, which means 93 of the total seats out of the 182. So let me just quickly first give you an overview of what we saw last time around, which was 2017. The last time around, you had the BJP clinching 51 out of these 93. The vote percentage was almost close to 50%, 48.83. The Congress just managed to clock 39. The vote percentage was 41.20%. But as we've been seeing from phase 1 to phase 2, this situation in 2017 to 2022 has changed drastically, and there for two reasons. One, of course, the issues that you had in 2017, like the Patidar agitation or the agrarian crisis, demonetization, GST, all of those issues, in fact, have been ironed out. But this is where the story gets interesting. Let's first begin with what's happening as far as the rural bit is concerned in phase 2. Here, it was, in fact, a neck-to-neck fight. The Congress got 28 out of the 58 seats with a vote percentage of 42.07. The BJP, as I said, was a neck-to-neck fight, 27 with a vote percentage of 45.44. And this is where, the BJP will try and make some sort of inroads, because this time around, as I said, the issues of 2017 are not there. Also, you have a new entrant with the Aam Aadmi Party. The Congress, as we've been saying, virtually non-existent on the ground. Let me quickly just show you how the picture changes from rural to urban. Something that we've been discussing is the urban apathy as far as the urban voters are concerned. Will that actually become a big headache? We'll have to see. But look at how the urban numbers panned out. 25 seats out of the 182, the BJP got 19 seats with 58.35% votes. The Congress got about 6, which is 36.41. So two things to watch out for. As far as the cooperative belt is concerned, can you have the BJP retain that? Can the Congress make some sort of inroads as far as the low percentage in these urban areas is concerned? And Shivani, this is where it gets interesting. Earlier you were saying that this is a vote for Modi. This is the kind of confidence that we're seeing on the ground, which is in sharp contrast to the local issues that have been raked up by the Congress party. So on one hand, you have vote for Modi vis-a-vis the local issues.
Yeah.
Will that be able to make a big impact on the ground? That's the larger question.
Some of the issues the Congress has raised are issues like unemployment. It's a bit of a drag from the last elections. And then, of course, is inflation. Now, inflation, of course, certainly has been an issue in local elections and in the last couple of years. But does that translate on ground? We'll get you a lot of the voices from the public who are going out to vote. Is that an issue on ground? Some of the other issues were very hyper-local, maybe some paper leaks, old pension scheme, some of the agitations by the tribals. The tribal factor was witnessed in the phase 1. Before we look at all of these issues and just the factor of the Aam Aadmi Party as well, because there are urban centres like Ahmedabad, Vadodara, Gandhinagar, etc. that are going to polls in this phase. I want to quickly toss across to the soundbite we're getting of another former Chief Minister, Anandiben Patel. Let's listen in.
तस्वीरें देखिए, इन्होंने वोट कर दिया है। मतदान के बाद आनंदीबेन पटेल निकली है उत्तर प्रदेश की। क्या मैसेज रहेगा आपका? और मैम, बीजेपी की जीत के लिए कितनी आश्वस्त है?
आप गवर्नर हैं, पिछली बार फर्स्ट फेज में वोटिंग काफी कम रहा है, इस बार आपका क्या मैसेज है?
देखिए, आनंदीबेन पटेल
All right, all the prominent faces coming out to vote. Interesting about the Ghatlodia constituency where the incumbent chief minister is fighting from. Now, that constituency has only seen 2 elections because it's recently carved out. 2012, Anandiben Patel won for the BJP. 2017, the incumbent chief minister won. So, actually, in 2 elections, that's constituency has given Gujarat 2 chief ministers. We'll get you more of the constituencies and their flavor in just a bit. Time for a very short break. We'll be right back.
As well, I'm going to come to you, Siddhant, in just a bit. Shireen first. Yes, Shireen.
Well, Maria, like the Election Commission said that the urban apathy continues in rare sun, which is in fact a rural area. The things are much different. We are seeing that there are people who are coming in large numbers to vote. You can see, like you mentioned, yes, the women are also here in large number. Let me directly go across to them. Ma'am, आप किस मुद्दों को लेके यहाँ पे वोट करने आए हैं? यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा ग्रामीण इलाका भी है, तो क्या विमेन सिक्योरिटी है या क्या है, काम को लेके है, किस चीज को लेके आप यहाँ पे आज वोट करने आए हैं?
काम के लिए
काम के लिए। आप मैम, आप
काम
के लिए अभी तक जो काम हो रहा है, क्या ये अच्छा काम हो रहा है, चल रहा है यहाँ पे?
जी।
तो ये जो ग्रामीण इलाका हो गया और जो शहरी इलाका हो गया, वहाँ पे समस्याएं बहुत अलग होती हैं, तो यहाँ की क्या समस्याएं आपके लिए?
मेन तो मीन्स स्प्रेड्स करते हैं लोग, उनका है, और थोड़ा ट्रैफिक का समस्या है। वो अगर सुलझ जाए तो अच्छी है।
शिरीन आप इनको पूछिए, इन्होंने वोट किया, ये पहली बार वोट कर रहे हैं, कितनी बार वोट किया? शिरीन आप उनको पूछिए कि कितनी बार इन्होंने वोट किया, लास्ट टाइम भी इन्होंने वोट किया था। आप इनसे ये पूछिए, जो लोग वोट नहीं करने आ रहे हैं उनको क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
ये अभी यहाँ पे ना 20 मिनट ही हुआ है यहाँ पे खुल के, लेकिन मैंने देखा कि काफी लोग यहाँ पे नंबर में आ गए हैं। तो ऐसा क्यों है कि शहरी इलाके में कम लोग आते हैं, आपके यहाँ पे लोग ज्यादा आते हैं? कितनी बार आपने वोट किया है यहाँ? अभी तक कितनी बार वोट कर चुके हैं आप?
यहाँ तो 2 बार वोट किया है।
2 बार वोट किया है?
पहले तो हम नरोड़ा रहते थे।
अच्छा, तो अभी यहाँ पे शिफ्ट हुए हैं। तो अभी आपने कितनी बार?
फर्स्ट टाइम है, हम जामनगर रहते थे।
अच्छा,
फर्स्ट टाइम।
तो यहाँ पे क्या काफी अब नए लोग यहाँ पे आते हैं क्या? रेसान में नए लोग रहने आते हैं क्या? है
इधर तो नए लोग ही है, ज्यादा
नया एरिया है,
पूरा नवा एरिया है। इसके हिसाब से सब लोग अहमदाबाद से ज्यादा यहाँ शिफ्ट हुए हैं। हाँ। इसके हिसाब से फर्स्ट टाइम सबका वोट है।
अच्छा, पहली बार सबका वोट है यहाँ पे।
रेसान में वोट है, रेसान में पहली बार वोट है।
फर्स्ट टाइम वोटर्स इज व्हाट दे आर आल्सो रेसान।
फर्स्ट टाइम वोटर्स इन रेसान।
यस, रेसान में पहली बार वोट है। Yes, and that also a very special area this is, because yesterday it was Prime Minister who had in fact visited his mother over here. The mother also lives here and she will in fact be coming out and vote. आप लोग यहाँ पे पहली बार रेसान में आप भी यहाँ पे वोट कर रहे हैं?
This is the second vote.
This is the second vote.
Yeah.
So what is the issues here that you feel?
There are no such issues. We are just looking at the development out of the Gandhinagar city. And you can see the surrounding areas, Raisan, Sargasan, Kudasan. They have developed humorously. It is becoming second tier city now.
साउथ गांधीनगर अल्पेश ठाकुर इस बार लड़ रहे हैं, शंभुल जी नहीं लड़ रहे हैं इस बार, तो क्या विल इट बी एन इशू? क्या आप लोग काफी 2008 से जो है इस कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी में हमेशा से शंभुल जी जीतते आए हैं, बट इस बार अल्पेश ठाकुर को टिकट दिया गया है?
रिजल्ट का कुछ कह नहीं सकते।
नहीं, लेकिन क्या मतलब
इट इज बेसिकली द गुड गवर्नेंस विल विन।
We're back from Kevadia into the studio, ladies and gentlemen. That's just a glimpse of what we have in store as far as Alexa and our entire design team has put together for you to get perhaps a never-before experience and nowhere else experience except here at CNN News 18, your election nerve center. Zaka and Maria with me. Let's quickly look at some of the key candidates in these 93 assembly constituencies and who are the ones who really have a story to tell and perhaps a point to prove. First up, you have the incumbent Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel, who was given and put on the saddle 18 months ago. It was a full rejig of the cabinet. He's quite popular. He is from the, of course, the dominant Patidar community. And he is going to be fighting from what has always been a BJP's bastion, that is Ghatlodia. Jignesh Mevani from Vadgam is a sitting MLA and firebrand Dalit leader. He is now with the Congress party, although that triumvirate of Jignesh Mevani, Hardik Patel and Alpesh Thakur, two of them have moved out of the Congress. In fact, Hardik Patel will be contesting from Viramgam
and he will be on the BJP symbol this time around. So he went towards leadership within the state Congress and then quit that and came back and is now going to fight. And you also have Chotubai Wasawa. He is going to be contesting from Jharkhand.
Thanks a lot for staying with us. I'm Shivani Gupta. Joining me are Anusha Soni and Riddhima Bhatnagar. And we're getting you some more live updates from the phase 2 of Gujarat elections. A lot riding on this for all concerned. And we've been talking a little bit deeply about the so-called triangular fight. Let me also introduce our guest joining us. Rashid Kidwai is author and senior journalist. Professor Madhav Nalapad is senior journalist joining us. Rashid, let me come to you first up. We've been talking about this triangular fight. We've been talking about the impact that the Congress can have once again post their 2017, near finish, on the finish line. And then, of course, the Aam Aadmi Party factor. Now, you look at the vote percentages from 2017. The BJP vote share actually increased from 2012 by a little over 1%, which is fantastic for the kind of saturation the BJP, has already achieved in Gujarat. The Congress vote share also went up by 2 percentage points, but it looked like they took most of that from the others. Now, this time around, there is another in contest, which is the Aam Aadmi Party, butting into this twin polity of Gujarat. What factor do you think they will play? And are they going to gain from the others? They're going to gain from the Congress? They're going to gain from the BJP? That's the big question this election will answer.
Yes, Shivani, that's a high point of interest actually in this Gujarat election, that whatever number of percentage of votes Aam Aadmi Party gets, which way it would go. A conventional wisdom is that a lot of analysts and even the ground reports also suggest that it will be at the expense of the Congress. But I have a little, I'm not so sure about it, because if it's urban vote and if it's anti-incumbency vote, then obviously anti-incumbency vote, Shivani, would be from the kitty of the ruling party. Whether it makes an impact or not, electoral impact, that we do not know. But this is something which is very interesting. And I think if it goes from the Congress kitty, then there will be complete collapse of the Congress in terms of number of seats. So the tally would get perhaps less than 50 also. Remember, the BJP wins with huge margin of votes in some of the urban seats like in Ahmedabad, etc. And because of that, their vote percentage has always been high. But in terms of seats, the Congress is able to catch up, like last time it was there. But this time around, I think the third party, it is not going to be just this kind of thing, equilibrium of balance. And that is why I see, Shivani, that the BJP, for very tactical reasons, has stopped talking about numbers. They were earlier saying, 151, 150 par and all that. They're not talking about record, because they know that there is a possibility. And with low percentage, everything becomes more complex.
Yes, it becomes tight. In fact, last time around, I remember the Congress often likes to remind us they lost some of the seats by very close margin. Professor Madhav Nalapad, I'm coming to you. The other big factor that I'm noticing, especially for phase 2, it was existent in phase 1-2, is the rebel factor. There are a lot of BJP leaders, over 40 of them, who denied tickets. Some of them have chosen to fight as independents. Do you think that could be a factor, especially, in the Ahmedabad district?
Well, we have a situation in Gujarat. The electorate is very politically, if I may say so, polarized. And that being the situation, those who have broken away may find a problem. I think Mr. Kidwai has said a very important point regarding the Aam Aadmi Party. As far as I can read the signals, the first signal was that the concentration of effort by Aam Aadmi Party was on the first phase. Now, Saurashtra is not a strong point of the BJP. Central Gujarat is. A lot of effort has been put by the Aam Aadmi Party on phase 1 of the elections. And phase 1 of the elections is also a make or break phase for the Congress Party. The BJP has to hold its own. The Congress Party has got to not only hold its own, but try and improve. So that is one signal. The second very interesting signal is that Gopal Italia, I for a long time thought he would be the chief ministerial face of the Aam Aadmi Party. He's a patidar. Instead of which, now they have put forward Mr. Gadvi, who is and from the OBC community, if I recall, as the chief ministerial face. Now, what does this mean? This basically, both these signals, one, concentrating on phase one, and two, changing a Patidar chief minister candidate, and replacing him with an OBC chief ministerial candidate, from Italia to Gadvi. It does, in my view, indicate that the Aam Aadmi Party is basically focusing on the Congress party. So that is one
fair
point.
enough. There could have been,
of course,
there could have been another factor as far as Gopal Italia and
indeed.
Isuddin Gadvi is concerned. I think Isuddin Gadvi comes with a non-controversial background. And I think Gopal Italia had kind of made the kind of noises that the Aam Aadmi Party wouldn't want to attract and become the focal point of attack on. And I think that was one of the big factors also. But Mr. Nalapad, stay with me. I'm going to come back for the other point that you were trying to make. But interestingly, even though this is the phase where the Congress also did very well, and there was a very tough battle, vote percentage wise, Anusha, the BJP actually crossed 51% in this phase. So they did, much better than what people...
Compared to the last phase. And this time with the urban votes so much in focus. And you spoke about the Aam Aadmi Party factor. It's a double-edged sword, as some people were pointing out. Which way that's really going to work, we have to wait and watch. I want to take our viewers through the key candidates who are testing their fortunes, who are testing what exactly is going to happen to their fate. These are some high-profile names, some much-talked-about names whose constituencies are going to polls today. Now, first of all, Bhupendra Patel from Ghatlodiya, he's the incumbent chief minister. He's contesting from the BJP stronghold. As we were earlier pointing out, this is one constituency that has given two chief ministers so far. Jignesh Mevani from the Congress party, he is the sitting MLA and a firebrand Dalit leader, one of the key leaders who was very instrumental in mobilizing the votes for the Congress party if you look at the 2017 numbers. Hardik Patel from the BJP, he's jumped the ship. Popular Patidar leader, recently defected from the Congress party. His campaign largely focused in his own constituency. He's also facing a tough challenge within the constituency himself. How he does from the side of the BJP is a wait and watch. Chotu Bhai Wasawa, another key tribal leader. He's contesting from Jagadia. He's a tribal heavyweight aiming for the 8th straight win, one of the strong local leaders, especially about the tribal belt if you talk about. And tribal belt traditionally has voted in much higher numbers compared to the urban voters in the state of Gujarat. Alpesh Thakur, yet another popular leader, the popular OBC leader who defected from the Congress party. The two major defections that happened for the Grand Old Party. These two faces of Alpesh Thakur, Hardik Patel were very, very instrumental in the last elections for the Congress party to muster up the numbers they were able to get. Now this time, with these two faces out and the Patidar agitation not being in focus, yet another name. Amit Shah from Anclave. He's the former state party president and a sitting MLA of the Congress party, a very important leader from that region and one of the heavyweights of the Congress party where the constituency is going for polling. You also have Maninal Vaghela from Vadam. He's the former Congress MLA who recently has joined the BJP. We saw about roughly 12 defections that had happened from the Congress party to the BJP. And they were very focused defections in the sense that these were people who were critical in the Patidar agitation or were very importantly caste and community leaders. OBC being the most important community and caste as far as this phase is concerned. Also, some latest news that we are getting right now is that Amit Shah has left for polling. He's left his residence. He'll go to the poll booth. And we just saw the Prime Minister casting his vote, and now it will be Home Minister Amit Shah who will be there shortly to cast his vote, to put his thumb on where exactly the vote is going to be. I think that's everybody's guess what Amit Shah is going to vote. And more importantly, he's going to go there with his family. I want to cut across to my colleague Siddhant as well, who's joining us on the broadcast, and he'll tell us more about what exactly is the mood on the ground. Siddhant, after the Prime Minister, we are expecting Home Minister Amit Shah along with his family to cast his vote very shortly.
Well, that's correct. Reporting from this polling booth in Naranpura, and we have been told that in some time from now, Home Minister Amit Shah is going to arrive along with his family members. And in fact, many of the voters are waiting to catch a glimpse of Amit Shah. Even they have completed their voting process. We'll speak to some of them. Sir, आपने वोट कर दिया? अब किस चीज का इंतजार कर रहे हैं?
वो कि नहीं,
अमित शाह जी को देखने का इंतजार कर रहे हैं।
अमित शाह को देखने के लिए हम रात देखते हैं। और वोटिंग बहुत अच्छा हुआ है।
वोटिंग अच्छा हुआ है।
हाँ, बात।
तो अमित शाह जी को देखने के लिए
हाँ, देखने के लिए खड़े हैं।
तो जब तक देखेंगे नहीं जाएंगे
नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं जाएंगे।
नाश्ता हो गया सुबह का?
सब हो गया नहीं हो गया, पर उनके लिए वेट करके
रुकेंगे।
उनके लिए रुके हुए हैं।
अच्छा, मुद्दे क्या हैं इस बार? अगर नारायणपुर सीट की बात करें तो मुद्दे क्या हैं खास? क्या है?
ऐसा तो नारायणपुर तो सब मुद्दे है नहीं, सब
सॉल्व
है, सब
गुजरात में जहाँ के भी बात करो कोई मुद्दे ही नहीं,
मुद्दे ही नहीं है, विकास हो गया है। फिर तो कहाँ से मुद्दे आएंगे? कोई तकलीफ नहीं है। आपको भी मालूम होगा ना, आप घूमते तो आपको भी मालूम है क्या पोजीशन है।
वहाँ भी कैमरा दिखाइए, वहाँ देखिए, वहाँ भी लोग खड़े हुए हैं। दे ऑल आर स्टैंडिंग टू कैच अ ग्लिम्स ऑफ होम मिनिस्टर अमित शाह। दे वोटिंग हैज गॉट ओवर। हाँ जी, आप कहाँ से आए?
बस यहाँ से नारायणपुरा से ही है।
नारायणपुर से क्यों? अमित शाह जी को देखने के लिए यहाँ पे?
अमित शाह को देखने के लिए। अमित शाह हमारे यहाँ के ही है।
आपके यहाँ के विधायक थे आपकी सीट पे?
हाँ,
ये सीट पे विधायक थे।
विधायक थे और सब यहाँ से ही वो स्टार्ट हुआ है। सब
पड़ोसी हैं, पड़ोसी हैं ये लोग। अमित शाह जी के पड़ोसी हैं
हमारे, एक ही सोसाइटी, बगल वाली सोसाइटी में
पड़ोसी हैं, तो वहीं देख लेते हैं। यहाँ क्यों खड़े?
अरे अभी तो वहाँ यहाँ क्या मिलेंगे? अभी पूरे देश हो गए, पूरा देश का ध्यान रखने नहीं है। मिलेंगे ना, अभी तो हम मिलेंगे ना।
थोड़ा टाइम लेना मुश्किल हो गया।
हाँ, तो अभी तो मिलेंगे।
सवाल ही नहीं है कोई किसी का, समझो।
देश की सेवा के लिए दिखे तो
80% वोटिंग होता है यहाँ पे।
So there you see एक्साइटमेंट। हमारे पड़ोसी हैं, यहीं से उनका पॉलिटिकल करियर शुरू हुआ, हमारे विधायक रह चुके हैं, हम उनकी एक झलक पाने के लिए खड़े। So I can see lot of people around me, you can see these old women and in fact men, young boys, all are standing here in queue to catch a glimpse of Home Minister Amit Shah. And in fact right there at the start of a polling booth, I would ask my video journalist Bimba sir to pan and give shots. There you see security detail, media personnel, all are standing on a main gate to capture Amit Shah in their cameras. And this one moment is very unique every time when there is a voting in Gujarat, because Home Minister makes sure that he comes along with his family to exercise this right of voting. And in fact he does all he in fact does media briefings also post his voting. And there you see his convoy has arrived at the polling booth. I can see the pilot vehicle coming near to the entry gate of the polling station, and the women are here. Will speak to. हाँ जी, वोटिंग हो गई आपकी? तो आप क्या गृह मंत्री जी को देखने के लिए खड़े हैं? हाँ, उनकी एक झलक पाने के लिए खड़े हुए हैं?
हाँ, हम एक झलक पाने के लिए खड़े हैं। वो प्रगति के पंथ पर जा रहे हैं। तो हम भी ऐसा चाहते हैं कि वो प्रगति आगे ही बढ़े।
आपके इलाके के पहले वो विधायक थे, यहाँ से विधायक थे, कैसा महसूस होता है? वो देश के गृह मंत्री हैं,
अच्छा काम करते हैं और अच्छे लोग हैं। हम इनके अच्छे सब सोचते हैं।
उनका घर भी इसी एरिया में?
इसी एरिया में।
आपके
पास वाली सोसाइटी में आपके पड़ोसी हैं, गृह मंत्री इनके पड़ोसी हैं, और ये इस बात से खुश हैं। ये सबको बताते हैं कि गृह मंत्री हमारे पड़ोसी हैं।
हाँ, हमारे पड़ोसी है, वो अच्छे काम करते हैं और सबको बुलाते हैं प्रेम से।
So this is a connect. This is a connect that you get to see when you come to Gujarat for Prime Minister Narendra Modi, for Grah Mantri Amit Shah. हमारे पड़ोसी हैं, उनका घर हमारे एरिया में है. So this is a love, this is an emotional connect that they share, and this is perhaps the reason that on certain seats. It also reminds me
of the difference between the Delhi culture and the Guju culture. In Gujarat, there is not that kind of aura around politicians to the extent that they're all considered as part of society. They mingle very freely, which is not possible possibly in Delhi. And that is why, when both Amit Shah and Narendra Modi were elected at the national level, they came and formed the government at the national level. The big talk was about fitting into the Delhi culture. And we can see that actually, the way the people talk about their leaders, कि हमारे पड़ोसी हमारे बगल वाले घर में रहते हैं. It just shows how casual it is.
And no anti-incumbency. मतलब हम ऐसे देश में रहते हैं जहाँ पे एक पड़ोसी को दूसरे पड़ोसी से दिक्कत होती है, बट कोई भी शिकायत नहीं अपने अमित शाह जी के लिए, ना कोई उनको वो अब एक झलक पाने के लिए वो यहाँ पर आए हैं. And in fact, you were talking about the Delhi culture. So this young man, Harsh Sanghvi, who happens to be the Home Minister of Gujarat, roams scot-free. He doesn't carry police escort along with him. So that is a culture. You be with people. You always behave like a common man, and that becomes your USP. So this is not something new which is being followed since Prime Minister Narendra Modi's day. वो खाट बिछा के चाय पे चर्चा करना, if you remember 2014 के चुनाव. Then the same goes for Amit Shah ji also. एक छोटे कार्यकर्ता के घर जाके खाना खाना. I remember covering his campaign in Bengal and various other states. जो सबसे छोटा कार्यकर्ता होता था वहाँ पे ब्लॉक लेवल का, उसके घर जाके वो खाना खाते थे और प्रेम से बैठ के जैसे कहते हैं अशांति से भोजन करते थे, और भी जो लीडर्स होते थे उनके साथ भोजन करते थे. So this is the discipline of a party. This is the format of a party which everybody has been following since the
that's true for the
Atalji's
BJP.
time.
That's also true for their party
Yeah.
workers, no matter what position they reach, because ultimately the BJP has its ground level workers, pracharaks who rise, and that's the story of Narendra Modi as well. We're waiting for Amit Shah to come with his family to cast his vote. We have to slip into a very short break. On the other side, we will focus a little bit more on the seats in Ahmedabad, isn't it? Because frankly, the entire battle is concentrated in phase 2 in Ahmedabad. Lots of seats in the Ahmedabad district and lots of very prominent candidates that Anusha talked about, all featuring in Ahmedabad. We'll focus on that in just a bit. Be right back with us.
The dominant Patidar community, and he is going to be fighting from what has always been a BJP's bastion, that is Gatlodia. Jignesh Mevani from Vadgam is a sitting MLA and firebrand Dalit leader. He is now with the Congress party, although that triumvirate of Jignesh Mevani, Hardik Patel and Alpesh Thakur, two of them have moved out of the Congress. In fact, Hardik Patel will be contesting from Viramgam, and he will be on the BJP symbol this time around. So he went towards leadership within the state Congress and then quit that and came back and is now going to fight. And you also have Chotubai Wasawa. He is going to be contesting from Jhagaria as an independent. Now he's a tribal heavyweight. He's aiming for the 8th straight win. Interesting story there again. His son getting a ticket, then giving up the ticket, and now all energies will be focused on the father, who's going to be contesting on an independent platform. And of course, Alpesh Thakur. Out of the triumvirate, Jignesh, Hardik.
Thanks a lot for staying with us. These are live visuals from Narayanpura, where Amit Shah, Home Minister and former BJP President, is coming out to vote. Lots of media there, lots of people actually who've collected while casting their vote, before, after their vote. They're wanting to catch a glimpse of the Home Minister as well. This is where my colleague Siddhant was reporting from. A little bit of chaos has broken out now. But Amit Shah walking, not sure if I see his family just yet, but certainly some other BJP leaders are with him. He's going to cast his vote. This is the most important message possibly that the BJP can send at this stage. All the campaigning is done, everything is done and dusted as far as that is concerned. The only thing that is left now is ensuring that there is quote-unquote last mile delivery. That is, everybody comes out to vote. No vote bank of any party should be complacent or consider these election results a foregone conclusion. That's always not great for democracy. So those messages are coming in first from the Prime Minister. Now the Home Minister has come out. You can see his family now. You can see Jai Shah, his son, BCCI President as well. Let's BCCI Secretary as well. Let's go across to my colleague Siddhant. Yes, Siddhant, take it over.
Yes. So, everybody was standing here in a line, and trust me, these were the organic fans, organic supporters of Home Minister Amit Shah. They all went ahead and shook hands with Home Minister Amit Shah. Now he has gone inside the polling booth. So this is the popularity that he enjoys in Narayanpura, and people have been waiting for him since morning to catch a glimpse of Amit Shah. Despite getting their votes done, they were waiting here to catch a glimpse of Home Minister. So the time he arrived, along with his wife, they all greeted him. They shook hands with Home Minister. So this is the level of popularity that Home Minister Amit Shah enjoys here in Narayanpura. And he was MLA from this seat. And in fact, today also, last time around, BJP candidate won with a margin of more than 60,000 votes, votes from this seat. So this is a safe seat of of BJP. सर ये पूरी एक सबसे पहले बात बताइए कि गृह मंत्री आप लोगों के लिए कितना इम्पोर्टेंस रखते हैं?
मेरे एरिया में बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है। वो छोटे कार्यकर्ता से भी हमारे साथ में बूथ इंचार्ज थे, हमारे बचपन से हम साथ में थे।
उनका कैरियर पूरा स्टार्ट हुआ राजकारण का, और यहाँ वो जो
चौराहे से ही चालू हुआ है,
मतलब यहाँ से स्टार्ट हुआ। That is the level of popularity that is, and you
बचपन से साथ पढ़े हैं और हम साथ में चौराहे पे बैठे हैं, हमारे साथ में हर रोज बैठते थे।
ये कनेक्ट
Siddhant, we're getting visuals of the Home Minister now inside the booth waiting as he, gets set to cast his vote. He's followed by his family as well. And, there's a certain level of just a casual level and, being one with the commoner. That is the big message that is coming out today. We are hearing voices of those from Narayanpura talking fondly about how Amit Shah started from the booth level from Narayanpura, and he's casting his vote today as the Home Minister, not for the first time, of course, but this is the beauty of what the BJP says about their party, that, the hardest working people from the very, very starting positions of their party can reach the very highest positions. And two of those names are from Gujarat, both Narendra Modi and Amit Shah, who have risen practically from the ground and have, of course, first stamped their authority in Gujarat politics and then at the national level as well. Those are visuals now coming in of the voter list being checked. There's going to be a little bit of the ID card being shown. Now the finger is going to be inked as well before Amit Shah and wife and son press the polling, the EVM machine. The message from the BJP has been that everybody should come out and vote. There should be no complacency in any case. Forget about whether this election is driving people to come out to the polling booth and what low percentages may mean, may not mean. Everything goes for a toss sometimes in recent Indian elections. But in any case, this is, of course, your opportunity once in 5 years to decide, be a decision maker in exactly who runs your government. And therefore, it is important and incumbent on every electorate, everybody over the age of 18 to come and cast their vote and send that message down to the next generations as well. You've got Amit Shah moving along the line. He's, I think, now going to be pressing the EVM to cast his vote. We've got his family preparing in the meantime. Let's focus on these visuals. And Siddhant, you can speak over them as well. And you were getting these voices from on ground who were talking about the phenomenal rise of Amit Shah, from the booth level in charge and worker in Narayanpura to now the Home Minister.
Well, that's correct. And, Amit Shah is someone who is a man of an ideology. And in fact, he is a staunch believer that whatever he is today is because of his ideology. He started from a booth level, as a booth level Karyakarta, and he is today Home Minister of a country. Also, his contribution, not just to the state of Gujarat and its politics, but this time around also, he has been camping in Ahmedabad from almost last 1 month, from deciding tickets to managing a Karyakarta at a booth level. He is involved in each and everything because people here look up to him. People here listen to his orders. People here genuinely believes in what he says, and this is the reason that the party gives him this responsibility to handle the elections in the state of Gujarat. Whether it was 2017 Vidhan Sabha election, whether it is this election, whether Lok Sabha election, Amit Shah was in charge for the Gujarat state because he knows length and breadth of the state. He knows each and every candidate, not just of his party, but the popular faces of various other parties also from across Gujarat. So yes, that is his grip in Gujarat, and this is the reason that every time around BJP gets edge over other parties because he knows the mathematics, he knows caste equations, and he knows how to swing the votes.
And from last time around in 2017, where everybody felt that this was, the Congress gave a very kadi takkar to the BJP, and it was indeed. It wasn't meant to be for the Congress party, but like we were discussing earlier, the BJP's vote share actually went up from 2012. Now, those are some of the things that somebody like Amit Shah will be noticing and playing on and looking to further. Even though the larger noise and the narrative was that, oh, the BJP has shrunk in Gujarat. Yes, ultimately the seats do matter and they were very, very tight to the finishing line. But, you know, as a so-called Chanakya of Indian electoral politics, these are things that Amit Shah would be looking at. And look at the path of the BJP since then, Siddhant. You know, he was still the president of the party for some time before he passed on that responsibility. You've got that trinity of Alpesh Thakur, Jigmesh Mirwani and Hardik Patel. Two of them are actually now fighting on BJP tickets. And you look at the factors that otherwise people were talking about, rural versus urban, tribal versus urban, etc. You know, those are the things that Amit Shah would be focusing on and looking to improve. If there is scope for BJP to improve, then where is that going to come from? What do you think the BJP has been focusing on?
Now, I will explain in short the importance of Amit Shah in Gujarat state. So, when first phase voting got over, we were told that Home Minister Amit Shah is going to fly back to Delhi. But then he decided to stay here till the final phase polling gets over. Even party also decided to make him camp here so that, you know, the polling happens in a smooth manner and in party's favor. So that is the importance and significance of Amit Shah in the state of Gujarat. And you know, trust me, सारी जिम्मेदारी कैंडिडेट सेलेक्ट करने से लेके पैनल डिसाइड करने तक, each and everything was in the hands of Home Minister Amit Shah. It was him who took every decision, and this is the reputation. And this is also because people listen to him here. People obey his orders, and he is very popular. Now he is coming to seek darshan at a Mahadev temple which is next to the polling booth, and he is going to seek blessings here of Mahadev. This temple is right next to the polling booth. I hope we are cutting live to these visuals where Amit Shah is entering the temple premises, and we have been told that once he will take blessings of Mahadev, then he's also going to speak to media. He will do media interactions, and then he will leave for Delhi as per his expected schedule. So Amit Shah right at the doors of Mahadev temple, you know, smiling, looking at cameras, media cameras, and in fact calling his wife, because his wife was left behind. So he called his wife, and now they both will go and seek blessings of Mahadev. A very emotional moment for people on Naranpura seat, because Amit Shah has been a member of Legislative Assembly from this seat, and he resigned only when he contested Lok Sabha elections. So there is an emotional connect that people have with him from this seat. And in fact, as I was reporting before, you know, many people were standing just to catch a glimpse of Amit Shah. And in fact, you know, they came early in the morning because they were told, they came in the morning because they know that if they will come early morning, then they will get to catch glimpse of Amit Shah, they will get to meet him. So that is an excitement that people on this seat have. And in fact, right now also, Amit Shah is taking, seeking blessings of Mahadev, and on the road, I can witness a traffic jam because people have stopped to catch a glimpse of Amit Shah, and in fact, people are you know, standing here in queue to shake hands with him, to greet him. So right now he's seeking blessings of Mahadev, and I hope we are cutting live those visuals. This is a routine ritual here. Whenever Amit Shah comes to vote here in Naranpura, he makes sure that after completing his voting, he goes and seeks blessings of Mahadev, and after which he is going to do media interaction here. I can witness, you know, sea of people here. I would ask my video journalist Bimba sir to pan and give sense to our viewers. Look at the people, those who are standing here to catch a glimpse of Amit Shah, and in fact, you know, the security detail, the security personnel here are having a tough time, you know, stopping people and, you know, making sure that law and order remains intact here, because there are a lot of people, those who have come here to catch glimpse of. There on my left, you can see again, you know, the people have gathered there, and police have barricaded that entire area. So this is the popularity of Amit Shah here in Naranpura, a very popular face of Gujarat, and especially Naranpura. There is an emotional connect. We'll speak to some of them. Sir, आप नारायणपुरा सीट से ही हैं?
नारायणपुरा से ही हूँ. मेरा नेबर है अमित शाह.
नेबर है? हर किसी के नेबर है अमित शाह.
मेरे सोसाइटी के पड़ोसी है और हम लोग स्कूल में भी साथ में थे. और यहाँ पर युवा मोर्चे के साथ से बीजेपी के अंदर हम लोग शुरू से युवा अवस्था से जुड़े हुए थे. कॉर्पोरेशन लेवल पर भी उन्होंने बहुत ही अच्छा काम किया.
मुलाकात होती है?
100% मुलाकात होती है.
टाइम मांगते मिल जाता है?
टाइम मिलता है और वो जब भी नारायणपुरा का नाम आता है वेरी उत्सुक से, वेरी आनंद से हम लोगों को टाइम देके वो हमारे एरिया
से इत्मीनान से आपके मुद्दे
एक मिनान से आराम से हमारे.
मुझे एक बात बताइए, अगर यहाँ के विधायक से आपको कोई दिक्कत है तो आप अमित शाह जी को शिकायत कर सकते हैं?
100% कर सकते हैं.
सुनते हो?
हमारी बात सुनते हैं और उनको डायरेक्टली फोन भी जाते हैं और उनको डायरेक्टली फोन पे भी बुला जाता है कि भैया ये शिकायत क्यों आई मेरे तक.
अच्छा, ये महादेव का उनके जीवन में क्या योगदान है? जब भी वो वोटिंग के लिए आते हैं या दर्शन करते हैं?
महादेव नहीं बने थे, उसके पहले अमित शाह ये एरिया में रहते थे. और जब भी यहाँ पर आते हैं बचपन से वो ये महादेव की बहुत ही श्रद्धा पूरा फैमिली को है. उनका मिसिस और उनका लड़के सबको ये महादेव की पूरी आस्था है. इसलिए जब भी नारायणपुरा में आते हैं तो महादेव का दर्शन अवश्य करते हैं.
So there you see, locals coming out here in large number, and there you see Amit Shah walking out of the temple premises, and we can expect him any moment from now, and he will speak to media. At least this is what we have been confirmed by BJP communications wing, that there is a possibility of him speaking today. And there you see Bharat Mata Ki Jai chants, waving at media cameras, and the crowd gathered outside the temple. जैसे कहते हैं ना, एक नेता का जैसे कहते हैं एक नेता का ब्लड सर्कुलेशन बढ़ जाता है जब वो अपने सपोर्टर्स को देखते हैं. अमित शाह भी वैसे ही नेता हैं. अपने सपोर्टर्स, अपने फैंस के बीच उनको रहना बहुत पसंद है. और एंड टुडे इज वन सच मोमेंट वेयर ही इज इट इज हिज होम कमिंग, coming back to the place from where he had started his political career. When he had started, he had never thought of becoming the home minister. He is a person who has always been driven by ideology, and today also he says that whatever he is because of the ideology that he carries. So that is an importance of ideology. That is an importance of ideology in his life. Now he is getting out, meeting people, a very candid visit of Amit Shah to Naranpura. And I have never seen Amit Shah, Home Minister Amit Shah, walking this way, meeting and greeting people. This is perhaps one such special occasion where he just wants to behave like a normal karyakarta of BJP, nothing else. The way he used to roam around in constituencies during his initial days, the same way he is right now, behaving and meeting everyone, is standing next to the temple. And in fact, he's also going and waving at senior citizens standing here, waiting to catch glimpse of Home Minister Amit Shah. So that is a level of affection that he has for people of Naranpura. And there you see he has come for the media interaction, and he will speak, and then he will leave for Delhi. Showing his inked finger for the cameras right now. Home Minister Amit Shah in his home constituency today to cast his vote along with his family. Now he's going to speak along with his supporter. And in fact, I can see the local BJP karyakartas standing behind him. So because Home Minister is in his home constituency, he has been MLA from this constituency, and he has his house in this locality. So the local leaders are standing there, and even in fact I have been speaking to many of the people here, and they all are saying that हमारे पड़ोसी हैं, हमारा उनसे पुराना रिश्ता है.
I think Siddhant is going to give a soundbite to the national one of the national media agencies. He's sitting down for his press briefing. This is obviously going to be pretty short, given that this is polling day today, but let's try and listen in.
આજે ગુજરાતના 2022 વિધાનસભાની ચૂંટણીના બીજા તબક્કાનો મતદાનનો દિવસ છે. સવારથી જ ખૂબ ઉત્સાહપૂર્વક ગુજરાતની જનતા અઢી દાયકાથી વધુ ગુજરાતની વિકાસ યાત્રાના સમર્થનમાં વોટ આપવા માટે ખૂબ ઉમળકાભેર નીકળી છે. હું ગુજરાતના સૌ મતદાર ભાઈઓ બહેનો અને વિશેષ કરી ફર્સ્ટ ટાઈમ વોટર જેમને પહેલી વાર મતાધિકાર પ્રાપ્ત થયો છે એ સૌ યુવક યુવતીઓને વિનંતી કરું છું કે આપનો મત જરૂર આપો અને ગુજરાતના અઢી દાયકાની વિકાસ યાત્રાને આગળ વધારો. ગુજરાતનો વિકાસ એ ફક્ત ગુજરાતનો વિકાસ નથી. ગુજરાતના વિકાસના માધ્યમથી દેશના વિકાસ કરવાની ગુજરાતની પરંપરાને આપણે જાળવી રાખવાની છે અને સમગ્ર ભારતના વિકાસનો પાયો જ ગુજરાતનો વિકાસ હોઈ શકે. ઔદ્યોગિક મૂડીરોકાણ, 100% એનરોલમેન્ટ, 0% ડ્રોપઆઉટ રેશિયો, ગરીબી ઉન્મૂલનના સમગ્ર કાર્યક્રમ અને સર્વસ્પર્શીય સર્વસમાવેશક વિકાસનું મોડેલ સમગ્ર દેશને આકર્ષી રહ્યું છે. એ વખતે ગુજરાતના સૌ મતદાતાઓને હું વિનંતી કરું છું કે આ વિકાસના મોડેલને વધુ સુદૃઢ કરાવવા માટે તમારો મત જરૂર આપો અને 5 વાગ્યા પહેલા રેકોર્ડ મતદાન કરી ગુજરાતના વિકાસમાં સહભાગી થાઓ. ધન્યવાદ. चलो ना भैया चलो. थैंक यू.
All right. Home Minister Amit Shah there voting in his constituency of Naranpura and giving out a message particularly to first-time voters. Now, there are nearly 6 lakh first-time voters in Gujarat elections this time around out of the 2.5 crore total electorate. And it's going to be very, very important to see where the first-time voters are going to go, because one of the other challenges for the BJP is that they have become such a constant in government in Gujarat that maybe the youngsters don't even know, what is anything else. Let me go back across to my colleague Siddhant, who continues to report from the Home Minister's former constituency. Siddhant, important message coming out. One, that first-time voters especially must come out and cast their vote. And secondly, that Gujarat's development is key for the country.
Well, yes, that is a message which Amit Shah has given on this day of voting. And in fact, behind me you can see the convoy is leaving. Now he's expected to go to Delhi because there is a special meeting today which is going to be chaired by Prime Minister at Delhi BJP headquarters. We'll speak to some of the local people here. Sir, aap log yahin ke?
We are from media.
Acha, you're from media. Okay, we'll speak to some women standing here and we'll try to. Aap log yahan pe kitne der se khade hue hain? कितनी देर से आप लोग यहाँ पे? काफी देर से अमित शाह जी को देखने के लिए. आप मुलाकात हुई उनसे?
मुलाकात तो क्या थी?
देखा उन्होंने आप लोग?
देखा.
हाथ भी ऊंचा किया. वेव किया आपको? देखा. ऐसे भी वो आया करते अपनी कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी में?
आते हैं.
जब भी घर आते हैं. आप लोगों की कोई समस्या होती है?
एरिया यहाँ पे था उसका.
हाँ, अच्छा.
उनका रेसिडेंस है तो वो आते रहते हैं अक्सर.
वो आते रहते हैं. आप लोगों की कोई भी दिक्कत होती है तो उसका निवारण करते हैं अगर कोई भी आप लोगों को प्रॉब्लम होती है? लोकल कॉर्पोरेटर काम नहीं कर,
किसी को नहीं मिलते हैं. पर्सनली तो नहीं मिलते हैं, लेकिन
कोई दिक्कत नहीं है.
हाँ, वैसे तो यहाँ ऐसा कुछ होता नहीं है, लेकिन आते रहते हैं वो.
बट यहाँ माहौल किसका है? सीट
भाजपा ही आना चाहिए.
Okay, so there you see, people from Naranpura area are very excited to catch glimpse of Home Minister Amit Shah. And there you see, in fact, a lot of them were standing there, and from there they waved at Amit Shah, and Amit Shah also I saw waving back at them. So this is the level of excitement. As far as the media bite of Amit Shah is concerned, he has appealed to the first-time voters to come out and vote. He has also asked people to participate in the voting process, because last time around, if you remember, the voting percentage was less, and in fact Election Commission had to step in to ask to ask people to come out and vote. So, so this is an appeal which, in fact, Prime Minister Modi also made this morning. Home Minister Amit Shah has also made the similar appeal, and it is expected that the voter turnout will increase in the second phase. Let me go and speak to some old timers here. हाँ सर, आप लोग इसी सीट से हैं? हाँ, क्या कैसा माहौल था जब गृह मंत्री जी वोट डालने आए?
गृह मंत्री यहाँ के विस्तार के भी है, सबको अपने नाम से परिचित है सबको, और सबको मिला, सब कार्यकर्ता को भी मिला, बहुत आनंद हुआ सबको। और साहब ने भगवान महादेव जी का दर्शन किया।
जब नारायणपुरा सीट पे गृह मंत्री जी रहते हो तो एक जश्न का माहौल रहता है, हाँ?
क्योंकि घर का जो लड़का वो अपने घर पे आता है तो कैसा माहौल होता है, ऐसा माहौल सब लोग खुश होते हैं। साहब के साथ एक सेल्फी खिंचाने का, हाथ मिलाने का भी।
और आप लोगों का भी तो एक पार्टी में दबदबा जाता रहता होगा कि गृह मंत्री जी की सीट से, ऐसा नहीं है?
पूरे देश के गृह मंत्री है, हमारे को तो ज्यादा आनंद होता है, लेकिन वो देश के गृह मंत्री है।
देश के गृह मंत्री।
But his influence, Siddhant, as you're talking about the influence of the Home Minister, he does of course represent the Gandhinagar Lok Sabha seat. So his influence is going to be in the larger Gandhinagar area as well. This is one of the areas where the incumbent Chief Minister is contesting his election from Ghatlodiya. There is somebody called, like Alpesh Thakur, who's also contesting from Gandhinagar South. So, you know, a lot of the key candidates are going to benefit from the kind of influence, for example, that Prime Minister has in Ahmedabad, or the fact that Amit Shah has in the Gandhinagar Lok Sabha area as well. Of course, it will be a pan-Gujarat influence as well. Speaking of some of those key candidates, the ones especially who were anti-BJP have now shifted to the BJP. My colleague Anusha taking you through that.
And as you said, Shivani, that some of them were on the side of the Congress party, were very instrumental in making those gains for the Congress party. But eventually, what really happened was the fact that two of them have jumped ship and are now contesting elections on the ticket of the BJP. How is that really going to play out? First of all, the key candidate, you have the sitting Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel from Ghatlodiya. He's the incumbent Chief Minister of the state. This is one constituency recently carved out, has given two Chief Ministers, including Anandiben Patel. Let's move on. Jignesh Mevani, he continues to remain with the Congress party, a sitting MLA, a firebrand Dalit leader, has an influence with the Dalit vote bank, one vote bank which is very important for any political party if they want to consolidate, if they want to reach out in certain areas, of course in the tribal areas as well. Hardik Patel, earlier with the Congress party, now jumped gun to the BJP, contesting. His campaign largely focused on his own constituency. He's facing a tough challenge from the side of the Congress party as well, a high-profile candidate. Let's see how that turns out from him. Chodu Bhai Vasawa, he is one of the tall leaders, a very tall tribal leader. He is looking for an 8th consecutive straight term from IND and one of the key parties in the tribal areas, the small independents that you keep talking about. Alpesh Thakur, another leader who has jumped ship, popular OBC leader, defected from the Congress party, and the fact that OBC is one of the most critical vote banks for the Congress, BJP or the newbie Aam Aadmi party. Amit Chawla from Ankla, former state party president and the sitting MLA of the Congress party, yet another very influential leader, a high-profile candidate, and the electorate is going to decide which way his fate is really going to turn. Manilal Waghela from Vadam, he's the former Congress MLA who recently joined the BJP. About 10 to 12 defections that happened from the Congress to the BJP are largely about the vote bank of the OBC, are largely about the vote bank of the Patidars, and these are the two critical vote banks, as I said earlier, were very critical in terms of the gains that the Congress party made in phase 1 of the Gujarat elections. And of course, the spillover effect will be seen in the phase 2 as well. And Ridhima will tell us more about this on the Match Report.
Well, Apsusha was rightly pointing out that the OBC factor and the tribal factor is going to have a huge domination as far as this phase is concerned. Before I give you a sense of how the OBCs are going to, impact this particular phase and even the tribals, this is 93 seats, as we've been saying, but 51 went to the BJP and 39 to the Congress. But speaking specifically as far as the OBC domination is concerned, this is where it actually gets interesting. There are about 42 seats in all, out of which the BJP got 22 last time with a vote percentage of 46.26. The Congress was reduced to less than 20 seats, just at 19. You had others getting 1. The vote percentage, interestingly, for the Congress was 43.54. But these caste dynamics will, of course, have a huge impact. I quickly just want to talk to you about the tribal factor also, because there is a very interesting factor at play here. Now just look at the numbers. This is where, of course, the Congress will try and continue the domination. It's got 13 seats, where 8 went to the Congress and 4 to the BJP. But as we've been saying, that you're seeing this urban apathy, you're seeing the voter turnout reduce. Interestingly, as far as the tribal area is concerned, you're seeing an uptick of about 4%. So even at a time when you're seeing the urban vote come down, you're seeing even a low women voter turnout, the tribal area is actually seeing an uptick. Will that actually have an impact on the ground? That's the larger question.
Yeah, and interestingly there, Ridhima, the vote percentage of the BJP and the Congress was neck to neck, even though the Congress gained many more seats. And that's been the story of the 2017 elections. This time around, the BJP will hope their higher vote share actually gets them the higher seats. And maybe they can add a little bit as well. But there is, of course, a new entrant as well. So that could split votes further. Before we talk about all of this and some of the key candidates, constituencies and factors, listen in to what the Prime Minister had to say earlier today on the Gujarat elections.
लोकतंत्र का ये उत्सव गुजरात के, हिमाचल के और दिल्ली के मतदाताओं ने बहुत ही उत्साह और उमंग के साथ मनाया। मैं लोकतंत्र के उत्सव के लिए देश के नागरिकों का हृदय से अभिनंदन करता हूं, धन्यवाद करता हूं। मैं इलेक्शन कमीशन को भी हृदय से बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं कि उन्होंने बहुत ही शानदार तरीके से पूरे विश्व में भारत के लोकतंत्र की प्रतिष्ठा को बढ़े, इस प्रकार से चुनाव का संचालन करने की एक महान परंपरा विकसित की है और उसका एक उत्तम उदाहरण इस चुनाव में भी नजर आया। मैं इलेक्शन कमीशन का भी हृदय से अभिनंदन करता हूं।
आज गुजरात में लोकशाही का पर्व का उत्सव मनाया जा रहा है। प्रथम चरण के मतदान पूर्ण हो गए हैं। आज दूसरे चरण का मतदान शुरू हुआ है। सब गुजरात के मतदार आज दूसरे चरण में भी शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से सब इसमें भाग लेंगे और भारी मतदान करेंगे। ये दफ़ा हम भारतीय जनता पार्टी पुराने सारे रिकॉर्ड तोड़ के सारे नंबर से ये चुनाव भी हम जीतेंगे।
Let's also go across to some of our guests joining us. We're joined by Dheeraj Sharma, who's author and director at IIM Rohtak. Ravi Srivastav is political analyst. Ravi, why don't I come to you? Because we are, of course, very keenly watching out the impact that the Aam Aadmi Party can have. Now, admittedly, most of their campaign was focused on phase 1, especially around Surat. That's where they had gains in the local body elections, and they were hoping to reap dividends from that. This phase possibly a little bit low-key for them. But they will hope that some of the vote share of the Congress party, which was driven by some of the agitations last time around, comes to them. Can they do it though?
My perception has been created that the Aam Aadmi Party has been doing only well in the Saurashtra, Kutch region and the South Gujarat, but it's not a fact. The party has done a lot of work, as far as the Prachar is concerned, in the North and Central Gujarat as well, where elections are going to be held today. I was for a full week in Gujarat till 3rd of December, and I have seen a lot of ground realities over there. The kind of anti-incumbency which is prevailing there, it is going to be hitting hard. 27 years there has been practically no vikas in Gujarat. Gujarat is a below average state as far as all major parameters in this country are concerned. They are not a leading state on any parameter as such. And the kind of wrong things the party, the BJP, the way they had to remove their 3 chief ministers, the whole cabinet was demolished. I think they are well aware of their shortcomings in Gujarat. They know very well how 4,000 tons of the drug was unloaded at Adani port. They know very well that how the 100 people had died of taking the hooch liquor despite being a private state. Even today, you see that Aravali Assembly constituency, the particular MLA is being caught with the carrying those liquor boxes in his vehicle today. Even the social media pictures are available.
Fair enough.
So,
but Ravi Srivastava, what I meant to say was that if you look at the campaign of the Aam Aadmi Party, they're actually taking on the Congress more as an opposition to the BJP than the BJP itself. Their entire campaign led by Arvind Kejriwal has been on the premise that there's no point voting for the Congress party. It cannot fight against the BJP, and there might even be defections post-elections from the Congress to the BJP. Now, of course, we'll have to wait and see whether that message has been bought by the electorate or not. Dheeraj Sharma, I want to understand from you, with two of the trinity of Alpesh, Hardik and Jignesh Mevani this time actually fighting from the BJP ticket. Some of them were not even fighting from the Congress ticket last time around. But for example, Hardik Patel was too young to fight the assembly election last time around. I remember being in his constituency of Viramgam in 2017. He was 24 years old, so couldn't contest. This time around in the BJP is contesting from what is his home constituency where he has grown up. There the Congress has usually won. And this time around the BJP will hope that with Hardik Patel formally fighting with them, they can turn that result around. You've got, of course, Alpesh, who's fighting from Gandhinagar South on a BJP ticket. Only Jignesh Mevani remains as an independent supporting the Congress party. Do you think that alone has given the BJP the run-up that they needed in this election? Or are there still issues that they could be bothered with?
Well, I think the defections prior to the elections from Congress to BJP is, and if that's taken as an indication,
yes,
I think there is a realization that BJP has probably gained strength from 2017 elections to 2022. I was in Gujarat too a month ago, and I was trying to understand some of the ongoing issues there. Now, what is surprising is that on the face of it, in the urban areas, there is really no major issue.
Right.
People are seeking continuity in terms of secure business environment. People are seeking continuity in terms of policy, which can help businesses. Of course, in the rural areas, the issues were different, and some of them are being addressed by the direct benefit transfer, and also a lot of work done in terms of the PDS system, which is in place there. Now, I must tell you that with Aam Aadmi Party coming into foray, it is actually going to benefit Bharatiya Janata Party. Last time, the vote share was, I think, 49 to 41 between BJP and Congress. I would, please mark this statement, I would anticipate that the vote share of BJP might dip, but they'll end up winning much more number of seats. Okay. I imagine that the number is going to be close to 120, given the split of vote between as you already mentioned, parties. I think Aam Aadmi will be making some gains at the expense of Congress, not at the expense of Bharatiya Janata Party.
Yeah, I think the vote share is going to be the most important thing to watch out for in this election, because I mentioned, Anusha and Ridhima, that last time around, actually the BJP vote share increased from 2012, but it was almost like they've done so badly, isn't it? Congress vote share also increased doubly than the BJP, but most of that came from the others. Now this time around, how is that non-BJP vote share going to work out? That's really the story of this election. I don't want to, of course, say that there is who is going to come to power is a foregone conclusion. We've had surprises before in Indian elections, so never take it for granted. And that seems to be the philosophy of the BJP as well. We'll slip into a very short break. More of our guests will continue to join us, so stay with us.
Well, Maria, like the Election Commission said that the urban apathy continues in Raisan, which is in fact a rural area. The things are much different. We are seeing that there are people who are coming in large numbers to vote. You can see, like you mentioned, yes, the women are also here in large number. Let me directly go across to them. Ma'am, आप किस मुद्दों को लेके यहाँ पे वोट करने आए हैं? यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा ग्रामीण इलाका भी है, तो क्या विमेन सिक्योरिटी है या क्या है, काम को लेके है, किस चीज़ को लेके आप यहाँ पे आज वोट करने आए हैं?
काम के लिए।
काम के लिए। आप मैम, आप
काम के लिए।
काम के लिए। अभी तक जो काम हो रहा है, क्या ये अच्छा काम हो रहा है, चल रहा है यहाँ पे?
जी।
तो ये जो ग्रामीण इलाका हो गया और जो शहरी इलाका हो गया, वहाँ पे समस्याएं बहुत अलग होती हैं। तो यहाँ की क्या समस्याएं हैं आपके लिए?
मेन तो मीन्स स्प्रेड्स करते हैं लोग, उनका है, और थोड़ा ट्रैफिक का समस्या है।
अच्छा।
वो अगर सुलझ जाए तो अच्छी है।
शिरीन आप इनको पूछिए, इन्होंने वोट किया, ये पहली बार वोट कर रहे हैं, कितनी बार वोट किया? शिरीन आप उनको पूछिए कि कितनी बार इन्होंने वोट किया, लास्ट टाइम भी इन्होंने वोट किया था। आप इनसे ये पूछिए जो लोग वोट नहीं करने आ रहे उनको क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
ये अभी यहाँ पे ना 20 मिनट ही हुआ है यहाँ पे खुल के, लेकिन मैंने देखा कि काफी लोग यहाँ पे नंबर में आ गए हैं। तो ऐसा क्यों है कि शहरी इलाके में कम लोग आते हैं, आपके यहाँ पे लोग ज्यादा आते हैं? कितनी बार आपने वोट किया है यहाँ? अभी तक कितनी बार वोट कर चुके हैं आप?
यहाँ तो 2 बार वोट किया।
2 बार वोट किया है?
पहले तो हम नरोड़ा रहते थे।
अच्छा, तो अभी यहाँ पे शिफ्ट हुए हैं। तो अभी आपने कितनी बार?
फर्स्ट टाइम है, हम जामनगर रहते थे।
अच्छा,
फर्स्ट टाइम।
तो यहाँ पे क्या काफी अब नए लोग यहाँ पे आते हैं क्या? रेसान में नए लोग रहने आते हैं क्या? है
इधर तो नए लोग ही है, ज्यादा
नया एरिया है,
पूरा नवा एरिया है। इसके हिसाब से सब लोग अहमदाबाद से ज्यादा यहाँ शिफ्ट हुए हैं।
हाँ।
इसके हिसाब से फर्स्ट टाइम सबका वोट है।
अच्छा, पहली बार सबका वोट है यहाँ
रेसान में वोट है, रेसान में पहली बार वोट है।
फर्स्ट टाइम वोटर्स इज व्हाट दे आर आल्सो रेसान।
फर्स्ट टाइम वोटर्स इन रेसान।
यस, रेसान में पहली बार वोट है। Yes, and that also a very special area this is, because yesterday it was Prime Minister who had in fact visited his mother over here. The mother also lives here and she will in fact be coming out and vote. आप लोग यहाँ पे पहली बार रेसान में आप भी यहाँ पे वोट कर रहे हैं?
This is the second vote.
This is the second vote.
Yeah.
So what is the issues here that you feel?
There are no such issues. We are just looking at the development out of the Gandhinagar city. And you can see the surrounding areas, Raisan, Sarkasan, Kudasan. They have developed humorously. It is becoming second tier city now.
Okay. South गांधीनगर अल्पेश ठाकुर इस बार लड़ रहे हैं, शंभुल जी नहीं लड़ रहे हैं इस बार। तो क्या will it be an issue? क्या आप लोग काफी 2008 से जो है इस कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी में हमेशा से शंभुल जी जीतते आए हैं, बट इस बार अल्पेश ठाकुर को टिकट दिया गया है।
रिजल्ट का कुछ कह नहीं सकते।
नहीं, लेकिन क्या मतलब
It is basically the good governance will win.
We're back from Kevadia into the studio, ladies and gentlemen. That's just a glimpse of what we have in store as far as Alexa and our entire design team has put together for you to get perhaps a never-before experience and nowhere else experience except here at CNN News 18, your election nerve center. Zaka and Maria with me. Let's quickly look at some of the key candidates in these 93 assembly constituencies and who are the ones who really have a story to tell and perhaps a point to prove. First up, you have the incumbent Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel, who was given and put on the saddle 18 months ago. It was a full rejig of the cabinet. He's quite popular. He is from of course, the dominant Patidar community. And he is going to be fighting from what has always been a BJP's bastion, that is Gatlodia. Jignesh Mevani from Vadgam is a sitting MLA and firebrand Dalit leader. He is now with the Congress party, although that triumvirate of Jignesh Mevani, Hardik Patel and Alpesh Thakur, 2 of them have moved out of the Congress. In fact, Hardik Patel will be contesting from Viramgam. And he will be on the BJP symbol this time around. So he went towards leadership within the state Congress and then quit that and came back and is now going to fight. And you also have Chotubai Wasawa. He is going to be contesting from Jhagaria as an independent. Now he's a tribal heavyweight. He's aiming for the 8th straight win. Interesting story there again. His son getting a ticket, then giving up the ticket, and now all energies will be focused on the father, who's going to be contesting on an independent platform. And of course, Alpesh Thakur. Out of the triumvirate, Jignesh, Hardik and Alpesh, 2 of them are now with the BJP. So a lot has changed between 2017, and then you also have Amit Shah, who is a former state party president and sitting MLA. He's also among the key candidates, and he will also be fighting from Amklav. You have Maninal Waghela, who is again contesting against Jignesh Mevani.
Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching CNN News 18's continuous coverage of Phase 2 of Gujarat election polling. This is your election headquarters. I'm Shivani. Joining me are Anusha and Ridhima. And over the next hour or so, we'll continue to get you more live updates from on ground, where vote percentage is going to be one of the key things to watch out for. But speaking of votes, why don't we begin with a look back, Anusha, of how the vote share and the seat division went last time around.
And you spoke, elaboratively about the voting percentage, how it has been compared to 2002 to 2017. And as we put out these numbers, they'll tell you a different story. Like, the story is that if you look at the percentage of vote that the BJP was able to garner, it was roughly not very different in 2002. And if you compare that number to 2017, from a 50%, so you had about 49%. I want you to focus on the 2017 numbers and this yellow line that you're seeing right now. The peaks that you see of 59% and 62% are the Lok Sabha elections. So that's not the number to look at per se if you're analyzing the vote percentage. That's brand Modi at the national level that's speaking for itself through these numbers. So from 2002 to 2017, the seat conversion ratio for the BJP wasn't so great. If you go to the Congress party, let's tell you through that blue line about how the story has been for the Congress party. So roughly about 39% in 2002, and that went to about 41%, a gain of just 2%. But that gain was instrumental in terms of converting the seats. But yes, a lot of votes also came from the independents and other smaller parties which are there. What the BJP will aim for this time, that they're able to increase marginally at least up to 2% their voting percentage, the number of votes that they get, and also that translates into the number of seats. Let's go to the number of seats and they'll tell you and give you the perspective about how this voting percentage changed or affected the number of seats that each party was able to get. Look at the numbers in 2002, 127. That came down significantly to 99, and in the voting percentage, it was a very small dip of roughly 1 to 2%. That's the gap from this to this that the BJP would want to cover. They would want more and more seats. Of course, 2002 was the best case scenario for them. That's the story of the Congress party, the blue line that you see on the screen. 2002, just about 51 seats, the lowest that they have seen at least in the last 2 decades, and a jump to about 77 seats that they were able to garner. Taking the voting numbers and the voters from different parties, from the BJP as well, in the wake of the Partidar agitation, the support they had and the triology of the 3 leaders that we're talking about, 2 of which are now with the BJP. That's the story that the voting percentage and the number of seats really tell you. That if you have to make the cut, it's usually that one small nail that you need to get right. I want to cut across to Ridhima as well, who will tell us what the story is in the rural belt of Gujarat.
Look at some of these numbers. We're of course looking at Phase 2, which has about 93 of these seats. Before I bring in the 2017 picture, I actually want to go back to 2012 to actually show you how the picture changed in rural from 2012 to 2017. So let's actually begin with 2012, where again 58 seats, you had the Congress getting 33. The vote percentage at that time was 44.02. The BJP, 10 short of the Congress, was at 23 with 42.77%. But just look at how that picture actually changed in 2017, where it became a neck-to-neck fight between the Congress and the BJP. The Congress then an inch above the BJP with 28 seats. But look at the vote percentage, and Gujarat is one of those states which actually give you a very fascinating story. The Congress at 28 seats had 42.07 vote percentage. The BJP, as I said, the fight was neck to neck, with 27 seats had 45.44 percentage. This time around, can the Congress actually hold on to this blue that you are seeing? Because Phase 2 is all about the bigger cities that we're talking about. Gandhinagar, Ahmedabad, we're already talking about an urban apathy. We're seeing a dip as far as the urban voters are concerned. Can that become a chink in the armor for the BJP? That's the larger question.
Yes, last time around, there were a concentration of the tribal seats in the Phase 1, and the BJP had set a target that they want to win majority of them, 20 out of the 27, I believe, the ST reserved seats. This time around, if you look at North and Central Gujarat, it's actually North Gujarat that the Congress was well ahead of the BJP. Now, that's where the BJP will hope that they can either squeeze the difference or actually overtake. In Central Gujarat, the BJP was ahead. But yes, as Ridhima was showing, overall, this is also 2 areas of Gujarat where the Congress did well. not just the tribal belt and the other rural areas that went to polls in the first phase. Speaking of, some of these key constituencies voting today, one of those names that I've been talking about is, of course, Hardik Patel, fighting from the BJP ticket this time from Viramgam. Let's listen in from him and some other BJP leaders who came out to vote today.
क्या लग रहा है माहौल इस बार का?
ये माहौल विकास का है। लोगों ने भारतीय जनता पार्टी पर जो भरोसा किया है और जो सुशासन पिछले 20 सालों से गुजरात में स्थापित हुआ है, यहाँ का हर एक वोट उसी के नाम पे पड़ रहा है। और निश्चित रूप से आने वाले दिनों में विरमगांव की सीट तो सही, लेकिन गुजरात में 150 सीटों के साथ भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार बनेगी।
हार्दिक, लेकिन जिस तरीके से आप कैंपेन भले ही यहाँ पर करते रहे, लेकिन कल या परसों जिस तरीके से आपके खिलाफ पोस्टर्स लगाए गए, आप जिस संगठन से जुड़े थे उस संगठन के नाम पर पोस्टर्स लगाए गए, ये क्या तो फिर विरोध नहीं है?
राजनीति में विरोध नहीं होंगे तो कहाँ होंगे? घर में भी दो भाइयों के विरोध होते हैं और राजनीति में विरोध के कारण आप रास्ता छोड़ेंगे तो थोड़ी चलेगा। हर किसी को अधिकार होना ही चाहिए।
चुनाव कैंपेन में इस बार कांग्रेस के ओर से राहुल नहीं आ पाए, पहली बार 2 रैली की, उसके बाद नहीं आए। किस तरीके से?
मुझे क्या लेना देना? वो नहीं आते, वो बिजी होंगे उनके काम में, गेम खेलने में बिजी होंगे, मुझे क्या लेना देना? मेरे नेता गुजरात आए हैं, लोगों के बीच गए हैं, लोगों के बीच सरकारी योजनाओं की माहिती दी है, लोगों से कहा है कि हमारे पर भरोसा जो है वो और मजबूत कीजिए, लोगों ने कर रहे हैं। आज जिस गांव में आप आए उस गांव में शाम को खाने के लिए बिजली नहीं हुआ करती थी, आज 24 घंटा बिजली है। या पानी के लिए दिक्कत होती थी, आज कैनलों का पानी मिल रहा है। लोग क्यों वोट डालेंगे? इस विरम गाँव में हर 5 दिन में दंगे होते थे, फसाद होते थे, पिछले 20 साल से एक भी दंगा नहीं हुआ।
मतदान करना हमारा अधिकार है। सब मतदारों को मतदान करना चाहिए। जब हमें अधिकार प्राप्त हुआ है तो अधिकार का उपयोग करके भारत को अव्वल नंबर पर पहुंचाना चाहिए।
All right, so some of the voices from earlier, of course, the messaging coming in by and large to go out and cast your vote. Today is polling day. Let me also go across to my colleague Shireen, who's joining us, and Shireen is tracking Prime Minister's mother, Hiraben, and she's going to come out and vote. She's, of course, very, very aged. I'm guessing there's going to be some support for her. Shireen, just give us a sense of what's happening. The Prime Minister has already cast his vote.
Well, that is right. In fact, the mother of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Hiraben, is in fact about to enter the polling booth in Raisan. Now, Raisan comes under South Gandhinagar constituency, and any time from now, she will in fact be entering. And like you mentioned, yes, because she's 100-year-old, there are going to be certain arrangements that are going to be made. But because this particular booth itself has a ramp, so a car facility to enter, to make way to enter her car will in fact be made. You can see, if I ask my camera person to pan and show you the kind of security that is in fact in place, and every year this is the same booth where she comes and casts her vote. Last time it was in fact for the MCD elections that she had come here and casted the municipal polls where she had come and casted her vote, and now it is for the assembly elections where she'll be coming. Yesterday we have seen those visuals of Prime Minister in fact going and meeting Hiraben at her residence in Raisan, seeking her blessings, and today he in fact Prime Minister has in fact casted his vote at around 9:30, and today the mother is going to in fact come any time now, because we have always seen, you know, every time the election happens, the strong visuals of the mother, even with the walker, with a lot of support around with the family coming and casting her vote, you know, giving inspiration to a lot of youngsters to come out and vote. So any moment from now, the car will in fact be, this is the ramp where the car will be entered, and she will in fact be coming out. As of now, the arrangements are being made. There is police security. Apart from that, there is also other women's security also in place, because it gets a little chaotic over here. A lot of people also come to see her, you know, coming out and casting the vote. So anytime she'll be coming, and we will in fact be alerting you when that happens.
Yeah, Shireen, we're going to keep coming back to you, so stay with us. I just want to quickly shift our attention to some of our guests also who are joining us. Dheeraj Sharma, you were talking earlier about the so-called triangular fight this time around, but you know what we've seen through the day is a very commoner approach by the likes of Amit Shah and others, some of the star faces of the BJP, and it's that connect of theirs that, you know, repeatedly comes out. It is with the Prime Minister's very homely meeting with his mother when he goes to Gujarat, which feels like it is like any other household, not really the household of the Prime Minister. You've seen Prime Minister come out, Amit Shah come out, and now, of course, Prime Minister's mother will be casting a vote. And what a message that goes across as a centenarian to come out and vote.
I think this is all wonderful. Let me share with you a bit of a perspective on Gujarat elections. You see, in the last elections and even in the prior elections, the number of seats which get decided at a very small margin are very, very small compared to other states. For instance, number of seats which get decided at less than 1,000 votes in the last election was around 6 or 7, whereas which means by percentage, that's about maybe 4 or 5% of the total seats which get decided at a very thin margin. That number, if you compare to Uttar Pradesh, or if that number you compare to Bihar or to even Tamil Nadu, that number is very, very small. Usually that number is around 10-12% in other states. So what does this imply? This implies that the voting is very, very polarized always. It will go one way or the other. So that's why this year the contest is going to be very, very interesting, because you have another party which is trying to come into the foray, and therefore you are likely to see a larger number of seats which will be decided at a thin margin. By thin margin, I would say 1,000 votes or less.
If I remember correctly, Dheeraj, last time around, at least the Congress's contention was that they lost a lot of these close contests, and the close contest in that at that time was about 4,000 to 5,000 votes.
The 4,000 is a very large number, actually. 4,000 are not a close contest. Close contest would be, if you analyze the UP election, there are there are seats which are decided at 1,000 votes, or sorry, less than 1,000 votes, 500, 600. So 1,000 is supposed to be a number which usually is considered to be a reasonably thin margin. Actually, 500 should be that number, 1,000. So if you go by that number, only 7 seats, 3,016 seats, which is not a very large number compared to other states. This time, you would likely see, my expectation is that you would likely see about 25 seats in which the margin between the winner and the next one would be less than 1,000. And I think, again, because of this tripartite contest, the incumbent is going to be in a stronger position.
In a stronger position, advantageous for them, because the anti-BJP or the anti-incumbency vote is the one that could possibly be split. But of course, we have to wait and see. Dheeraj, another interesting thing is whether the Congress can hold on to its very, very traditional vote base. And we saw what they managed to do in 2017. We've seen over the years their vote share remains fairly consistent. So actually for the Aam Aadmi Party, if we are to assume that they're going to break a little bit of the anti-incumbency vote, that's not going to be as easy as in any other state that they've managed to do it. For example, Delhi and Punjab, isn't it? Because the twin polity or the two-party system is very entrenched in Gujarat.
Well, you're absolutely right. In Punjab elections, I think that's an anomaly, because in Punjab, nobody voted for a party. People voted against the parties. So it was voting out the government, not voting somebody in. So I think there was an advantage to Aam Aadmi Party there. But here, I think anti-incumbency, as we had studied in the last 1 month from my institution, we tried to study some of these things from an electioneering perspective. It was very, very interesting that, again, I don't believe that this contest is going to be, a 3-way contest. It will largely remain a 2-way contest. But I think the other two parties, we're missing out another party, which is AIMIM, which is the party of Mr. Owaisi, which is also made foray. I think that will also have an impact.
But their footprint is a little bit smaller, right? The Aam Aadmi Party is fighting virtually all seats. The AIMIM has picked and chosen some of the seats, like Godhra, for example, where they're contesting from. But let me quickly take Ravi Srivastava's, input on what he believes is going to be tough for the Aam Aadmi or easy. Do you believe they're going to take more from the BJP, Ravi Srivastav, or from the Congress? Who's the vote base for the Aam Aadmi Party here? Very quickly, sir.
It's a myth created by the the media or somebody that the Aam Aadmi Party fights against the Congress or all that. Aam Aadmi Party is a novice here. They just entered. Last election they got some seats in the municipalities in the Gandhinagar and Surat and all that. But this time they are entering into the entire arena of the Gujarat.
Yes.
But they fight you on the issues. That's the main thing. And they bring out their Delhi model that what all we have done, the electricity, the water, the education, the health, the women's security, the unemployment, and all those things. So I think what my friend is talking about, the election algorithm, that the BJP's vote share may go down, but still it will be winning more number of seats.
Yes.
So I think it's wrong because we always fight against the ruling dispensation, whether it was the Punjab or whether it is Gujarat. So they fought against Congress there. They're fighting against the BJP.
No, fair enough. Of course, they're fighting against the BJP. That's the party to fight. The Congress is not the party to fight because it's not in power and not really seen to be in power or becoming in power. The point is, whose vote share are they targeting? And if you look at what Arvind Kejriwal has said, sir, I'm sure we can all accept that they're targeting the Congress vote share. Arvind Kejriwal has very categorically said, don't vote for the Congress, vote for us instead. They're not really looking to break the BJP vote share. Of course, they will campaign for that, but they're targeting to really displace the Congress. We'll have this discussion forward. I'll give you more time, sir, when we can. I have to slip into a very short break. We'll also get you some live updates from on grounds of the key constituencies and candidates as they themselves also come out to vote in the phase 2. Stay with us.
No,
Even झंडे भी नहीं लग रहे ground पे. That's what's happening.
I think the Patidar agitation, what it did was, we talk about the voter turnout and why it fell. You have to get voters enthused enough for them to come all the way to the voter booth. I think one of the reporters last time said, when the agitation was happening, this was in Surat, there were voters traveling from Surat, traveling all the way to Saurashtra to cast their vote. That kind of enthusiasm we're not seeing this time around, which is why the voter turnout figures fell as well. But very quickly on the rural versus urban divide, as far as this phase is concerned, remember, Gujarat is one of the most urbanized states in the country. But if you were to look at even this phase, there are a hell of a lot of rural seats. Out of the 93, 58, almost 60 seats, so 2 out of 3 are rural seats. And there again, it was even Stevens last time around. It was in fact one better for the Congress, 28 versus 27 of the BJP. Even though the BJP had a higher vote share. BJP had a 45% vote share, Congress only had 42. And a lot of that came from either here, this is Banaskantha, the tribal belt, or it came from the cooperative belt. You will see the BJP making inroads in both of these belts. The question is, can the Congress compensate for that by winning in some of the urban pockets, or will the urban pockets continue to be the guard of the BJP? I think that is going to be where this phase is going to be decided. Remember, in North Gujarat and in Central Gujarat, the Congress did pretty okay last time around. This time around, will they, outmaneuver the BJP, get more seats than the BJP in those rural belts? Given the voter turnout that has fallen in the rural belts over the last, compared to the last 5 years.
Highlighting becomes important, the fall in the women voters.
Yes,
and that women voter is very critical for the BJP. We have seen their enthusiasm. I was in that belt, particularly the cooperative belt.
36 lakh people are part of that cooperative movement in Gujarat, churning out 250 lakh liters of milk every day. She spoke to some of them, and there is a shift, largely Congress, but you spent time in Anand and Kaira.
Particularly among the women, and women there, Zaka, were talking about money being, that sense of empowerment that I saw was phenomenal. I have not seen in any other state of India. And Shireen, let me ask that question. What are you seeing in the morning? Are there women standing in the queue? I can see Siddhant as well. I'm going to come to you, Siddhant, in just a bit. Shireen first. Yes, Shireen.
Well, Maria, like the Election Commission said that the urban apathy continues in Raisan, which is in fact a rural area. The things are much different. We are seeing that there are people who are coming in large numbers to vote. You can see, like you mentioned, yes, the women are also here in large number. Let me directly go across to them. Ma'am, आप किस मुद्दों को लेके यहाँ पे वोट करने आए हैं? यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा ग्रामीण इलाका भी है, तो क्या विमेन सिक्योरिटी है या क्या है, काम को लेके है, किस चीज़ को लेके आप यहाँ पे आज वोट करने आए हैं?
काम के लिए
काम के लिए। आप मैम, आप काम के लिए अभी तक जो काम हो रहा है, क्या ये अच्छा काम हो रहा है, चल रहा है यहाँ पे?
जी।
तो ये जो ग्रामीण इलाका हो गया और जो शहरी इलाका हो गया, वहाँ पे समस्याएं बहुत अलग होती हैं, तो यहाँ की क्या समस्या है आपके लिए?
मेन तो मीन्स स्प्रेड्स करते हैं लोग उनका है और थोड़ा ट्रैफिक का समस्या है। वो अगर सुलझ जाए तो अच्छी है।
शिरीन आप इनको पूछिए, इन्होंने वोट किया, ये पहली बार वोट कर रहे हैं, कितनी बार वोट किया? शिरीन आप उनको पूछिए कि कितनी बार इन्होंने वोट किया, लास्ट टाइम भी इन्होंने वोट किया था। आप इनसे ये पूछिए जो लोग वोट नहीं करने आ रहे हैं उनको क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
देखिए अभी यहाँ पे ना 20 मिनट ही हुआ है यहाँ पे खुल के, लेकिन मैंने देखा कि काफी लोग यहाँ पे नंबर में आ गए हैं। तो ऐसा क्यों है कि शहरी इलाके में कम लोग आते हैं, आपके यहाँ पे लोग ज्यादा आते हैं? कितनी बार आपने वोट किया है यहाँ? अभी तक कितनी बार वोट कर चुके हैं आप?
यहाँ तो 2 बार वोट किया है।
2 बार वोट किया है?
पहले तो हम नरोड़ा रहते थे।
अच्छा, तो अभी यहाँ पे शिफ्ट हुए हैं। तो अभी आपने कितनी बार?
फर्स्ट टाइम है, हम जामनगर रहते थे।
अच्छा,
फर्स्ट टाइम।
तो यहाँ पे क्या काफी अब नए लोग यहाँ पे आते हैं क्या? रेसान में
Well, all the campaigning has taken place. Today it is time to go out and vote. Phase 2 of Gujarat elections, 93 seats that are up for polls and the fate of over 1,300 candidates. We'll continue to get you more from on ground, but the key battle that the two main parties are fighting is exactly who's going to retain most of their vote share. Let's also go across to my colleague Ridhima first up to break down some of the key numbers, the figures that everybody is very minutely looking at, Ridhima, this time.
Absolutely. So phase 1 was all about Saurashtra and South. We've now moved to North and the central part of Gujarat, where last time around you in fact had the BJP having about 51 out of the 93 seats. But let's talk in detail about some of the factors that are contributing to what we are seeing. And tribal domination is one of those factors which is turning out to be very interesting, because last time around, this is where the Congress managed to have a domination over the BJP. So out of the 13 seats, Congress had about 8 of them, and there were just 4 that were left for the BJP. But if you look at the vote percentage, that was actually very close, because the BJP with just 4 seats still had 44%, and the Congress with 8 seats also had about 44.71%. This time around, as we said, a lot of those factors that had a lot of domination on the ground do not exist anymore, which is the Patidar agitation, GST, all of those don't exist anymore. Even at a time when we're talking about urban apathy, that voter percentage going down, in the tribal area, at least as far as phase 1 is concerned, that voter percentage has actually shot up. Is that going to be a pattern that we're going to see for phase 2 also, is something that we'll continue to watch very, very closely, because this is where the Congress will be wanting to hold on to their bastion. Our colleagues also continue to be with us. Sharon Elizabeth continues to be with us on the broadcast, where we're waiting the Prime Minister's mother to come and cast her vote. Sharon, what are the kind of arrangements on the ground? Sharon, can you hear us? Okay, we'll try and reestablish that connection with Sharon, but our colleagues continue to be with us here in the studio, Shivani and Anusha. Shivani, you know, something that we've been talking about since morning is how the BJP is going all guns as far as this aggressive campaigning is concerned. While many are saying that it's the BJP's game, you know, this is a one-sided fight, many are also questioning then why are we still seeing such an aggressive campaigning? Is there a sense of fear as far as the BJP is concerned?
Yeah, I mean, that is something that was talked about. One, that maybe the BJP is still nervous a little bit about, you know, this whole issue about being an issueless election. But, you know, normally on ground, it's never really quite like that. The second thing is that this is just the BJP's way of functioning, that they do give it their all. So you could read it whichever way you want. But the BJP is not unknown or is not a stranger to just putting it all out and going all guns blazing, using the Prime Minister as the big face, you know, and some of their big leaders, all the state chief ministers, central ministers. They do that. They tend to do that. Now, you could argue, why are they doing this if they're so comfortable? But BJP's philosophy is, why not do it? And they want to increase their vote share. I think personally that they want to increase their vote share here, no matter how saturated it may be already for them, Anusha.
And as you said, a party that takes municipal elections in a city of Hyderabad.
To the height of a state election.
To the height of the state elections. This is Gujarat, for God's sake. This is their guard. This is their bastion. They wouldn't want that, you know, if there is any shred of anti-incumbency, if it's really a factor, to play any role at all.
And it's also a matter.
Will call it this time around, considering the fact we're already seeing the kind of momentum on the ground. Can you still call this pro-incumbency?
Yeah, I think that terminology in Gujarat context has to change in some way.
This is also a battle of prestige for them, because, you know, generally what tends to happen is that if, for example, the BJP doesn't do as well as it says publicly, or even, you know, just electorally doesn't do as well and supersedes expectations, then it is considered a jot down for them. And then everybody starts looking at why they didn't do 120 or why they didn't do 130. I think they would also want that there should be nothing left, no moral victories, quote unquote, for anybody to have.
That's why
and they can just
we're not seeing any number being quoted anymore.
It was 150 when the campaign began.
But we're not seeing any of that number being quoted anymore.
Maybe because the voting percentage in the phase 1 has been pretty low, and I think it didn't quite touch or come close to what was 2017. We'll have to wait and see what the phase 2 will deliver to us. Stay with us. My colleagues Anusha and Ridhima will continue to join you through the day as we get you not just the polling percentages and some of the mood from the ground, but remember, this evening we'll also get you the big exit poll for Gujarat elections, and that will possibly be the first indication of what are the issues really on the ground and how the public is tending to vote. So stay tuned for more on that this evening. Thanks a lot for joining us for the meantime.
every day. She spoke to some of them, and there is a shift, largely Congress, but you spent time in Anand and Kaira,
particularly among the women, and women there, Zaka, were talking about money being, you know, that sense of empowerment that I saw was phenomenal. I have not seen in any other state of India. And Shireen, let me ask that question. What are you seeing in the morning? Are there women standing in the queue? I can see Siddhant as well. I'm going to come to you, Siddhant, in just a bit. Shireen first. Yes, Shireen.
Well, Maria, like the Election Commission said that the urban apathy continues in Raisan, which is in fact a rural area. The things are much different. We are seeing that there are people who are coming in large numbers to vote. You can see, like you mentioned, yes, the women are also here in large number. Let me directly go across to them. Ma'am, आप किस मुद्दों को लेके यहाँ पे वोट करने आए हैं? यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा ग्रामीण इलाका भी है, तो क्या विमेन सिक्योरिटी है या क्या है, काम को लेके है, किस चीज को लेके आप यहाँ पे आज वोट करने आए हैं?
काम के लिए
काम के लिए। आप मैम, आप काम के लिए अभी तक जो काम हो रहा है, क्या ये अच्छा काम हो रहा है, चल रहा है यहाँ पे?
जी।
तो ये जो ग्रामीण इलाका हो गया और जो शहरी इलाका हो गया, वहाँ पे समस्याएं बहुत अलग होती हैं, तो यहाँ की क्या समस्याएं हैं आपके लिए?
मेन तो मीन्स स्प्रेड्स करते हैं लोग, उनका है, और थोड़ा ट्रैफिक का समस्या है। वो अगर सुलझ जाए तो अच्छी है।
शिरीन आप इनको पूछिए, इन्होंने वोट किया, ये पहली बार वोट कर रहे हैं, कितनी बार वोट किया? शिरीन आप उनको पूछिए कि कितनी बार इन्होंने वोट किया, लास्ट टाइम भी इन्होंने वोट किया था। आप इनसे ये पूछिए, जो लोग वोट नहीं करने आ रहे उनको क्या कहना चाहेंगे?
ये अभी यहाँ पे ना 20 मिनट ही हुआ है यहाँ पे खुल के, लेकिन मैंने देखा कि काफी लोग यहाँ पे नंबर में आ गए हैं। तो ऐसा क्यों है कि शहरी इलाके में कम लोग आते हैं, आपके यहाँ पे लोग ज्यादा आते हैं? कितनी बार आपने वोट किया है यहाँ? अभी तक कितनी बार वोट कर चुके हैं आप?
यहाँ तो 2 बार वोट किया।
2 बार वोट किया है?
पहले तो हम नरोड़ा रहते थे।
अच्छा, तो अभी यहाँ पे शिफ्ट हुए हैं, तो अभी आपने कितनी बार?
फर्स्ट टाइम है, हम जामनगर रहते थे।
अच्छा,
फर्स्ट टाइम।
तो यहाँ पे क्या काफी अब नए लोग यहाँ पे आते हैं क्या? रेसान में नए लोग रहने आते हैं क्या? है
इधर तो नए लोग ही है, ज्यादा नया
एरिया है,
पूरा नवा एरिया है। इसके हिसाब से सब लोग अहमदाबाद से ज्यादा यहाँ शिफ्ट हुए हैं। इसके हिसाब से फर्स्ट टाइम सबका वोट है।
अच्छा, पहली बार सबका वोट है यहाँ पे।
रेसान में वोट है, रेसान में पहली बार वोट है।
फर्स्ट टाइम वोटर्स इज व्हाट दे आर आल्सो रेसान।
फर्स्ट टाइम वोटर्स इन रेसान।
यस, रेसान में पहली बार वोट है। Yes, and that also a very special area this is, because yesterday it was Prime Minister who had in fact visited his mother over here. The mother also lives here and she will in fact be coming out and vote. आप लोग यहाँ पे पहली बार रहसान में आप भी यहाँ पे वोट कर रहे हैं?
This is the second vote.
This is the second vote.
Yeah.
So what is the issues here that you feel?
There are no such issues. We are just looking at the development out of the Gandhinagar city. And you can see the surrounding areas, Raisan, Sarkasan, Kudasan. They have developed humorously. It is becoming second tier city now.
साउथ गांधीनगर अल्पेश ठाकुर इस बार लड़ रहे हैं, शंभुल जी नहीं लड़ रहे हैं इस बार, तो क्या विल इट बी एन इशू? क्या आप लोग काफी 2008 से जो है इस कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी में हमेशा से शंभुल जी जीतते आए हैं, बट इस बार अल्पेश ठाकुर को टिकट दिया गया है।
रिजल्ट का कुछ कह नहीं सकते
नहीं, लेकिन क्या मतलब
इट इज बेसिकली द गुड गवर्नेंस विल विन।
We're back from Kevadia into the studio, ladies and gentlemen. That's just a glimpse of what we have in store as far as Alexa and our entire design team has put together for you to get perhaps a never-before experience and nowhere else experience except here at CNN News 18, your election nerve center. Zaka and Maria with me. Let's quickly look at some of the key candidates in these 93 assembly constituencies and who are the ones who really have a story to tell and perhaps a point to prove. First up, you have the incumbent Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel, who's
Good afternoon. Thanks a lot for staying with us here at CNN News 18. I'm Ridhima Bhatnagar, getting you all the top stories over the next 60 minutes. We're beginning this broadcast with some breaking developments coming in. Kashmiri Pandits, we're understanding, are staging a mega protest. This after the Lashkar threat to Kashmiri Pandits. The terror group has released a list of 56 Kashmiri Pandit employees that are on their target. Terror group is saying those provided safe houses by the government are on their target.
कल जब एक लिस्ट आई 57 की, उस 57 ने हमें दिलाया है, ये 57 ही नहीं है, इसमें मैं समझूं कल को हम पूरे इसमें हो सकते हैं। अभी उन्होंने 57 ही डाला, क्या पता कल उसमें मैं भी हूँगा जो लिस्ट में नहीं, कल को मार दिया। हम यहाँ बैठ के गवर्नमेंट से अपनी जान की भीख मांग रहे हैं। हम ये बोलते हैं हमें अटैच किया जाए, अटैच करके जब आपको हालात ठीक होंगे तो हम वापस चले जाएंगे। हम डर रहे हैं, वहाँ पे जान को खतरा है, तो हमारी जान को बख्शा जाए।
यही चीज समझाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं गवर्नमेंट को 208 दिन से कि यहाँ पे बहुत ज्यादा हम लोग थ्रेट में हैं, हमारा पल पल थ्रेट में गुजर रहा है, हम वहाँ पे नहीं जा सकते, नहीं अपनी सर्विस दे सकते। हाँ, आप लोग क्या चाहते हैं? अब क्या ऐसी चीज आ जाएगी? मैसेकर होने चाहिए क्या? तब आप लोग मानोगे कि वहाँ के हालात खराब है, कश्मीर के हालात खराब हैं।
Let me also now bring in my colleague Rajat Vora, who in fact is now joining us from where these protests are also taking place. Rajat, मैं आपसे समझना चाहती हूँ, ये जो लिस्ट के बारे में जो कश्मीरी पंडित्स प्रोटेस्ट कर रहे हैं, ये किसने रिलीज करी है, कितने लोग हैं इस लिस्ट पे, और ये जो टेरर ग्रुप उनका क्या कहना है, क्यों है ये कश्मीरी पंडित्स इस लिस्ट पर?
जी बिल्कुल शिवानी, टीआरएफ यानी कि द रेजिडेंट फ्रंट एक लश्कर तैयबा का आतंकी संगठन का एक ऑफशूट है और पिछले काफ़ी समय से लगातार जितनी भी किलिंग्स, चाहे वो कश्मीरी पंडित समाज के एम्प्लॉयज़ की हो या फिर अगर हम बात करें जो कई सारे नॉन कश्मीरी लोगों की जो किलिंग्स हुई हैं उसमें वो इन्वॉल्व है। और उसके बाद कल एक लिस्ट जो है 56 कश्मीरी पंडित एम्प्लॉयज़ की वो जारी की गई 56, जिसमें कि कश्मीरी पंडित समाज अब जो है वो काफ़ी ज़्यादा इसमें गुस्से में है कि लगातार उनको टारगेट जो है वो बनाया जा रहा है और एक बार फिर से प्रोटेस्ट कर कर वो मांग कर रहे हैं कि ये जो लिस्ट जारी की गई है सरकार इसको सीरियसली ले और कहीं ना कहीं इस पर एक्शन करे, ताकि ये जो कश्मीरी पंडित एम्प्लॉयज़ जो वहाँ पर काम करते हैं वो पूरी तरह से सेफ रह सके, इनसे बातचीत करने की कोशिश करेंगे। क्या कहना चाहेंगे, कल एक बार फिर से टीआरएफ द्वारा जो लिस्ट जारी की गई है, आप लगातार धरना प्रदर्शन भी कर रहे हैं।
सर, ये जो लिस्ट जारी की गई है ये हमारे लिए नहीं है, गवर्नमेंट के लिए शेम है। 32 साल हो गए, आज भी हमारे को ये एलिमिनेट नहीं कर पाए ऐसे एलिमेंट जो हमारे को टारगेट कर रहे हैं। ये यूटी गवर्नमेंट, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट सब फेल है इस टाइम।
साफ तौर पर आप देख सकते हैं गुस्सा जो है शिवानी इनमें काफ़ी भरा हुआ है और लगातार ये एम्प्लॉयज़ जो हैं वो मांग कर रहे हैं कि जो धरना प्रदर्शन ये दे रहे थे वो कहीं ना कहीं अब सरकार जो है वो सीरियसली लेकर इन पर कार्रवाई जो है वो करे। कल भी टीआरएफ द्वारा एक थ्रेट लेटर आपके लिए जारी किया गया 56 के लिए, क्या कहना चाहेंगे, कितना डर आप लोगों में बना?
देखो, एम्प्लॉयज़ जो है चाहे पीएम पैकेज हो, नॉन पीएम पैकेज हो, वो सहमे हुए हैं, डरे हुए हैं और इस वाले माहौल में जहाँ से एक तरफ से सोशल मीडिया की तरफ थ्रू थ्रेट लेटर्स का जो टेररिस्ट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन दे रहे हैं, वो एम्प्लॉयज, जाहिर सी बात है एम्प्लॉयज डरे हुए हैं, सहमे हैं, और इस वाले एटमॉस्फेयर में कश्मीर में काम हमारा करना बहुत रिस्की होगा। तो हम
जिस तरह से लापित का भी बयान आया, उसके बाद कहीं ना कहीं महबूबा मुफ्ती ने भी उसे सपोर्ट किया और कश्मीरी पंडित्स का जो दर्द था उसका मजाक बनाने की कोशिश की। लगातार ये कड़ियां जो हैं, जो सपोर्ट कहीं ना कहीं उनको मिलता है पाकिस्तान को या आतंकी संगठनों को, वो कहीं ना कहीं एक डर बनाने की कोशिश जो है कश्मीरी पंडितों में।
जाहिर सी बात है, जैसे पिछले आप समझ सकते हो जो टारगेटेड किलिंग का जो पिछले साल अक्टूबर से ये चालू रहा, जैसे पहले 2 एम्प्लॉयज हमारे दीपक चंद और छुपिंदर कौर, उनकी हत्या हुई है, ऑफिस में स्कूल में मारा गया। तो जाहिर सी बात है एक अभियान है, डराने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं टेररिस्ट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, धमकाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, लेकिन इस वाले एटमॉस्फेयर में हमारा सर्वाइवल कैसे होगा वहाँ पे वो देखना पड़ेगा और गवर्नमेंट को इसमें संगीन कोई स्टेप्स उठाने पड़ेंगे जो कि ताकि इनका एम्प्लॉयज की जो सेफ्टी और सिक्योरिटी इंश्योर हो।
बिल्कुल साफ तौर पर रिदिमा, जिस तरह से आपने सुना, पूरी तरह से इन लोगों की मांग है कि सरकार जो है वो इस पर कार्रवाई करे और जो थ्रेट लेटर्स आ रहे हैं लगातार, इन्होंने ये भी कहा कि जो सपोर्ट कहीं ना कहीं आतंकी संगठनों को कुछ नेताओं द्वारा दिया जाता है, जिस तरह से हमने देखा लापित के बयान के बाद महबूबा मुफ्ती ने उसे सपोर्ट किया, तो कहीं ना कहीं इन लोगों को लगता है कि सरकार उन पर भी कार्रवाई करे जो लगातार आतंकी संगठनों को सपोर्ट करते रहते हैं। जी रिदिमा।
रजत, मैं आपसे एक चीज और समझना चाहती हूँ, जब ये टारगेटेड किलिंग्स का एक पैटर्न चल रहा था वैली में, तो कश्मीरी पंडित्स तब भी यही कह रहे थे कि हमें रिहैबिलिटेशन चाहिए और हमें ये रिहैबिलिटेशन अभी चाहिए, नहीं तो नेक्स्ट टारगेट हम बन सकते हैं। इस लिस्ट के बाद उनका ये कंसर्न और ज्यादा सुनने को आ रहा है कि हम तो कितने टाइम से रिहैबिलिटेशन मांग रहे हैं, सरकार ये रिहैबिलिटेशन हमें क्यों नहीं दे रही है। कोई अथॉरिटीज से कोई किसी की बात हो पाई है, इन प्रोटेस्टर्स से कोई आश्वासन दिया गया है इनको?
जी रिदिमा, रीलोकेशन की मांग एक बार फिर से आप देख सकते हैं, यहाँ पर भी ये एम्प्लॉयज जो हैं वो लगातार 208 दिन हो चुके हैं जो कि ये सभी एम्प्लॉयज जो है वो मांग कर रहे हैं कि इन्हें रीलोकेट जो है वो किया जाए, चाहे जम्मू में या उन एरियाज में जहाँ पर ये पूरी तरह से सेफ रह सके। और कल जिस तरह से TRF द्वारा 56 ने कश्मीरी पंडित एम्प्लॉयज की जो एक लिस्ट जारी की गई, उसके बाद ये ज्यादा थ्रेट है और कई सारे डेलीगेशन इनकी मुलाकात कर चुके हैं, जिसमें इनके कई सारे डेलीगेशन जो है उनसे उन्होंने मुलाकात भी की है, जिसमें आपकी कई डेलीगेशन जो है वो मिल भी चुकी है एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन से। क्या कुछ उनका कहना था इसमें?
देखो, अभी जो एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन की तरफ से वो कोई वहां से हमें नहीं लगता कोई पॉजिटिव जो है अप्रोच जो है एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन की तरफ से देखने को मिल रहा है। एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन का अभी जो अप्रोच हमारे प्रति है वो एक हार्ड स्टैंड लेके बैठे हैं एंड दैट इज वेरी अनफॉर्चुनेट और हम डिसअपॉइंटेड भी हैं इस चीज से। जब एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को मौका था कि एम्प्लॉय के बीच में कॉन्फिडेंस और ट्रस्ट बिल्ड करना था, दे हैव कंप्लीटली फेल्ड, वो नहीं कर सके। 12 साल से यही
जब TRF की एक थ्रेट लेटर आई है उसके बाद सिक्योरिटी को देखते हुए आप कोई फैसला लेते हैं?
जो कल दोबारा थ्रेट लेटर आए हैं सोशल मीडिया पर हमें देखने को मिल रही है और उसमें PM पैकेज एम्प्लॉय को टैग किया गया है। PM पैकेज एम्प्लॉय की स्कीम की बात की गई है, कंडीशंस की बात की गई है, लोकेशंस की बात की गई है, अकोमोडेशंस की बात की गई है। तो जो मैटर है वो हाईली सेंसिटिव मैटर है, उसमें जिस तरह उसको प्लेस किया गया है। तो हम इस सिचुएशन में जो एम्प्लॉय है वो डर के माहौल में है और ये मैटर ऑफ इन्वेस्टिगेशन भी है। मुझे लगता है यहाँ सरकार की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बनती है कि वो जहाँ भी एम्प्लॉय है उसकी जान जो है उसको सुरक्षा सुनिश्चित करना है।
बिल्कुल साफ तौर पर रिदिमा, आपने सुना इनकी वही मांग जो है बार बार ये लोग दोहरा रहे हैं कि अभी जो हालात हैं वो कश्मीरी पंडित्स के लिए नाजुक हैं और जो थ्रेट लेटर कल आया है उससे कहीं ना कहीं फिर से डरे हुए और सरकार से मांग कर रहे हैं कि जल्द से जल्द रीलोकेशन को लेकर सरकार जो है वो पॉलिसी बनाए। जी
रजत, तो बने रहिए हमारे साथ। वी आर आल्सो नाउ शिफ्टिंग अ फोकस बिकॉज़ वी आर गेटिंग सम अदर रिएक्शंस एंड सम अदर अपडेट्स आल्सो कमिंग in the backdrop of all these protests that we now seeing. You also have filmmaker Vivek Agnihotri, who's also now tweeted that after the resistance front's threat, he's tweeted, and I'm quoting, "The common narrative between Lapid's remarks and the resistance front's threat is fascist Hindus. If any Hindu is targeted in Kashmir after this, you know who has blood on his or her hand." Let me bring in my colleague Tejinder Singh Sodhi, who is also now joining us on the broadcast. There was, of course, a lot of backlash to the comments that were made by Nadiv Lapid at the closing ceremony of IFI. Now, with this added risk, many Kashmiri Pandits are feeling that they have a target on their back. And this is exactly the point that even Vivek Agnihotri is making.
Yes, you see, Ridhima, since Lapid made that comment calling the movie which portrayed the pain and agony of the Kashmiri Pandits as vulgar and propaganda, the TRF, the Resistance Front, which is an offshoot or the frontal of the Lashkar-e-Taiba terror outfit, they have issued a list of 56 Kashmiri Pandit employees who have been working in Kashmir under Prime Minister's rehabilitation policy. And these 56 Kashmiri Pandits, the TRF has said that they are on their target and they would be targeted. Now there is fear among the Kashmiri Pandits, and rightly put by Vivek Agni.
Tejinder, I apologize for interrupting. I'll request you to just stay on with us. We also have Ashok Pandit now joining us on the broadcast. Good to have you on the broadcast with us. You have a terror outfit that has now released a list with 56 names of Kashmiri Pandits. They believe that these were people who provided safe houses. They were those provided safe houses by the government. What do you think is happening in the valley? A call for rehabilitation is once again being raked up. What do you think is the demand that needs to be fulfilled today?
You see, I'll be very honest to the present situations which the Kashmiri Pandits are facing. I applaud the effort of Vivek Agni, the filmmaker, who is fighting our